I hit the button a little early. We didn't even get the ad. But Matt, you know what? It's time for the fight companion. It's after dark. Corey McGregor saying I stay away from that fight on Parlay. I don't know what you're talking about, Corey McGregor, but Matt, what I do know is the question mark kicks parlay hit. Boom. Plus 144. We had Osborne. We had Gary. Yikes. And we had Bogdazarian in a bit of a stinker of a fight. But overall, really looking forward to our main card coming up. I mean, Chandler Gaethje so much, Matt. The prelims, too, not so bad.
What a great way to get the night started. Like, the prelims have been absolutely phenomenal. Similar to last week, these pay-per-views have both delivered. And the opener to the main card. I hope the UFC does this for every single pay-per-view opener. Give us what they believe the fight of the night's going to be as sort of the appetizer to the rest of the main course. Because if we can get more like Thiago Santos, Jimmy Manuwa's, more Michael Chandler, like Justin Gaethje's, more fights like these to sort of draw the fans in, it's going to be a much more fun way to start these fight companions. But also, it's just a great way to start the whole pay-per-view off on a great foot. And here's the thing that I remember saying about last week's pay-per-view, so I feel like I have to give this week's its due as well, which was, normally there's that one fight on a main card that it's like, it's going to be harder to talk during that fight than it will be for the other ones. This one doesn't have one of those. We go from Gaethje versus Chandler right into Billy Q versus Shea Burgos, and with all of our interviews this week, like, the majority of them were more excited about that fight than they were for either title fight.
100%. Rob Lawrence saying Phil, and what's up, people with a lot of dots. Phil and Rob, man, I'm sorry. Like, I went 8-1 on the prelims, and Phil Haas is the one that I didn't get. Clint was all over it on question mark kicks. He said go with Chris Curtis. He had him to win by third round TKO, but man, he won it by knockout in the first round. It was a huge come from behind win there for Chris Curtis, but overall, an amazing slate. We got 5 fights on this main card. Time goes back an hour here. That's going to be a lot of fun. So, unfortunately for us, I mean, we didn't get that one right. Nasruddin Imavov, Matt, I mean, I know you probably don't want to talk about him a ton, but he looked great against Edmund Shabazian.
Listen, I don't care if I get a pick wrong. The great thing is that we have a new contender in the division, and that's what matters. And Imavov's a really fun one, too. I saw a lot of people tweeting out that Ferdinand Lopez definitely needs some respect this year for Coach of the Year in the MMA world. And that...
For a French man translating a French man's English to English, that was pretty weird.
Exactly. It's just been really impressive, though, for Lopez. Between Cyril Gane and Imavov, it just kind of shows that, like, if you give him pretty much any guy with decent levels of athleticism, he could turn them into a very refined MMA striker. So just really nice to see out of that camp.
An amazing one. I mean, I was able to make it big with the QMK parlay, but I had Pereira and Michailidis to end. Just not to go to decision. I hit on that one. So
what a knee.
I'm riding high. I'm having a great time. And Cameron's not digging it with Phil Haas. But
listen, I cashed in on Chris Barnett knocking out John Vellante, okay? I don't know why he was the underdog. That made zero sense to me whatsoever. I had money on Barnett at minus 125 earlier in the week, and then he was the underdog right after we did question mark kicks. I went downstairs, I made a bet on Chris Barnett, and then he ended up winning by wheel kick. Now, I didn't think that was going to be the way he ended up winning that fight, but the odds made no sense for me. I don't know why a guy who had gained 55 pounds since a previous performance in Jean Vellante was the favorite in that fight. It just made no sense to me whatsoever.
Chris saying, where's the tax, Chris? It's just after dark. I'm rocking the Fight Night Picks clothes. I've got like some Under Armour.
This is laid back
kind of track pants. I'm enjoying it. We're going to have a good time. We're going to do the, fight companion for this main card. Sean McMahon hitting us up in the super chat. Before the show, I get us ready for the second view that you're going to get from us. You'll get an idea of the strikes. You'll get an idea of what's going on. But Matt, we have Justin Gaethje taking on Michael Chandler, and what a crazy fight that is to kick this one off. I'm not lying, and I said it on question mark kicks. I told everybody I knew about this fight. I hyped it up beyond levels that I ever hype fights up. I could not be more excited for this one because both of these guys, classically trained wrestlers, but that's not their number one skill in the cage.
It really sucks that Gaethje has lost before he lost the WSOF title, and same thing for Chandler, because this kind of could be a champ-champ matchup. I know you've got to bend the rules a little bit, but again, there was real talks of Gaethje just having a one-off in Bellator to fight Michael Chandler, because they felt like that was a good enough fight to make before Gaethje came over to the UFC after World Series of Fighting and folded. So that was a real fight that was out there and that was sort of hyped up. Not really, but if you were a real hardcore at the time, that was something that was floating out there. Now, we finally get it. Is Chandler in his prime, though? And that's really been the question throughout the week. Michael Chandler, to me, feels like a guy who almost came to the UFC like 3 fights too late. I still think he's in his prime, don't get me wrong. I just think he's near the end of it. He's sort of like LeBron James, his first 2 years with the Lakers. Like, right now he's looking a little bit old, same thing with last season. But the first 2 years, he still was dunking 180. Everything was cool. He can still dunk. I know people are going to be mad because I brought up LeBron already, but still, you get the idea. I feel like with Michael Chandler, if he had come over before he fought Brent Primus the first time on that NYC pay-per-view, he would have gotten a much better run throughout his UFC tenure.
And he would have. Over in the comments section, Ed has Chandler by KO 1,000%. Chris is saying, I think Whitman goes 3 for 3. And Robert saying, thanks. So far I'm 8-1 too. So way to go, Robert.
Congrats.
That's an awesome start to the night. J-I-J-E saying Iaquinta. And yeah, he doesn't get the win in his hometown fight after a long layoff. Matt, our second fight on this main card. Listen, Kristen King touched on it. JHK touched on it. Just about every guest had to say about Burgos Quarantillo. A lot of people have this as fight of the night, where it's been a night of performance bonuses to me. We haven't had a 3-round fight of the night yet. This one, I think, could take the cake.
That's like a really good point, by the way, because normally I try to ask you that. What's been the fight of the night up to this point? But it really is wide open. There's been a ton of arguments for performance of the nights, and hopefully this is one of those pay-per-views where they either boost up the money or give out multiple bonuses, because there's just been so many great performances up until this point. Now, I think this could be a great fight because we have 2 cardio kings, which normally you can't say in the UFC. Normally they try to match people up with different kinds of cardio, but Burgos and Quarantillo can both go a hard 15 minutes, and that's what's going to make this fight so much fun. Both guys have great chins, great cardio. I'm super psyched for this fight. Now, it could go either way. I know we both have Burgos, but I can openly admit there is a massive path to victory for Billy Q.
100%, and I mean, over in the comments section, Corey McGregor saying, Billy Q in this one. It should be a great fight. Should be an awesome one. Now, let's move on, and I see it right there from Keep It Cool. The fact that you're saying, why are so many picking Edgar? I feel like Cheeto has it. I didn't get to watch FNP this week. Who do they choose? I don't know who is picking Edgar. You got to tell us in the comments section, who are these people picking Edgar? Because MPTV is saying, shaking my head at people picking Edgar. I picked Frankie Edgar, and
I don't feel good about it. Do you?
You don't feel good about it?
Not really.
I'll tell you why. Marlon Vera's wrestling is not the best. It's probably the weakest point of his game. His cardio is all right.
It's pretty good. He gets stronger as fights go on.
It's not that bad. He definitely has the more opportunities to a finish compared to Frankie Edgar, 100%. But again, when it comes down to the wrestling, for me, I think Edgar's just going to go to the well. He wants that win. He, training a little bit at Henzo's this week, the OG gym. Training out of Toms River, New Jersey, the current gym. Like, there's so many different things there for Edgar. I really do like him in this one. Keep It Cool saying the other cappers besides Guru, basically. Guru?
I think Frank Edgar could get brutally finished early on in this fight. And really, he could get brutally finished at any point throughout this fight. The problem with a lot of Marlon Vera performances, though, is we're all remembering the finishes in the 3rd round because he does get stronger as the fight goes on. I just don't think he's going to be able to get into a very good rhythm against Frank Edgar because when you're going from defending takedowns to getting taken down to back to your feet to striking a little bit to getting taken down, unless you are able to land that one big strike that really hurts Edgar, I just don't think he's going to be able to get into a rhythm similar to what we saw against Andre Ewell. Like, the first 2 rounds of that fight are extremely close because Ewell's such a good boxer range, but once Vera closes that distance, gets on the inside, he is able to have a lot of success. I just think once he does get on the inside, that's when Edgar's going to implement his wrestling. Listen, if Vera wins, it's going to be a spectacular KO probably early on in the fight, but I do think Frankie Edgar's going to be the more consistent guy.
We've got Cheeto, and then was shaking at the weigh-ins, and then you also say he's too old, man, so I don't know what we're going about. But yeah, I'm going with Edgar, the underdog here, and if you don't have him, you don't have him. Then in our first of the title fights, Rose Namajunas taking on Zhang Wei Li, who right now is around a -120 favorite as the challenger for the belt. Surprised me a little bit, but I find there's a lot of disrespect for Zhang Wei Li in this fight, which is kind of weird. Like, MMA fans can be different, I guess, sometimes. Like, the fans boo Nasruddin Imavov in his walkout, and then they cheer for him when he beats their guy. It's just odd, especially when we look at it, in the cage that we're fighting in today. I mean, it's at MSG. The fans in New York haven't had MMA in a very long time. So I really do like this fight. But, Matt, I mean, Feroz Namajunas picked up a huge, quick win in their first fight, in the rematch. I think it's going to go a little bit longer. She finished Joanna the first fight, right? And then in the second one, we had a fight go to decision. Rose able to get the win again. I like this one, Matt, but I see it going a little bit longer. I sprinkled a little bit. Fight goes past the first round. I think it was minus 700, but still, I went with it. I think we're going to get a little bit more in this one.
I think we will too. I don't know why the odds are so close. Like, normally if a champion knocks out a challenger in the first minute and then they have a rematch, it's not like the challenger...
Like in the main event.
Yeah, the challenger doesn't really have a leg to... No, the main event's different though, because at least Covington had 24 competitive minutes. Wei Li got knocked out immediately. Like, she didn't even have a good performance up until that point. So, I just don't really know where all the Wei Li confidence is coming from. I do agree, the fight's going to be longer than the first one, almost because it has to be. I really doubt Rose is going to get another sub-minute knockout. And if she does, then she might be the female GOAT. Like, it might just be Rose. Still probably Amanda, but you get the point. I don't really know what Wei Li can do different. Because in the first fight, she sort of falls for the trick of Rose, if you will. It's not just that Rose landed the head kick. It's that she set the head kick up in a very short period of time and was still able to execute on that technique. So unless Wei Li just closes the distance constantly and really tries to burn herself out early, I don't know what Wei Li's game plan is to really just try to sustain success through a 25-minute fight.
She can definitely fight with pace, and she can definitely fight with good volume, power with that as well. So I do like this fight, Matt, but yeah, it is a really weird one.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. And the weird thing about this division is that, is Joanna still a factor? Because right now it feels like they took her out of the rankings due to inactivity, and the UFC is really weird about that. They'll leave some people in for 5 years even though they haven't fought, and other people, if they don't like them, they'll take them out after 6 months and give them an interim title. Francis Ngannou, Cyril Gane. It just doesn't always make a lot of sense how these rankings work. It feels like Joanna is in the background, and maybe I'm in the minority, but I thought Joanna beat Wei Li in their fight. I know her head was all swollen. She looked terrible after the fight, but I still think she won that fight 3-2. And I thought Joanna and Rose's second fight was also extremely competitive, although Rose probably did win that fight 3-2. I'm just saying, it feels like Joanna still is an active member in this division, especially amongst the elite, even though she hasn't been active in a very long time.
So for me, we move on and we look at Kamaru Usman taking on Colby Covington. It's a great fight. Obviously, the first one ends TKO loss for Colby Covington. He says that the jaw pictures are fake news, but then the Nevada State Athletic Commission says, no, it's not. You're fake news. And Matt, I hate it when people talk like that, so I'm going to stop it right there. But I really do like this rematch because for both guys, again, they can make their own case. For me, I thought Covington was on his way to winning a decision. It was a close fight. There were a few people that agreed with that one. Overall, Usman finishes him. And that was a streak that started the 3 in a row that he's had to this point. For Covington, takes a little bit of time. Fights Tyron Woodley, out-wrestles him. He's able to finish him in that fight. He looked really, really good, too. Yeah, that was a great win for Covington. He looked amazing and showcased all of his skills in that fight, too. Almost like the fight when he took on Robbie Lawler, and he just made him look old and bad. So, for me, I see this as being a very, very close fight, and that's what surprised me when I look at the odds for Usman being a minus 300 favorite or thereabouts.
I just think people have really believed in the improvements in Usman, and it's hard to disagree with them, although I do agree with you. I do think the odds should be a little bit closer between the two, because Usman, I thought he'd be around a minus 200, Covington plus 180, around there. I'm kind of surprised it is 3-1. Because it was a really close fight. You said, what, 3-1 you had it going into the 5th?
3, yeah.
Okay, so I had it 2-2, but I know people who had it 3-1 Covington. I know people who had it 3-1 Usman, too. Like, those 4 rounds were extremely competitive. Now, the 5th round probably would have been a 10-8, even if, let's say he doesn't get the knockout, they don't finish it, but Covington gets up. Between the 2 knockdowns, probably a 10-8, then we get a draw, and we get an immediate rematch. It's just, from their first fight, we've seen these massive improvements in Usman's striking. And it's the pop on his shots, and it's his ability to put together combinations now and not just single shots. And with Covington, yeah, he looked great against Tyron Woodley, but does that really mean that much in the division anymore? And, like, when you look at what's happened to Tyron Woodley, so he gets dominated by Usman. We predicted that, by the way. Good job. That he was an underdog in that fight. I remember that. Anyways, he gets dominated by him. Then he loses to Gilbert Burns in an absolute mollywhopping of a fight where Burns drops him, out-wrestles him. And then Colby Covington does. And then Vicente Luque just mops the floor with him and finishes him in the first round. It's weird that Covington's getting this title shot, although he probably does deserve it.
And I mean, if you have a look at Fight Night Picks on Instagram, 74% of the fans have Covington winning this fight. and then you get 26% going, or sorry, yeah, 74% Usman to 26% with Covington. So yeah, I mean, it is a really, really tricky one, but the fans siding with the champion in this fight. Covington used to have an interim strap around his waist. Sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. Gaethje had one, and he lost it. Who else had one? Poirier had one when he fought Holloway, and that didn't work out for him. So it hasn't really been the nicest thing lately with the interim straps. We'll see how it works out.
Khabib just erases all of those.
Cyril Gane, when he takes on Francis Ngannou, I think he's got a great shot. Halle Berry facing off with Rose Namajunas.
I love
and
Halle giving the flex there. Halle Berry had no idea what she was doing up there, and it was hilarious. Like, they do the face-off, and they get Halle Berry in the middle of it.
Did that movie happen already?
I think it's out on Netflix right now. We're not promoting it, but I'm pretty sure that's where it is. Halle Berry gets in the middle of them, and Rose flexes, so then, of course, Wei Li does, because that's what always happens. One fighter strikes a pose, and then the other one does the same thing. And then Halle Berry in the middle of them is like, yeah, sure, I'm a part of this now, too, and hits him with a flex. It was just, like... Get out of here, Halle. They're fighting for a UFC title. This is some serious stuff. And you're just out there like, oh, I'm a part of this too. Like, what's she going to be, the special referee? I'm sick and tired of Halle Berry at these UFC events.
Was Mike Chioda, was he a referee with WWE? Was that what he did?
I don't know.
I can't remember. All right, Matt. So we'll switch it on over. The first fight on this main card. You have Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler. What an amazing fight to put on, especially to start the card. Like, again, I could not be more excited for this one. The 5-on-in for these guys. With Chandler, it's bookended by losses. One to Patricio Pitbull for the belt at 155. He knocks out Sidney Outlaw over in Japan. He knocks out Benson Henderson. He knocks out Dan Hooker, and then he almost knocks out Charles Oliveira, only to get finished in the second round for Gaethje. Wins and wins. Vic, Barboza, Cerrone, Ferguson, and then Khabib.
Yeah, this should be a phenomenal fight. Like, I truly cannot wait for this next fight. This should be a 5-round affair, and it should be the main event of like a fight night. That would make me so happy. I'm really confident in the Gaethje pick, but it'll be really interesting to see if and when Chandler uses his wrestling, because Justin Gaethje has one of these wrestling backgrounds, and I put up the air quotes because I don't doubt his wrestling
Northern
credentials.
Colorado made him a Hall of Famer.
I understand. He was a very good wrestler, but it's been a while since he's sharpened that tool. Like, if you don't actually use your wrestling in the cage, how often are you practicing your wrestling every single day? Probably not that much is all I'm guessing. And I don't care how good you are at basketball. If you don't play it for 5 years and you just decide to start playing it again, you're going to be really rusty. And I do think that's kind of the case with Gaethje's wrestling. I feel like for the longest time it was, okay, we don't really need to worry about it because if I ever get into that situation, I was a division whatever. I used to be really good. And then he found himself in those wrestling situations in his last fight. So I am curious to see if we are going to see improved takedown defense from Gaethje, because let's say he has worked on it a lot in the last 3 months. As poor as his takedown defense did look against Khabib, maybe he has just been able to sort of, I don't know, rehydrate that part of his game, if you will, kind of get back some of the knowledge that was lost, because maybe Gaethje, if he did really focus on his wrestling, and let's say he does all of a sudden get lights out takedown defense, then he's right back in the top of the division.
100%, and this is a great opportunity. The real question here, and we talked about it on early stoppage, you'll see that out tomorrow. Listen, Islam Makhachev picked up a giant win last weekend over Dan Hooker, and it's not the fact that he finished him, it's just how quickly and I mean, easily he was able to get it done. He looked amazing in that fight, took no damage. And in this fight, you have Chandler Gaethje right up there at the top of the division. The only guy that doesn't have a fight book in the top 5 is Beneil Dariush. So really, do you match up Makhachev with the winner of this fight and then hope if Makhachev wins, he becomes a star off the back of either Chandler or Gaethje? Or do you have him fight Beneil Dariush?
It really sucks because there's 4 stars in the division, and then there's 2 guys not a lot of people care about. And it really sucks. Like, a lot of people like Dustin Poirier. A lot of people like Charles Oliveira. Same thing with Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler. So, at least the good thing is, one of the 4 is going to get eliminated from the equation tonight. But, you get what I mean? Like, the winner of this is probably going to get the winner of Oliveira, Dustin Poirier. Although, Makhachev more than deserves that opportunity, because Makhachev is probably going to get Beneil Dariush, and that really sucks. It's just, they're going to probably feed one to the other to try to capitalize on neither's huge fan base, because
it's a fight night headline.
Exactly, and it would be a really good fight. Like, I'd be really excited. Like, Beneil Dariush would be a tough fight for Islam Makhachev, because Makhachev couldn't just resort to brute takedowns constantly, because Beneil Dariush is one of the absolute best grapplers in the UFC. Like, stylistically, that's a really fun fight. in pay-per-view terms, does it sell 100,000? Like, that's not a big fight night. You know what I mean? Like, that's a fight night card we get really excited for, but that's not one that would be 5 stars on Fight Metric by any means. So I unfortunately think that Islam is going to end up getting matched up with Benil, because like you mentioned, he's the only guy who doesn't have a fight right now. But I think the winner of this is probably going to get the winner of Poirier Oliveira, especially if Poirier wins. Because let's say Chandler wins and so does Poirier, that's a fresh matchup. And if Gaethje wins, then I mean, him and Poirier won was one of the best fights ever. So if we do that again, that'll also be a phenomenal fight.
We get the walkout for Michael Chandler right now, the former 2-time Bellator lightweight champion. Now your champion is Patricky Pitbull Frary. How about that?
Him.
Man, that walkout last night for Peter Queally, I mean...
Goosebumps.
Man, I sat here, we got a TV mounted on the wall behind us in the new office. We had it in the old office too, but I don't tend to watch fights off there. It wouldn't bounce off too bad right here, but still, it's just, you're always looking up, right? So I don't do that. I watch football on Sundays here. Point is, I had that fight going on that TV, and I had that turned way the F up because that was a giant win there for Patricky and really for Patchy Mix too. It's a shame that Mix missed weight when he beat Gallagher, but an amazing fight for Patricky where, I mean, really in the first fight, he threw so many good leg kicks against Queally, and then in the second fight, oh, Queally, so you're a Muay Thai fighter now? And it totally kind of screwed his game up. So a giant win there, but this fight that we have now for Michael Chandler taking on Gaethje, these guys want to shut each other's lights out, and the best part is they know each other's strengths and weaknesses so much.
Well, that's the thing. There's so much tape on both guys out there. Like, I can tell you pretty much everything Michael Chandler does well and poorly. And that's not me patting myself on the back. It's just, he's fought a lot. There's a lot of minutes of tape out there. And it's not like he's only had quick fights. He's been in 5-round fights. He's been in 3-round fights. He's been in fast fights, short fights. Like, he's been all over the place. He's been in every single variety of an MMA fight. So that's why this is such an exciting matchup, because we kind of know what's going to happen before it's already happening.
Philip Casey A. Calloway hitting us up in the super chat saying, go Nam Eunice, you can't stick around, but I definitely appreciate that, sir, for hitting us up in the super chat. We also have a hello below that. And Sean V.
Have fun hosting, though. Have a good night watching the fights.
Hanging out. But I mean, yeah, I look at this fight, Matt. I mean, Chandler, the underdog, they're showing it on the screen. He's a plus 175 underdog. Gaethje minus 110. People are worried we're switching our picks or something here. No. Mitchell Williams saying Chandler got more gas than 1 minute. And that's it. If he just decides to wrestle, could be an easy win for him, too.
It could be, but the thing is, people think Gaethje has bad cardio. I don't believe in that whatsoever. He has one of the craziest outputs in UFC history is the problem. Like, it's my whole Paulo Costa point. It's that you can last as long as you put the gas all the way down. Like, if you work really, really hard, you're going to get tired faster. If you don't work hard, you're going to be able to sustain it a lot longer in fights. And with Gaethje, I don't know what the exact number is, but like the UFC average for significant strengths landed per minute is like 3.5. Gaethje's average is like 6.7 or 7.6. It's like a crazy number, and that's why he normally tends to fatigue. I don't think it's going to be a big issue in this fight, especially because it is a 3-round contest, and we haven't seen Gaethje in a 3-round fight in a very long time.
So when we're looking at this fight, Matt, what I want to let everybody know that's watching in at home, there's about 135 of you or thereabouts. What we're going to do here, there's going to be a bit of a delay. There's a delay between us and you and the pay-per-view. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pause it so that you're in sync with us. As soon as the round starts, I'm going to do this. The logo's going to be gone. I'm going to start the 5-minute timer. It's going to go. If there's ever a delay, if there's a nut shot, if there's an eye poke, you just hit pause, and then we start it back up again. Nice. And that's as easy as it is. So I can't wait for this fight. It should be an amazing one. Again, number 2, Justin Gaethje. I assume that with a win, the winner of this fight gets a title shot. And really, it could be a fresh matchup for Michael Chandler, because he could end up fighting Dustin Poirier. It could be a fresh matchup, and Justin Gaethje gets to fight Charles Oliveira.
That would be amazing.
Or you end up with rematches. So well, I'd say there's so many different possibilities. There's only a few, but they are great nonetheless, and this fight on paper, an awesome one for sure.
I mean, we could get just fresh matchups no matter what. Like, if Michael Chandler fights Poirier, I hope Gaethje then fights Oliveira. Like, that would only make sense to me. It just really sucks, though. Like, all these guys are going to end up with Matt Brown-type records if they do keep on fighting each other. Because I really doubt, like, I've been a Poirier believer for a while, but if he just keeps on fighting Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, and Charles Oliveira, you're going to lose at a certain point, and probably by a brutal finish. Like, these guys are so good, and they all possess these crazy threats in every single aspect of MMA. But this is my point about Michael Chandler as they bring up the tail of the tape here. Gaethje is the bigger fighter, which I was a little surprised about because Gaethje isn't as big as I think compared to other lightweights. Like, Poirier seems to be bigger than Gaethje, same thing with Khabib, but Chandler did seem noticeably smaller than Justin Gaethje. So I'm kind of curious, and I did want to ask you. Remember when Alexander Hernandez said maybe I'll move down to 145? He never did it, but still, it was something that he did
Chandler's
talk about.
too long in the tooth.
Do you think that's the thing? I know he's 35, but do you think he could do like a one-off? Like, maybe he fights Max Holloway one time, we see what he looks like?
Yeah, no, we're not gonna go. We're not gonna go Frankie Edgar at the end of the career.
But Jose Aldo didn't it? He looked pretty good.
I don't think you're gonna see it.
It sucks.
I don't think you're going to see it. There's a lot of support for Michael Chandler over in the comments section, but I mean, an amazing fighter, 5th ranked guy who only has a win over Dan Hooker in the octagon, but you know exactly how good he is. You know the level of competition that he had faced over with Bellator. Definitely telling that he was a world-class fighter when he was over there. He was Mr. Bellator to me, and now it's just weird seeing him almost push the narrative. He's been one of the more vocal guys. He's been one of the guys that the UFC's pushed the most this week throughout fight week.
Which has been nice to see because normally they kind of shy away from, former champions outside the UFC. They don't always mention the organization. They're kind of sketchy depending on who's doing the commentary. It's really like, how good's your job security in the UFC? If you're at the top, like, Daniel Cormier can name drop Bellator. Joe Rogan can name drop Bellator. Brendan Fitzgerald better never say the word, though. No, I love Brendan Fitzgerald.
Friend of the show.
Yeah, you get the idea, though. It's just, they're sort of fishy depending on who it is and what organization they come from. But it does feel like they pushed Chandler a good amount on his way in. And they did the same thing for Justin Gaethje, too. I remember Michael Chandler had the quote, and he was like, we both had quite a bit of Dana White privilege. And it is the truth. Like, they both benefited quite a bit from being champions outside the UFC. And it always is interesting. There's different ways to get into the UFC. You can win the Ultimate Fighter, win on Tuesday Night Contenders. Like, just get signed randomly. But some guys make a huge name for themselves outside another organization, then come over as champions.
Referee Mike Beltran, Mike Chaplow saying, what has Jean Vellante been eating? I assume Long Island pastor. Matt, this should be an amazing fight.
I'm excited.
At 155 between Gaethje and Chandler. We'll get that 5-minute timer ready for you.
I think Gaethje's
for
with an uppercut.
My own main event on the night. This is such an amazing fight between a couple of great lightweights. Both guys quick and into the pocket. And Gaethje starting off with a leg kick that Chandler moves wisely out of the way of. It was a neat little move right there.
And that's something we didn't even talk about. Justin Gaethje's one of the best leg kickers in MMA.
Oh, big time left hand there for Michael Chandler.
Good head movement, though, from Gaethje early. He's normally in like a real defensive stance where he tries to pivot a lot, or he's got his hands real high.
Kind of almost holding himself back, and it's a weird look for him. Ooh, Chandler misses big on a right hand, eats a right of his own.
Yeah, Gaethje's doing a really good job defensively as he lays a nice inside leg kick. Chandler's throwing big bombs at Gaethje.
Chandler is putting everything into his shot so far, and we're just over 30 seconds into the first round. I mean, big time power there from Chandler, and man, maybe a little bit of nervous energy there.
It'll always be interesting to see how a guy's gas tank holds up when he's throwing big power shots early.
Gaethje, the more accurate guy here so far. Nice leg kick there from Chandler, but Gaethje wisely moving his core to get out of the way from some of these big movements of Chandler, Chandler is whiffing big.
Gaethje's really starting to put pressure on Chandler now. They're just having 50-50 exchanges up against the cage.
They're banging! Big time left hand for
Chandler's
Gaethje.
landed some big shots. Gaethje might be hurt, but he is responding with power.
Both guys landed hot and heavy.
Chandler's loading up that right hand.
This is the fight that we expected out of these guys. Woo. Michael Chandler throwing everything in the kitchen sink at Justin Gaethje early.
Oh my goodness. These guys have thrown massive bombs. Big uppercut from Chandler, but Gaethje just eats it.
Chandler is absolutely teeing off, and here comes Gaethje.
Every time one guy lands a couple shots, the other guy responds.
These guys are absolutely going at it, and Chandler, the smarter of the two guys, really starting to invest in that leg kick early. He is going to obliterate that lead leg of Justin Gaethje.
You just feel like one shot could end it from both sides.
100%. Both guys have landed giant shots here so far.
Big right hand for Chandler, but the difference is Gaethje can eat the power, it seems, and Chandler, he seems to get hurt by it when he does get hit.
Nice inside leg kick by Gaethje. Misses on a shot.
This has been an absolute brawl for 2 minutes.
Just less than 3 minutes remaining in the round.
That's a stunning jab by Gaethje. When he lands clean, it's having an effect on Chandler.
Chandler doing a really good job pawing that lead left hand out there. Misses on the jab.
Good head movement by Gaethje. The difference, too, is in the leg kicks. When Gaethje lands a leg kick, there's a lot more force behind it.
Ooh,
Big
Chandler walks into one.
That might have hurt Chandler. He might be peacocking right now. I think that left hook hurt.
Oh, big time right hands, Michael Chandler.
Oh, they've both been hurt this round.
Oh!
Both guys are rocked in the middle of the cage.
Michael Chandler feeling it.
Chandler standing up to him.
Big body shot in the left hand from Justin
Left
Gaethje.
hook lands by Gaethje.
Oh, flying knee.
Oh my good, big right.
Oh, he's got him on baby deer legs. Michael
Gaethje's
Chandler.
against the cage. Chandler going for the knockout.
Justin Gaethje. Wow.
With an overhand. Both guys landed big. Chandler going for a takedown, but Gaethje defends it. Both guys are hurt.
Knee by Michael Chandler in the clinch.
Yeah, Gaethje's got to get out of the clinch. We all remember what happened to him against Eddie Alvarez.
Whoo! Both guys standing strong. Chandler looks like he's rocked.
Nobody can keep this pace up for 15 minutes. I don't care who you are.
Oh my gosh, 1:45 seconds remaining. Clinch from these guys. Chandler is in a world of hurt. And Justin Gaethje swinging.
I think the leg of Chandler might be compromised in some of those leg kicks. He's not moving nearly as well on the feet.
Chandler initiates the clinch here. I'm surprised he hasn't gone for a wrestle. Nice uppercut from Gaethje.
Wow, this has been bad.
Another uppercut from Gaethje.
Ooh, Chandler might have landed two, though, in that exchange. Both guys landed big power shots in this first round.
This has been round of the year. Left hand from Justin Gaethje.
That left hand's landed consistently for Gaethje, but Chandler, with a clean overhand right, lands flush on the chin of Gaethje. I don't know how he ate that.
Michael Chandler hit him with an uppercut, too, in that exchange.
Justin Gaethje's eaten about 7 shots that would knock out a full-grown horse.
Leg kick there from Gaethje, and Chandler
uppercut by Gaethje. I don't know how Chandler ate that shot.
Whoa! Big right hand lands for Justin Gaethje.
That might have hurt Chandler. He checked his nose after that one.
53 seconds remaining in the first round.
But this is the fight Justin Gaethje wants. He wants both guys to trade big power shots.
Body shots from Gaethje. Nice body shot there from Chandler.
Oh my goodness.
We had a couple of guys fighting in a phone booth like it's London town.
Oh, Chandler might be hurt.
Chandler eats another right hand.
Chandler's
goes for a takedown, eats another right hand.
Good sprawl by Gaethje, though. Showing off improved takedown defense for sure.
Big time leg kick there from Justin Gaethje. It's going to be a tough round to score if we even make it to the end of the first.
Chandler's hurt. Every time Gaethje's landing, he's getting a big reaction out of Chandler now.
Justin Gaethje continuing to pour it on, and Chandler's offense has slowed down to a trickle. Big time uppercut from Gaethje.
But if Chandler lands that one big shot, though, you know it could be over. 10 seconds left in the round. Another
big time leg kick from Justin Gaethje. Kick to the body. Smart move there.
I don't know what is keeping either one of these men up. That is one of the greatest rounds of MMA you'll ever see.
That was the best round I've seen in my entire life.
Wow. Okay, if we get anything close to that for the rest of the night, we are in for an absolute treat. I don't know what's keeping Michael Chandler up right now. Like, his love for America is the only thing keeping that man up. That is insane.
Chandler with more shots there. You let us know who you scored that round for over in the comments section. That was the greatest round of MMA I've ever seen in my entire life. That was better than Pat Barry, Czech Congo.
That was insane. I don't know. We didn't even get a single knockdown in that fight. Both guys landed about 45 power shots. Here's the thing. Both guys ate the other guy's best technique. Michael Chandler landed 2 clean overhand rights to the chin of Justin Gaethje, which, again, would knock anybody out. And somehow Gaethje managed to stand. And then, when he was able to counter on Chandler, he was having a big effect. Especially the last 90 seconds of that round was a lot of Gaethje teeing off on Chandler.
Absolutely amazing stuff that we had there in our first round, Matt. I can't wait for the second between these two guys. We had an awesome
Who won that round? I don't know.
I've got it 10-9 Chandler. He rocked him something fierce. Here we go for a second round. Chandler, Gaethje, both guys stepping into the center of this octagon. And we're 10 seconds in, each guy feeling it out.
Every time Gaethje's fading that leg kick, now Chandler is pulling the leg back. It'll be interesting to see if Gaethje can read that.
Gaethje still minus 250 favorite as we go on. But again, yeah, for me, I've got a 10-9 Chandler in the first round.
Oh, big right hand from Gaethje, though. Chandler shakes it off, but I think that one landed up the middle. He's doing a good job getting out of the way of the leg kick now, though.
30 seconds into the round. Big time right hand from Michael Chandler.
Oof. And again, he's got enough power to knock Justin Gaethje out with one shot. I know Gaethje's been able to eat these so far, but you can only take so many.
Couple of good shots there from Chandler on the entry. Big time uppercut from Gaethje and another right hand.
It feels like Chandler has better entries into his punches, but I feel like Gaethje has the slightly faster hands.
Big time left hand lands there for Gaethje, but another right coming back down the pipe for Chandler.
Chandler's being real active these first 60 seconds.
Ripping the body. Really smart here from Chandler.
Ooh, good leg kick by Gaethje, though.
Gaethje trying to figure it out. He did the same
good
thing
right
in the
hand
first
by
round
Gaethje over
here.
the top.
Gaethje now looks like he might have rocked Chandler a little bit. He's got him backing up now.
Whoever's moving forward has been winning this fight so far. It's been as simple as that. Big uppercut.
There was a left hand before the uppercut. Overhand right for Gaethje. Surprised that he kind of stepped off the gas there up against the cage.
A little bit. I thought he was going to really unload against Chandler, but maybe he's worried that if he really engages on Chandler, that's going to force Chandler to become a wrestler.
Big time left hand lands for Justin Gaethje. Uppercut knocks him down!
Uppercut! He
Justin
Gaethje!
He hit him in the back of the head!
That's fine, but Craig, he was moving. That's not
Michael
his fault.
Chandler.
Big shot by Justin Gaethje. Chandler is hurt.
Now we've got wrestler Chandler. He's in on a single, but it's low and it's deep.
Ooh. That was a big shot by Gaethje, though. Chandler is in all sorts of trouble.
Gaethje is perplexed at what he needs to do at this point.
He doesn't really know how to get out of this single leg.
Gaethje sprawled completely out.
Chandler's off it, though. He doesn't have it anymore. Gaethje has him hurt.
Justin Gaethje firing up the middle. Michael Chandler doing his best downward dog.
But this is what Gaethje needs. He needs more of this. He needs more shots to the head because Gaethje's hurt.
A lot of blood coming out of Michael Chandler's head here.
Michael Chandler's busted open right now. We can't really see the damage because his face is up against the mat, but that was a big shot by Gaethje.
Gaethje doing a good job here in this exchange. Now he looks like he's grabbing. Is he going to go for the submission? Is he going to roll? Chandler's in a bad way.
Gaethje has one of the craziest chins in MMA. I'll say that.
Justin Gaethje here.
Wow, what a shot.
Doing a good job of controlling position. We saw this earlier in the night with Nasruddin Imavov and Edmund Shabazian.
We did, but if I'm Gaethje, I disengage. I think this is Chandler's best chance to get back into the fight.
Back up to the feet.
Chandler seems wobbly on his feet, though. He's really trying to force the knockout, it seems.
He's moving forward. He's setting up that overhand right, that Chandler special. And that lands on your forehead. It's good night.
It is, but now he's eating a leg kick. He ate another uppercut.
Body shot there from Chandler. That was a great shot. Almost looked a little below
I think he got hurt by the uppercut, though. Yeah, Chandler's hurt right now. He's going to be going all or nothing, I think, with that right hand.
Chandler calling for the shots. Big time uppercut, Chandler.
Big uppercut. Gaethje might have been able to block it, though, with his arm. That's the difference. Gaethje does seem to have improved defense in this fight.
Left hook lands for Justin Gaethje.
Justin Gaethje.
The takedown defense and the sprawling hips of Justin Gaethje.
Justin Gaethje just got to hit him to wake him up. Lead uppercut by Gaethje. That's some Kelvin Gastelum stuff.
Justin Gaethje moving and shaking.
These
Michael
guys. Chandler's hurt.
Oh! Superman punch lands for Michael Chandler.
Wow. What a shot. When you thought he had nothing left.
Minute 20 remaining in this round.
Oh, big
time
leg kick, though.
Those sprawling hips from Gaethje.
Gaethje's so fast with his hips. Been training with Robert Whittaker.
Uppercut, Justin.
Those shots up the middle are landing every time he throws them. They're beautiful uppercuts.
We got a minute,
big
4 seconds.
Hand. Justin Gaethje's accuracy has been phenomenal this round.
Justin Gaethje doing an amazing job. And if you question this man's heart, his toughness, or his cardio,
I question Michael Chandler's chin, but oh my goodness, he has eaten some shots this fight.
Body shots from Chandler.
Another right hand, though, from Gaethje to respond. Chandler's wearing it right now.
Michael Chandler really attacking the body well, and he's landing a couple nice ones up top after.
He has been, but it feels like the more damaging shots have definitely been landed by Gaethje.
35 seconds remaining here in our second round.
This has been another wild round, but Gaethje's definitely landed the harder shots this time.
Michael Chandler coming out of the southpaw stance here.
I think that leg's hurt that lead leg, and that's why he's probably switching so much.
Another nice leg kick there from Gaethje.
How many significant strikes? All of them. There has not been an insignificant strike.
Justin Gaethje working. 13 seconds remaining.
Big right hand by Chandler. Might have been poked in the eye, Gaethje. Oh!
Ooh! Justin Gaethje, I'm going to pause it right there.
Gaethje gets poked in the eye with about 10 seconds left, and Chandler tries to land a big follow-up shot. Now, luckily I don't think it landed, but that seemed to be a little cheap.
That did hit. And listen, I mean, for Chandler, referee didn't step in. Let's see. I don't know if there was a poke there.
No, when he slapped it, he did.
All right, we're going to end the round here. There's a few seconds left. We're not going to get anything out of it. So there you go. It's the end between the second and the third. Justin Gaethje having a word with referee Mike Beltran. But Matt, for me, I mean, listen.
I think Gaethje's up 2-0.
Michael Chandler's in a bad way. I've got it tied 19-19. You let us know in the comments section. But one guy's wearing this fight on his face. The other guy fresher than a daisy.
That uppercut did some serious damage on Michael Chandler. We might be able to see it again.
Jonathan Cesare, I wouldn't say screw Chandler. He was just coming around the defenses there. It wasn't like it was the most intentional strike there.
No, I don't think it was the bait. No. Eye pokes happen, guys.
Yeah, he was going to grab the head and he ended up raking it.
It's not great, though. Still, for Gaethje, big round. The first round was really close. Both guys landed big shots, but Gaethje definitely has the momentum. He had the big knockdown there with the uppercut, and that was a technique that just kept on landing over and over and over again. So I'll be surprised if Chandler's able to eat these shots for another 5 minutes.
All right, we're getting ready for our third and final round. Again, I want to know how you're scoring this fight. There's quite a few of you tuning in so far. You let us know over there. We'll get the timer ready for our third round. This has been an amazing fight. And so glad that they put this right here, but I can't wait for this one.
This should be absolutely insane. Both guys have had good success. Chandler a lot with the right hand. With Gaethje, he's had the left hook and the right uppercut that have landed a lot this fight. And the leg kicks, oh my goodness, every time they are landing.
Good time inside leg kick there from Gaethje on that one. Lands a nice pawing jab out there too.
It's weird. Gaethje has really good high volume techniques. He just doesn't really throw them a lot.
He's hurt the leg of Michael Chandler. He took a bit of a time. Yeah. Now he's switching stance over to southpaw.
And that's the thing. Chandler's not a guy who switches stances a lot in his game. This isn't something you see very often. That normally means his leg has to be compromised. He's just sort of on his bike right now when he's unorthodox.
Good job here from Gaethje, but I mean, Chandler's definitely a cardio king. This guy can wrestle for a full 25 minutes and then some. We've seen it. Great jab out there. The Trevin Giles special with the power jab there from Justin Gaethje.
This isn't Gaethje Yamauchi, though. This guy has a lot more punching power.
Big time right hand there from Chandler, and another nice jab there from Gaethje, who continues to whip that leg kick out there. We talked about it in the preview and the build-up to this one. That low leg kick is money for Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, Gaethje's been able to land it a lot, especially the outside leg kick, but Chandler's doing a good job with his forward pressure so far in this round.
Really good job here from Chandler. The uppercut from Gaethje.
This has been a back and forth fight.
Chandler continues to walk him down. 3:35 remaining in our third round.
Yeah, Chandler's moving forward a lot. This is how he's going to have to win the fight. You got to keep this forward pressure going because he's had success when he's moving forward with combinations.
Chandler's doing a really good job at this point.
Ooh, big right hand from Gaethje, though. Responds. Chandler. Oh, another body shot.
Chandler with these hooks to the body.
Chandler's doing what he has to do, though.
Nice check left hook there from Gaethje.
What nice a back and forth fight.
Ooh, big time uppercut.
Oh, and a left hook followed behind it. Those are big shots.
I don't know if you can get a better chin, but where did Michael Chandler pick his up?
Him and Andre Arlovsky have figured it out. The fountain of youth for durability.
Southern Florida in the water.
This has been back and forth. That leg kick really hurt Chandler, too. He was pinned down.
Chandler's going to wrestle. He picks Gaethje up for the takedown.
Gaethje with the scramble, though. He's able to get out of it.
Chandler looked like he might have even hit his head on that flip.
Yeah, that was some Junior Dos Santos, Cain Velasquez 3 right there.
2 minutes, 42 seconds remaining, and Justin Gaethje's got the back and the hands locked.
Wow, what a scramble from Gaethje. If he was held down for the rest of that 2 minutes, we don't know what this fight was going to look like.
Good uppercut there from Gaethje in the clinch.
Oh my goodness, this fight.
We got an amazing fight here. Halfway through the third round. It's a close one.
Oh my goodness, that takedown would have been key.
Oh,
big left hook.
Whoo! 2 minutes and 18 seconds remaining. Chandler's got to start to get on his bike and land.
How is Michael Chandler standing, though, from all these power shots?
Big time jab lands from Gaethje, and those hooks to the body from Chandler.
He needs more of that. That's what Eddie Alvarez did to Gaethje, and he had great success going to the body.
Nice leg kick there from Gaethje. Nice body kick from Chandler.
Again, this is what Chandler needs. You got to move forward.
He's got Gaethje wobbled. He hit the uppercut.
Whew. A lot of forward pressure from Chandler right now.
Oh, he just missed an uppercut. Michael Chandler's landing at will. Gaethje's in a bad...
Oh! He hurt Michael Chandler. Chandler might be out on his feet. That was a big counter shot.
Ooh, clash of heads there.
Yeah, but that was just takedown defense.
Oh, he eats a left hand. Michael Chandler's done.
Yeah, he is hurt right now, and he cannot move very well with that leg compromise.
Gaethje's got to pour it on.
Gaethje's just being smart.
Oh, he lands left hook.
When Gaethje's unloading...
Oh, my gosh, Michael Chandler!
Chandler's got to put his hands up. He can't keep eating shots like this.
Michael Chandler walking him down like Sam Alvey marching Pacquiao.
This has been an absolute barn burner of a fight.
Michael Chandler is a zombie.
He really is.
Oh,
Gaethje
Justin
can't
Gaethje.
miss. Gaethje cannot miss with his power punches right now.
Iron Mike showed up tonight.
Did he ever? Gaethje might be tired, though. He's throwing a lot of shots this fight.
All right, there's a minute remaining in our third round. This is the wildest fight I've ever seen.
Michael Chandler's leaving it all out there right now. He has eaten some big shots this fight. He's just moving away from Gaethje right now because that leg must be hurt, and I doubt he wants to eat more big counter shots.
Oh my gosh.
Woo! Gaethje's face, or Chandler's face, is busted.
Rogan's got to cut it out. 40 seconds remaining here in our third round.
Woo! What a fight
Shut
this has
up.
been, Craig.
32 seconds remaining.
Okay, you're not Thiago Santos.
I'm surprised neither guy's gone for more shots at this point.
I think Gaethje thinks he's got it in the bag, though, with these big power shots landing in the third. He's had Chandler hurt on multiple occasions.
20 seconds remaining. I mean, to me, Chandler's got to land a big action here.
Yeah, I think he's got to do something to get the momentum back, because round 1 was close, but I think 2 and 3 were definitely for Gaethje.
Less than 10 seconds.
Wow, what a fight this has been. A back and forth battle if ever there was one. And this is a fight where I don't think either guy's going to really lose stock after this.
An amazing fight. That's one of the best fights I've ever seen in my entire life. To me, I've got a 29-28 Gaethje, but it's anybody's guess.
I think, yeah, I agree with that. But that's one of the great fights of the year, of the decade. That's just, oh my goodness, what a fight that was. Whew. If only we had 10 more minutes of that, Craig.
Man, what an amazing fight. You let us know over in the comments section how you scored that one. Anybody's guess. But, I mean, both guys had giant actions early in the fight. Chandler had him rocked in the second round. Gaethje nearly finished the fight.
In the third round, he nearly finished the fight? Oh, my goodness.
That's an amazing one right there. And, I mean, man, both guys, I mean, that's a performance bonus. That's the fight of the night.
That's going to feel good for Gaethje if he is able to get that decision. Like, he earned that win tonight.
Oh, man.
That was an absolutely insane fight. Like, that was everything we hoped it was going to be and more. It's not often that you get 2 fight of the night type of fighters, and they actually deliver on what we've been trying to promise for a while, but luckily we had it, and it was everything and more. Justin Gaethje showed off phenomenal takedown defense, which is really nice to see. And Michael Chandler somehow developed one of the great chins of our time overnight.
That giant flip from Chandler.
And yeah, the scramble now. We saw that against Poirier when Poirier took him down. He was able to scramble out of that immediately. Now, I didn't think he was going to be able to do that against a guy like Michael Chandler, who's so good on the map, but like, wow. That was insane.
That was fight of the year right there. I mean, that if you like fights, that's the one. I mean, Mason Jones, David Onama the other week was amazing.
I'm sorry.
This is one of the best fights I've ever seen. My voice is hoarse. I don't know how I'm going to make it through the next 4, but we're going to get the decision here. I mean, these two guys left it all in the cage. They ate each other's power shots. I mean, that was absolutely amazing.
I don't care about the guaranteed rate. Give me the decision.
All right, we get the scorecards from Bruce Buffer.
So yeah, 29-28. Maybe 30-27 Gaethje. The first round was close, I think, but I don't see a lot of other people saying that.
Yeah, I got a 29-28.
Hey.
Justin Gaethje, your winner right there. A giant win on his career.
Wow.
I mean, this guy hasn't had a boring fight since he's been in the UFC. Even his fight against Khabib, it was right there for Khabib, but man, absolutely love that one. That was insane.
I hope we get Gaethje versus Charles Oliveira or Gaethje versus Poirier too. Here's the thing. I think Islam Makhachev is a really good fighter. Do I really want to see him fight Justin Gaethje right now? Not really, because Gaethje is a very, very fun action fighter. That was everything we hoped it would be and more. And hopefully Dana White does reward Gaethje for putting on a type of performance like this. I know that sounds like both guys, but no. Like, I mean Gaethje with his matchmaking next. Like, I hope they don't make him fight Beneil Dariush and then a title shot. Like, either give him a title shot or maybe Islam, and that's about it. Those are the only 2 options for Gaethje after that absolutely phenomenal fight.
I think he gets the title shot.
I do too. I'm just saying, like, I don't think there's a lot to do after this fight for Gaethje. Like, he more than deserves it if that's what he does get next. So, Poirier fights Oliveira in when? December. So that's pretty close, a month away? We might be able to see Gaethje versus Poirier 2 in the spring, or Gaethje versus Oliveira 1, which would be such a good fight. I'd be so excited for that. Like, in the near future, which would be an absolutely amazing fight. Like, this division is as good as any. I think it's bantamweight, lightweight, and featherweight. Those are kind of the 3 glory divisions in the UFC right now.
Amazing fight there at lightweight. And I mean, again, you talk about some of the best fights of the year. That's right up there. That's going to be in the top 10s, the top 5s, all of the countdowns.
Number 1.
That's hitting a highlight reel. But Walker Scott saying give him Conor.
He would destroy him.
Conor McGregor should be fighting like prelim up-and-comers in the UFC at this point.
This is my whole problem. It was like the Nick Diaz thing. if you take a lot of time off and you've made a lot of money, and then you start getting punched in the head for 5 minutes, you start like actually thinking about the whole thing. You're like, hey, this isn't very fun anymore. I think McGregor's gonna end, like, I just don't think McGregor wants to get into a Justin Gaethje type of a fight in this stage of his career. Is it really worth it? Like, yeah, if you win, that's great. But even if you win, you're probably going to take an absolutely crazy amount of damage while doing it. So I just don't think he's going to try to take a fight like that. Like, if you're Conor, why wouldn't you fight, I don't know, Dariush isn't a big name, but it's probably a winnable fight for McGregor. I guess he's probably going to do the Diaz trilogy next, I would assume.
It's hard to tell, I guess.
Because I know the UFC's talked about giving Chimaev Diaz, because it's Diaz's last fight in his contract. But maybe if they can convince Diaz to re-up on his contract, maybe they would end up doing the Conor trilogy instead of the Chimaev fight for him. That would make a lot of sense to me. So, yeah. Just, like, lightweight is an amazing division right now, though. Like, bantamweight, a lot of people say, oh, bantamweight's the best division. I still think 155 is the best division in the UFC.
It's definitely a good one for sure. And now we flip it on over and get ready, Matt, for our next one. Shane Burgos, Billy Quarantillo. And if you like that last fight, this one's right up there. I mean, it's going to be hard to duplicate or replicate what we had in our last one, but Shane Burgos, Hurricane Shane, taking on Billy Quarantillo. You talk about guys that can get it done. You talk about fun clash of styles. This is a great fight.
This is a phenomenal fight. And this fight is another one that you're not worried about what they're going to look like between minute 1 and minute 15. Like, they're going to look like similar versions of themselves no matter what stage of this fight they're at. And I really do think this could be another fight of the night contender. I know that's hard to say after what we just saw, and it's going to be hard to keep that level of excitement for this one, but oh my goodness. Like, I think this is going to be a great fight. Like, what? We had more people get excited about this in our interviews pre-show than Gaethje versus Chandler. That's how good of a fight this is. And it's sort of interesting. Featherweight right now, it's got a sort of new champion. He hasn't fought a lot of the contenders. It feels like it's sort of wide open. You've got guys like Gaethje who sort of come out of nowhere. So if Billy Q is able to get this win over Burgos, he's a pretty big name in the featherweight division. He's going to be another one of these guys who's sort of gone from, zero to hero in only like 12 months.
And the craziest thing, too, there is a lot of support out there for Quarantillo in this one. And I say it's crazy because Burgos definitely fought those top guys. I mean, he's got that loss at 220 against Calvin Kattar. He's got a fight against Edson Barboza, so on and so forth. For Quarantillo, you talk about comeback wins. Fight against Spike Carlisle, he looked like he was going to go out maybe in the first round. And then he just rallies back and picks up a giant win in that one, sending Carlisle kind of really soul-searching. And now he's had to, lose a little bit more and kind of build his way back up on the regional scene. Some weird promo with Uriah Hall.
Drinking a Modelo? That
didn't
weird.
look good in his last fight, but they're going with him. So really, I mean, Mike O'Connell, I get Billy Q for the finish at plus 400. Corey McGregor also has Billy, but Matt, I mean, Billy Quarantillo plus 165 underdog, minus 195, the favorite Burgos. I didn't have any strong feelings on this one and had it more as a pop and popcorn because I had a hard time trying to pick this fight.
It is a really tough fight to pick, but I do still, I'm pretty confident in the Shane Burgos pick. I think he is the superior boxer, and I do think if he's able to land combinations early, he's going to be able to damage Quarantillo to the point where Quarantillo's crazy cardio won't really be a factor. And like you said, he almost kind of like gave away the secret for us. It was like, hey, we called out your cardio, and then you told us the body shot hurt you. Shane Burgos is known for his tremendous body shots. And again, I'm not like anyone can get hurt by a body shot if you're inhaling and if you've ever been hit in the stomach, even by like a soccer ball. It hurts really, really, really bad. So I can only imagine getting kicked by Gavin Tucker. My point is, though, Shane Burgos is one of the more prolific body snatchers, if you will, in the UFC. And he's not afraid to mix up his combinations to all three levels. Throw the leg kick, mix in his body punches with his headshots. So I think if he is able to get those water in the basement sort of techniques going early, he'll be able to win this fight later on, similar to the Charles Rosa fight.
Yeah, it should be a great one. I mean, Shane Burgos out of that Tiger Showman camp, you know exactly what those guys are going after. I mean, they're going to work the body. They're going to rip the low kicks. They're going to have good cardio. And I mean, for Billy Quarantillo, this is a guy, he comes on so strong as the fight goes on. He's got that ability to just continue to pour on the pressure. And the gas tank's there for days. So again, I see where that support is for him. At Fight Night Picks over on Instagram for this one, Matt. It's not really close. I mean, 69% going with Shane Burgos to 31% Quarantillo. But I don't know. I mean, it looks like he had his eyebrows plucked in the promo. So good for him. You got a Manscaped. We're also presented by Manscaped. Use promo code FMP. You're going to get 20% off and free shipping. But Matt, in a fight like this, I mean, yeah, it's one of those ones where I think striking defense is going to play a huge part, and you have to be dynamic as well with that.
And these are two guys who don't mind getting hit in the head every now and then, so we might not see a lot of striking defense at all. No, I do agree. I think it will be a really big factor because neither guy's really shown that to be a great ability of theirs. Like, if Shane Burgos all of a sudden just added a tremendous defensive game on the feet, then he would automatically be like a top 6 fighter in this division. That's how special his boxing and his volume punching is. It's just, he does sort of lack the intangibles. I know we talk about that all the time, and it is really hard to describe, like, what are the intangibles in MMA? But with Shane Burgos, like, he's a good but not great wrestler. He has a questionable chin, and I think that's fair to say. I think Shane Burgos has a really good chin, but when you've been stopped multiple times and when you've been dropped a lot throughout your MMA career, I understand it's by guys like Edson Barbosa, Josh Emmett, Kurt Hollowbaugh, and Calvin Kattar, but still, those are fairly big punchers. I'm just saying, once it's happened 3 or 4 times through your career, I think that is something we can call into question. I just don't think Billy Q has big enough power to really hurt Burgos if he is able to land. Now, if Billy Q lands in combination, like kind of rolling downhill, as we say, similar to Giannis going to the hoop, then maybe he can string together enough shots to hurt Burgos. I just don't think he'll be able to. And I do think if he does spend too much time in the pocket, that's when Burgos' own strengths are really going to shine.
The funniest part about this fight, if you're paying attention in Canada, they show a commercial on TSN all the time for Rogers, and you see it, Connor McDavid's running, and he's got his headphones in, and then they show him kind of videoing into the Gary Roberts Performance Center, and he's talking with one of the coaches that's there. The craziest part about that, on the flip side, I talked about that in the preview, Billy Quarantillo beat the other guy that trains the athletes at the Gary Roberts Performance Center, Adrian Valeca, when he was with King of the Cage, and they just highlighted it there, former King of the Cage champ. He beat Adrian to book his spot on Contender Series to then get into the UFC. So it's crazy how that kind of comes full circle with the NHL, the commercials, and now Billy Quarantillo fighting on a big-time pay-per-view card. This is the biggest fight of his life.
This is a massive opportunity for him. This is his first chance to get into the rankings, too. So this is a really important fight for Billy Q. Like, will he just be one of those really fun fighters outside the rankings? Similar to, like, maybe a Nico Price at 170. Like, you know, we always can rely on him to put on a really fun and entertaining fight. I'm sure he'll get other kind of pay-per-view main card slots just because they can rely on him to put on an entertaining fight. But it's going to be hard to really say, wow, he can beat top 15 guys.
Shane Burgos popping the tarp off early, and this is a guy who has his hair braided.
He does.
His hair's cut, and he's got his beard in check. Now, for Shane Burgos, again, we talk about it, coming out of one of those smaller gyms, and he's been there for a very long time, the specialized training that goes along with that is absolutely through the charts. You love to see it.
You really do. I'm so excited for this fight. I think this is going to be another, like, barn burner. I doubt they're going to do 2 fight of the nights because it's going to be hard for anything to even come close to what we just saw, but if any other fight on this card can do it, I think this is the one.
Shane Burgos getting the Vaseline. Highest strike rate in UFC featherweight history. Good takedown defense. And the fact that he is a proven finisher in his fights. He's on a 2-fight losing streak, though.
And you don't love that. But again, you have to take into consideration his level of opposition. Like, Billy Q's last 2 fights have not been Josh Emmett and Edson Barbosa levels. Like, I think we can all agree on that much. Now, Shane Burgos looked really good in that Josh Emmett fight until he didn't. The first 2 rounds were extremely competitive, and then Burgos ate like 6 overhand rights in the 3rd round and got dropped a lot, but Josh Emmett's one of the biggest power punchers in the division, really pound for pound in the UFC, so it'll be interesting to see when will cardio really play a factor, because both guys do fight with such a furious pace throughout 50 minutes. Will it be at the 7-minute mark when Billy Q starts to take over? Or will Shane Burgos be able to really make this more a fight based on technique and less based on cardio and nutrition?
Dan, over in the comments section, I don't think it's going to play a big factor, but who knows? We've got this next fight, Matt, where I'm going to flip it on back over to this view because you talk about the striking stats for Shane Burgos. It's something that we don't see very often, but the high motor Billy Q could definitely be the difference maker in this fight. He is actually the older fighter and at a reach disadvantage too.
And it feels like all week he's kind of been billed as the prospect on his way up the ranks, but Burgos has been weird. He sort of came into the UFC at a very young age and was thrown into the fire immediately and has fought nothing but killers throughout his whole run. So I think that's why Burgos is so respected, and that's why he still is a ranked fighter.
Should be an amazing fight. Diego saying Burgos looks ready. A little bit of commentary over there. Mike is saying Billy does look ready. 100%. Both guys fit and ready, getting ready for this one. You know the drill. There's going to be a leg. So just kind of sync it up with us. I'll get the timer ready as we kick off our first round at featherweight between unranked Billy Quarantillo and the man with the number next to his name. It's Shane Burgos and the tattoos on his left leg. And this is a guy that hits with reckless intent.
He does, and he does not mind giving up defense in pursuit of offense. Not a lot of guys are like that. I guess Michael Chandler and Justin Gaethje are both like that. But Burgos is really unique in that aspect. He does not mind getting hit. Now, it cost him his last fight. Edson Barbosa teed off on Burgos, and he did look great in that matchup. But I don't think Billy Q has the kicks of Barbosa or the range-finding weapons of him. I think he's really going to have to try to wear on Burgos, especially early.
All right, we're getting ready for our first round. Shane Burgos taking on Billy Quarantillo. Toss us a like if you can, and we'll get this show on the road with our second fight on the main card of, UFC 268. Keith Peterson, Fake Me Out. And here we go. Wow. Quarantillo, Burgos. Burgos takes the center of the cage. And the first action out of Quarantillo is a nice leg kick. Don't think it was able to land. Big uppercut from Quarantillo early.
I think that's what you have to do, though. Go after the legs of Burgos. Don't let him use that really dynamic movement.
Big time right hand lands for Billy. And now he's going uppercut city.
He's trying to make it an ugly fight with Burgos because you can't let Burgos just stand on the outside and really find his range.
Quarantillo throwing it all out there early in the first 30 seconds. Now Burgos composing himself. And apparently I'm talking like a guy from North Dakota, but really good jab out there pumping it out from Burgos.
Yeah, no, he's looked good so far, but Billy has a good game plan, or at least you can see the beginnings of it. Make this fight ugly. Get that single collar tie. Throw a lot of uppercuts. Threaten a little bit with my wrestling.
Body shot, kick, and that one lands a little bit low for Burgos, but those uppercuts finding a home for Quarantillo.
That must have been a big key for them in camp as Burgos lands a nice right hook over the top.
Big time right hand. Quarantillo looks like he's with it, and he eats a leg kick for his troubles.
That was a big shot, though, by Burgos. And you can tell when Burgos lets his hands go, he has the much faster hands.
Quarantillo getting wrestled. Burgos tying him up here.
Been a very interesting fight, but this is what Billy Q's known for. You feel his presence when you fight him. He's always marching forward.
Shane Burgos got his hands locked, but Quarantillo doing a good job getting one underhook. He's got the elbow clasped here now.
Interesting to see. I don't know what the odds were for who was going to shoot first, but I definitely didn't think it was going to be Burgos.
110%. Burgos has this back up against the ESPN turnbuckle in the Howler head corner.
Whew.
Foot stomps from Burgos, you love to see it.
And a really interesting game plan because I would assume Billy is the better grappler just on paper on this matchup. I know Shane Burgos does have a lot of wins by submission, but they came very much earlier on in his career.
Now Billy eating a knee and he lands one of his own. Now we're on the break.
Both guys landed real good shots only 2 minutes into the fight so far.
Quarantillo switching stances, coming back in the orthodox look. Lead left hook from him.
When you're fighting Quarantillo, it's just weird angles all the time. He's kind of stiff. He's throwing big looping shots. It's a lot to kind of process.
Big time uppercut lands for Quarantillo and then a left hand behind it.
Big right hook, though, from Burgos. Every time he's responding with that one big shot, he seems to land. But nice left hook by Quarantillo.
This fight's going to end Dan Hardy, Carlos Condit-esque.
Yeah, a lot of guys landing at the exact same time. Good call.
Nice leg kick check from Quarantillo. A little bit of blood on his back.
It feels like Burgos is the more powerful out of the two, but the numbers are definitely siding with Quarantillo, though.
Burgos continuing to pop that jab out there, and Billy Q, he's feinting that takedown. You saw that earlier in the night. Phil Hawes was having a lot of success against Chris Curtis doing that.
Both guys are just winging on some big knockout punches. Like, if Burgos lands one of those overhand rights, it's going to clip Billy Q right on the ear and put him down. But if Billy lands any of those uppercuts or even his own overhand right, like, those are damaging shots.
Billy landing a nice right hand, and he's working out of that southpaw stance, switching back over to orthodox. Are you surprised at all that neither one of these guys has targeted the body with the hands?
I am, because that was a really big key to this fight for Burgos, or at least I believed it was. But nice big overhead. But that's the problem. When Quarantillo's really committing to the power on his punches, that's when he's leaving himself open to the counter shots of Burgos.
Burgos doing a really good job here, landing that right hand out. And for Quarantillo, he's putting everything into these shots. Some nice uppercuts, though.
He's really trying to wear on Burgos, and it's been to great effect so far.
Burgos, the bleeder in the fight.
Yeah, great first round for Billy so far. Really has been nice. He's made great improvements with his striking throughout his UFC tenure. That has to be said.
Another nice uppercut lands that. Antonio Tarver boxing in the corner.
It's like Shane Burgos is trying to fight like our boy Adrian Yanez against Randy Costa. Like, he's eaten a lot of shots, but he is able to land his own boxing combos.
Single leg takedown attempt from Quarantillo. Is he going to be able to get it with almost a minute remaining in the round? No, sir.
Hard to take Burgos down, but this is what Billy needs. He's just got to wear on Burgos.
Now he's got the hands clasped. Burgos having success in the grappling in
He's doing a good job with the clinch every single time, just knowing what to do. Is always the best thing? No, but he knows exactly what his game plan is. I want to get the hands locked, and I want to circle him to the cage.
Less than a minute remaining here. They break. And for Burgos, he has to have a big final minute if he even wants to sniff winning this round.
Without a doubt. He's going to land something big to get the momentum back because the volume of Quarantillo is really starting to add up.
Big time right hand lands for Quarantillo. He gets dropped.
Big right hand, though, and he hit him with an uppercut on the way up, too.
Quarantillo's rocked.
Both guys landed big shots. Finally, we see a body shot out of Burgos.
Burgos starting to land here.
And he did exactly what you wanted from him, Greg.
Billy Q back in this fight, though.
Both guys have been able to land some big shots in this one. We've been spoiled with MMA fights tonight.
Could have been a slip there, you never know. But for Billy, he's back up and he's swinging.
He's able to land at a really high clip against Burgos. I thought Burgos would have more success at this range with Billy.
Quarantillo doing a great job landing here. Nice elbows there. Really deterred that takedown attempt from Burgos.
Yeah, Burgos is doing great in the grappling, but Quarantillo with a very successful first round.
To me, whether that was a knockdown, whether that was a slip, I've got that at 10-9 for Billy Q.
I think it was. I think he got hurt, but I don't know if it was considered a knockdown. But yes, I would agree. I still think it was for Quarantillo. Really interesting round, though. Both guys had a lot of success, but Quarantillo was able to get that single collar tie, really wear on Burgos to make him feel his presence throughout this. But Burgos did land some big counter right hooks throughout that round.
85 total strikes, 65 significant for Quarantillo. I mean, able to do great work there in the striking against the primary striker and making him think, too, with some of those takedown attempts. So, I mean, really good job trying to, I don't know, deter the takedown attempts from Burgos. He did a great job there, but big-time surprise with Quarantillo and that fight IQ out of Tarver Boxing.
And he's just doing a lot, which is really nice to see. He's not giving Burgos time to really set up his shots, which really I thought would be the key to this fight. So it's nice to see Billy really follow his game plan.
Kyle Kelly, I think I gave him his flowers and then some in that prediction video. There was no slagging Billy in this one. Big time opportunity here. This is going to be a big round for these two guys at 145. We'll get the 5-minute timer started. Quarantillo and Burgos.
85-64 for significant strikes. Like, those are ridiculous numbers for one round.
Ooh, Billy really putting that right hand out there. He is landing at will.
He's just winging it, but Burgos landed a good uppercut of his own.
Spinning back fist from Billy. Who is he, Rob Doshvili?
He's all over him, though, just throwing everything.
Billy continues to land, and a guy with a high motor, you'd think he can keep this pace
right
up.
hand.
His right hand is a laser beam tonight.
Billy Quarantillo, new wrinkles every time.
Billy is absolutely hitting his stride in this fight.
Yeah, he's able to land every time he's throwing with combination, but Burgos does seem to be the heavier-handed guy when he is able to land.
Burgos landed a big-time right hand.
But Burgos needs more. He can't just wait and allow Quarantillo to really come back in and start wearing on him again.
Burgos doing a good job. He lands another right hand of his own, and if he pumped that jab out there, who knows? Big right hand from Quarantillo, but it's followed back by another one from Burgos.
Burgos trying to put some pressure on him. It's just so hard to pressure Quarantillo because you almost have to be in a defensive shell when you fight him. He's throwing that much volume.
Already a minute into this round, these guys are absolutely going at it. And you talked about it. I mean,
good inside leg kick by Shane Burgos. That was some
that
high
was a
fight
drop
IQ.
right there from Burgos, landing another inside leg kick on Quarantillo, who's turned wrestler, going for a single. I don't think he's going to be able to get it.
That was a beautiful leg kick, though, from Shane Burgos. Like, that was really nice stuff to counter the pressure.
Quarantillo really working for this takedown.
This has been such a nice performance from Quarantillo, though, so far. But he needs more of this. Just keep on wearing on Shane Burgos. Don't ever allow him to get range in your fight, and you'll have a lot of success.
3:30 remaining in our second round between these guys. This has been an amazing fight after a possible fight of the year, last one out.
Without a doubt. These guys saw that fight and thought, hey, we really got to try to get our bonus, too.
Let's turn it up to 11 if those guys were 12.
Quarantillo now the favorite in the live betting.
Minus 160 favorite in the live odds.
From Burgos, but that's the thing. Burgos has got to really throw when he's got Billy Q up against the cage.
Burgos landed a nice right hand to the body there. Quarantillo, you saw the hands drop a little bit.
But he needs more of that. He can't just land the one shot and kind of admire it afterwards. He's really got to start stringing his punches together.
If the first one was a slip, Diego, the second one, that was a kick that
but
connected
no, that's
the
not
inside.
considered a knockdown. The leg kick's not considered a knockdown, though. No, it's not. If I just off-balance you with a leg kick, that's not a knockdown.
Yeah, had Burgos with a little bit of a slip of his own, and Quarantillo looking to go for a bit of a guillotine. I don't think he was able to get it. Now Burgos popped out.
These guys have been able to keep an absolutely furious pace through 7.5 minutes of this fight. It'll be interesting to see if either guy can keep it up.
Quarantillo slips again, though. I will give you that.
I don't know if there's just a lot of blood and sweat on the cage after what we just saw, but both guys seem to have a hard time keeping their footing.
Burgos looking to push forward. Landing another one of those inside kicks.
But Burgos has sort of turned into a counterpuncher all of a sudden. When he's at his most successful, he's the person putting volume together. As he lands a good right over the top, though.
Big right hands landed from Burgos. Now he's starting to find the target. Hits one with the left.
How the turntables. All of a sudden at the halfway point mark, Burgos is the one landing big shots.
Right hand from Quarantillo, and he telegraphs one.
That was a big looping shot. If Burgos can start to land, this will be a really interesting second half of the round.
Burgos is really starting to find his stride right here.
He will be. But again, he's got to make Quarantillo pay for this. He can't just allow him to keep on throwing those winging shots.
That inside leg kick for Burgos, and Billy Q really goes for a telegraph takedown attempt. And for Burgos, this takedown defense has been amazing, and now he's starting to land.
Yeah, he's really starting to put pressure on Quarantillo now, as Quarantillo's starting to tire a little bit.
Again, are you surprised? Big uppercut lands for Billy Q. We've forgotten about the body shots, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not surprised either guy's getting tired, if that's what you're going to add. Like, this has been one of the crazier paces we've ever seen. I guess since the last fight, I guess. But still, both guys fighting at a wild pace.
Both guys absolutely going at it, and Burgos mounting a comeback in the second round here.
Yeah, he's really been able to land a lot more power shots in this one.
Shoulder strike from Quarantillo, but a right on the break from Burgos.
Yeah, Quarantillo is moving like a very tired man on the feet. Burgos, but he's still able to land.
50 seconds remaining. That inside leg kick. And for Quarantillo, he hasn't switched stances as much. He was doing good work out of the southpaw stance.
Big right hand, though.
Right hand lands for Q.
Shane Burgos, goodness, he can eat big shots. He shouldn't do it as much as he does, but...
35 seconds remaining in the round.
Just a back and forth fight. That jab from Quarantillo is finding a home every time.
Oh, right hand from Quarantillo.
Oh, they both land big right hands.
Oh, Quarantillo's hurt.
He might be out on his feet. 25 seconds left.
Oh!
He's hurt. Billy Q is out on his feet right now.
Oh, he's continuing. Hands
15
down.
seconds left, though. Oh, Burgos lands some big shots. Billy Q is hurt.
Shane Burgos.
12 seconds left in the round. Can he finish it before the end?
He's got to pour it on.
Oh, Billy Q is hurt.
Oh, the right hand finds the home.
These have been some big shots. Oh, they're letting it go, though. He's going to be able to make it to the third.
Shane Burgos clinches at the end of the round on one of the more questionable things that we've seen.
There was 1 second. I don't think he was going to knock him out. He won that round, though.
Woo!
Wow, Billy Q is tired. I don't know how he's going to survive these last 5 minutes.
Tied going into the third?
Without a doubt.
Amazing fight so far.
Oh my goodness, these fights have been good. Whew!
You're not Joe Rogan, Matt Allen.
They've been good. Oh, sorry, Craig.
19-19 going into the third. I can't wait to see what the fans have over there in that comment section. You let us know how you're scoring this one. Man, we've got a banger on our hands.
It was all going right for Billy Q when he landed that big right hand, but the second Burgos landed his own, Billy was out on his feet.
Tyler, follow the rules.
This has been absolutely insane. Billy may be done. Yeah, I think he might be.
He's one of those guys. You never know. He comes back in fights. We'll have to see how he recovers, but he was rocked at the end of that second round.
The first 60 seconds are going to tell us a lot about this next round and really this fight.
All right, here we go. Third and final round at 145.
What a fight.
Shane Burgos, Billy Quarantillo. An amazing one so far.
Just back and forth. These last two fights, this whole card has been amazing.
All right. We're a little bit behind. Quarantillo's coming out firing.
He is. He's going all or nothing out here to start the round. That leg is hurt, though. He can't really plant on his left leg whatsoever.
Oh, eats a right hand. Burgos lands.
That might have hurt him, but he's still landing on Burgos. Oh, my goodness.
These guys are absolute gamers. That leg, I'm going to pause it.
The leg's hurt, but he did eat an eye poke, so he's saying get right back into it.
All right, we'll wait because I think our timer went a little bit ahead. There we go. We're back on. We get the timer on, and Quarantillo's looking to land, and he has found a home for these uppercuts in the clinch all night long.
It's like he wasn't even hurt that last round. Like, the recovery of Billy Q has been absolutely phenomenal.
Left hand lands. Both these guys land in these exchanges.
Just trading jabs the last 5 seconds. Big right hand by Burgos, though.
Oh, that leg is destroyed for Quarantillo, but he goes for the uppercut. Now he's hurt.
Yeah, that leg is hurt. I don't know if it's a combination.
Oh, he's down. Now he dropped him on that leg kick.
That could be considered a knockdown, yes, with a leg kick.
He can barely stand. Are you surprised he's not going southpaw?
Well, yeah, not every fighter can fight from both stances.
But he did early in the first round.
But still.
And he did a good job.
He got lit up every time he went that way. When he's orthodox, he's having a lot of success with the right straight.
Quarantillo working for the single leg. The grappling hasn't worked for him so far.
But what else is he going to do? He can't really stand on his leg right now.
Billy's really going after it.
All or nothing. He almost has the back of Burgos, but the takedown defense of Burgos is second to none in this division.
Quarantillo back up. Keith Peterson having a close eye on this action.
Whew. Billy Q is all types of hurt, but he's still moving forward. This is wild. A guy with a leg that compromised normally isn't the one trying to initiate all these exchanges.
Burgos continues to land. Jacko, Burgos has no power, man.
He's got pretty good power. He's hurt him a lot of times.
Big opportunity here for him to get a giant win in one of the greatest fights we've seen.
Big knee to the body from Burgos, though. That might have hurt Billy Q as he goes for a takedown immediately.
Quarantillo back to the cage. About 3 minutes remaining in our third round. Burgos tying him up. A little bit of a surprise here.
I think he's just looking for a time to disengage.
Open space, he'd have a lot more success, one would think. But 2:50 remaining in our third round.
Again, this has been all Burgos. This fight completely changed at like the 2-minute mark left in the second round. It's been all Burgos ever since.
2:40 remaining. Burgos trying to work the body here.
Goes to the body, yeah. He gets the separation. Billy Q's just throwing big shots with his arms. There's just not a lot behind them right now.
Burgos continues to land. Nice body kick from Burgos. He's backed up. Right hand for Quarantillo, who eats a left.
Quarantillo's going for a lot of takedowns right now. And of course, that's what he's going to need. He cannot eat any more kicks to that lead leg right now because it is so compromised.
Foot stomp from Shane Burgos. Quarantillo just trying to reverse a little bit of that momentum, get the takedown off of that exchange. The bodyweight takedown, if anything.
This has been a back and forth brawl.
2 minutes remaining.
Gets the separation finally. Burgos does.
Nice right hand from Billy.
Nice elbow at the middle, too.
Burgos fires one back.
The amount of lead changes we have seen in this fight.
Burgos not going back with those leg kicks.
Big right hand, though. The striking defense has been non-existent this whole entire fight. Burgos seems a little hurt on the feet, though. He might be gassed himself.
Switch stance, too. And a good opportunity for a takedown when Burgos went southpaw is when Quarantillo went for the takedown. He looks like he's got his hands locked trying to trip him down.
Quarantillo, this is good though. He's not just doing the same thing time after time. Like now he's trying to get the back before he actually goes for the takedown. This is good work just switching it up.
1:20 remaining in our third round. Quarantillo going for that deep single leg takedown. He pulls up on it, trips Burgos.
Goes for a leg lock, but Burgos out of it immediately. Burgos is back to his feet in no time.
Shane Burgos' takedown defense in this fight has leveled up immensely. He hit that superstar factor like on Madden tonight.
Yeah, he looks phenomenal in this matchup. Now, this has still been a really close fight though, and it feels like a strong last minute could really win it for either guy.
Burgos really eating some shots here. Quarantillo doing a good job. Leg kick from Burgos.
There, he finally went back to the well. 45 seconds left. This has been a back and forth fight.
These guys are going at it, and if we have performance bonuses, there better be 2 fight of the nights because they've been back-to-back.
Oh, yeah, these have been 2 of the best fights of the year. Neither guy can be denied.
55 seconds remaining. Quarantillo on a takedown attempt. Closing in on 30 seconds. I mean, a big action here could steal this.
It could. It'll be really interesting to see how this fight was scored. 3 very close and competitive rounds.
Burgos doing a good job defending here. 15 seconds remaining in the round.
What an absolute brawl these guys.
Burgos going for his own takedown.
Ooh, good left hands, though. Those were some nice shots.
5 seconds remaining. We're slugging it.
Great hand from Burgos. Quarantillo might be hurt.
Quarantillo's hurt. That's the end of the fight.
Wow.
Matt,
what a fight.
You're trying to score this one. I scored a winner.
I think 29-28 Burgos, but if someone said 29-28 Quarantillo, I probably couldn't disagree with them.
That, again... You just had 2 of the best fights you're ever going to see in your entire life. People are going to look back on UFC 268 like UFC 217. New York, stand up.
This has been an absolutely insane card. We still have 2 more title fights to get to.
Dan says, no way Burgos won this hands down. But I don't understand that. No way Burgos won or Burgos won this hands down. It's a confusing sentence, Don.
What a fight this has been. What an
amazing one.
What an absolutely crazy card. Like, these have been 2 back-to-back, just phenomenal numbered events.
Rebecca Middleditch, gotta love Billy Q. No quit in him. Pay-per-view delivering tonight. Jack saying 29-28 Burgos.
I would agree with you, Jack.
Amazing fight that we just had right there.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane. It's wild to think, though, that might only be the second best fight of the night. Like,
Zero Bob saying Bourgeois won.
Wow.
I agree.
I do too, but like, Billy's better than I thought he was by quite a bit. Like, it seems like his striking's really leveled up. Like, he's really refined all of his game. Like, I think
Who knew
Bortilla could be in the
Antonio
top 15.
Tarver's skills would translate so well to MMA?
Exactly, because it doesn't always work. Like, guys train with boxers all the time, and then they don't look that good in the cage. But Billy seems to have really, like, absorbed a lot of that knowledge and really leveled up his striking.
And I mean, remember, it's not that long ago. Antonio Tarver was supposed to fight Frank Mir on the Triller card.
And
That was Askren Jake Paul, if I'm not mistaken.
What's Triller doing?
All right, we get the final decision on this one. But again, there's got to be a bonus handed out to these guys, too, because that was amazing.
Like, yeah, neither guy lost any stock after this. This was a great performance by both guys. That was just an absolutely phenomenal fight. We're all winners. After 3 rounds.
We get the final decision here.
All 3.
Shane Burgos, your winner, 29-28.
Wow.
Amazing fight, but man, Billy Q, his stock went up so hard.
Without a doubt. Like, he is ready for, like, those borderline top 15 guys. I know Burgos is 14, which probably considers him, like, a borderline top 15 guy, but Billy Q, like, keep on doing what you're doing because you are right there. Like, you're almost a ranked fighter in this division. That was a really impressive performance, even in a loss.
Big time win for Shane Burgos. Matt, we talk about this division with such reverence. Your champion, I mean, we can't get enough from Alexander Volkanovski, one of the best in the world. But you look at it top to bottom, you look at the bookings that are already made. Again, for Shane Burgos, there's guys out there like Ilya Topuria, who's taking on Movsar Evloev.
What a fight that is.
There's guys like Holloway and Yair next weekend, big time main event.
Guys.
And listen, for the thumbnail, I just did the main event. I just did it that way. But we look at fights that are already made, and Dan Igue's fighting Josh Emmett. Arnold Allen doesn't have a fight. Giga Chikadze's fighting Calvin Kattar. Korean Zombie doesn't have a fight. He's coming off a win. He's up there. So, Matt, again, Korean Zombie's available. T-City's available. Arnold Allen's available. For me, I think Burgos Allen is the fight that makes the most sense.
I think that's a really good fight, but I gotta be honest, I don't know if Burgos is ready to fight up in the rankings just yet. I do think he might have to defend his spot again. And I only say this because Burgos doesn't have a win over a ranked guy right now. Like, he still is searching for it. He's one of those guys who's gotten into the rankings by beating unranked guys up until this point. So, personally, I think he needs one of those, like, either superstar prospects, like maybe the winner of Evloev, Ilya Topuria. Maybe that could be the matchup for him. We've sort of seen him up against the next level, and he hasn't been able to pass that test yet. And although he did look really good in this fight, and this fight was great, it's not like he showed me enough in this matchup, I don't think, to really say, wow, now he is ready for those top guys.
Francis Ngannou up there. You've got Halle Berry for some reason again.
Goodness, they really like her in the UFC.
Big fans of her. But Matt, that was another amazing fight. And again, we talk about a fight of the year, Chandler Gaethje. But man, that one was a good one. It's hard to even look at our next one. But Matt, the unpopular thing from us, we get the man in the red corner in this one.
We do.
We got to defend ourselves a little bit.
He's a man. He's 40. Oh, okay. I'll start defending. Here's the thing. Frank Edgar might be completely washed. There. You've got me. You caught me. But we've seen Marlon Vera struggle with fighters who are extremely well-rounded. And I always go back to that Douglas Silva-D'Andrade fight. And I know we probably talk about this guy way more than he deserves, but he is a guy who can mix in his wrestling with his knockout ability and his boxing on the feet. So when I think about Frank Edgar, he doesn't really have that knockout ability, but he's a way better wrestler, and he is able to just mix his martial arts a lot better. And those are the guys who have really been able to give Vera trouble throughout the past. And people forget, like, Marlon Vera was sort of the original Brian Ortega, or he was the next Brian Ortega. I guess their paths sort of ran together, where he had a lot of really great comeback victories. Things were tough for Vera early on, then he was able to come back in the third round and mount these crazy comebacks and get great finishes. It's really hard to come back against a guy like Frankie Edgar. I truly believe you really only have that initial opportunity in a fight to turn his lights out and beat him quick. I think to try to beat him by decision or try to make the fight go late is a really hard ask for anybody to do. So maybe Marlon is able to hit him with a big shot early, put him down, and Craig and I look really stupid, but I think Frankie is going to be able to use his wrestling a lot more in this fight than he has been able to in past performances, and that's why I like Frankie Edgar.
Friend of the show, Drake Riggs, over on the Instagram, hanging out with Bert Kreischer.
The Machine.
Brent Chrysler. So it should be a great one. But Matt, we talk about this fight, and I mean, for me, the finishing ability definitely lies with Marlon Vera. Let's look at the 5-on-in for this one at 135 pounds. Talk about a division of movers and shakers. Your champion here is Aljamain Sterling, but who knows when he's going to fight next. Petr Yan with such a big win over Corey Sandhagen. Both of these guys fit in nicely, but for Edgar, beats Cub Swanson almost 4 years ago, loses to Holloway, loses to Korean Zombie, beats Pedro Munoz, that Korean Zombie fight on short notice, and then he loses to Corey Sandhagen quickly. That fight was 8 months ago, almost 9 months ago. For Marlon Vera, wins over Andre Ewell, a loss to Song Yadong, a wild fight, a close fight. He beats Sean O'Malley, which a lot of people were very hurt over. Then he loses to Jose Aldo, and he beats Davey still in the Navy Grant. And Matt, for me, that fight for Marlon Vera, that fight against Jose Aldo was one where you go, okay, you got to go back. You got to add a couple more tools to your toolbox. But I think this is going to be an amazing one. Cool Banana Boy, this is the one that he disagrees with us on. I don't agree with Matt on this one. Vera should win pretty easily. But to me, like, that's the thing. It's either going to be easy for one of these two guys. Is Frankie Edgar shop worn? We're going to find out.
He very well could be. Like, the last time we saw him in the cage, he was on the receiving end of one of, like, the worst posters in MMA history. It was like Anderson Varejao when he got dunked on by Dwayne Wade, and they just replayed that over and over and over again. We're going to be seeing that Corey Sandhagen highlight for a very long time. And it sucks for Edgar because I remember Ariel Helwani saying this after Edgar suffered his first knockout loss against Brian Ortega, where it was, Edgar, he's been a lot of crazy fights. He's got the heart of a champion. And he really took a lot of pride in never being finished up until that point. He'd never been knocked out or submitted. But he has been finished a few times since then. Brian Ortega knocked him out. The Korean Zombie has. Corey Sandhagen has. So maybe his chin is just completely gone and it will never come back. This is going to be the performance to figure it out.
100%. I mean, both of these guys matched up very, very closely. You look at the odds for this fight, and I mean, Matt, for Chito Vera, he comes in as the favorite. Open a minus 200. He's minus 153 now. For Edgar, open a plus 170. He's plus 128. Don is saying Frankie hasn't been the same since T-City rocked him. But I mean, for me, he fought Pedro Munoz and he took those big shots. And that's a fight where, again, I thought that Pedro won that fight 3 rounds to 2. It's a really close fight. But that small Brazilian man packs one heck of a punch. We know this.
Exactly. And I think Pedro Munoz is a much better fighter than Marlon Vera. I really do. Like, they do a lot of very similar things. They are kind of similar fighters, but Pedro Munoz has more top-tier skills. Like, his submission game is a little bit more refined. He is a little bit more crisp of a boxer. But that's the thing about Vera. He's a really good kickboxer, but since he's been training with Jason Perillo, his hands really have leveled up. Now, to what extent? Because against Song Yadong, like, Song was able to tee off on him in boxing range. Not tee off on him, it was a really close fight, but that's where Song was able to have a lot of success. So it'll be interesting to see if Edgar can have any success on the feet against Vera, because if he can keep things close on the feet, mixing the takedown, then I'll really like the Frankie Edgar pick. But if he's not having any success on the feet, really reaching for his takedowns 2 or 3 minutes in, that's when it'll open up a finish for Vera.
Great question over in the comments section from Gawani Whitecrow saying Edgar retires by taking off the gloves tonight. Do you think? I think he does. Win, lose, or draw, I think he's taking the gloves off because this is that hometown fight. They kind of accentuated it a little bit training at Henzo's where he started out.
If he wins, maybe not, though.
He's got Mark Henry around from Tom's River. So I think this is a great opportunity for both guys. But we already saw a hometown guy in an announced retirement fight that, he did not look very good. And that's Jean Vellante. But Matt, you got the corner here of Marlon Vera. He's got Jason Perillo in the corner, a guy that loves to hold mitts and go, "Dush, dush, dush."
He is a great coach, though. Like, Jason Perillo has a big enough track record now to where his boxing does really translate into MMA well. Because a lot of people say, oh, Jason Perillo, boxing coach. But it's more than that. Like, he is an MMA boxing coach. Think about some of his top-level fighters. People like Michael Bisping. People like Rafael dos Anjos. Mackenzie Dern has made improvements. But Chris Cyborg, like, there's a very long list of fighters who he has been able to improve their striking. Even with Dern, I know she didn't look good against Rodriguez, but still, she went from being, like, wins above replacement wise, her striking was like a -3, and now I would say she's at least at replacement level for her striking. So I do think he's able to make bad strikers good and turn good strikers great. I do think he's one of those coaches though where it's one of those like specialized gyms. It doesn't work for everybody. Not every gym who goes there has a lot of success, but guys who really do take to his coaching style seem to have a lot of success.
Marlon Vera looking like an Ecuadorian Sean O'Malley with the comeback here.
He's a big star in Ecuador too. Like, if you see, there's billboards with him on them. Like, it's really cool to see.
Should be an amazing fight. And I'm really hyped for this one. You know, this is the sleeper fight on this main card. It's not for a title. It got swapped up for Chandler Gaethje. All the hype went around those first 2 fights. and then the title fights. But here, we get a fight where Marlon Vera finally gets another opportunity to crack the rankings. I mean, I know he's already ranked, 13th right now, but really move forward, get a big name, and if he's able to catch a body against one of the better lightweights that we've ever seen, I mean, you're pretty well off to the races.
Without a doubt, and it is wild. Like, we keep on saying that, former lightweight. Frankie Edgar, to me, probably should have been a bantamweight when he was a lightweight, and probably should be a lightweight now that he's a bantamweight. You know what I mean? Like, normally with a guy's career, they start out small, and your body gets bigger as you grow, even into your 40s. With Frank Edgar, he's done the opposite. We haven't often seen this. Like, the only other guy who's done something even close to this is Jose Aldo, where Aldo was
Edson Barboza.
Edson only went down one weight class, though. Frankie went down two. But I'm just saying, yeah, that's a good example. It's just guys who have made these extreme weight cuts later on in their career. Sometimes they look really, really good doing it. Sometimes they look brittle and somewhat fragile. So with Edgar, he has had very differing results at 135 pounds. It's just, I feel like he made the weight cut way too late in his career. I wish he just... I know this sounds weird. If he had skipped 145, went from 155 to 135, similar to Jessica Andrade going 35 to 15, I think he could have had a dominant run at 135 pounds. And I really think him and Dominic Cruz could have gone back and forth and probably changed or traded the title about 15 times between the two of them.
Now, we look at bantamweight right now, and I mean, we're just going off of Tapology and the fights that are already booked, and Matt decides that this is the time to drop everything. But right up at the top, you've got Jan, you've got Aljamain Sterling, Sandhagen, Font's already booked in a fight with Jose Aldo, Dillashaw coming off that injury, Merab. I would have to think the winner might get Merab.
I doubt Frank Edgar fights Merab, though.
It's tough to tell.
Well, just the Mark Henry connect. Like, I doubt he would go out of his way to do it. Like, if there's no way that the UFC is going to go to 40-year-old Frankie Edgar, especially if he beats Marlon Vera, and they're going to say, hey, I know you just beat another prospect. Do you want to fight an even more dangerous one? They did it to Junior
Dos Santos.
They might have, but he kept on losing. That's the difference. If Edgar wins, they'll reward him with a favorable matchup, you'd assume. I really doubt they're going to be like, yo, Edgar, keep on taking these bad fights until someone makes a big name off you.
All right, Matt, we'll see what happens in this one, but it seems like all of the comments section is against us, and that's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you get them right, sometimes you get them wrong, but for me, I like Edgar in this one, and that's the way she goes. But Matt, we'll start the 5-minute timer off. When the round kicks off, we have the opportunity to pause it if there's an eye poke, if there's a groin strike, if there's a knee to a downed opponent.
He looks good for 40.
He does look good for 40. If you could look that good at 40, I think you must have done something right with your life.
I'd have to lose 7 inches.
Prince Vegeta's son saying tonight has been a flop. I don't know what you're talking. I've gone 10-1 so far.
It's been phenomenal. The fights have been great. Everything was so good. I'm sorry if your card isn't great. Hopefully you're having a really good night watching the fights.
Sorry, pal. All right, we'll get set for this marquee fight in the bantamweight division on the main card, UFC 268. I want to thank everybody out there that's having a good time. Corey McGregor as well. Thank you so much for joining in the chat.
Let us hear about it if we're wrong. I'm open to that too. Hey, I'm well aware I picked a 40-year-old 135-pound fighter to win.
100%. We get set. Walker Scott hitting us up in the super chat. Made it home finally after a long drive. Thanks for the commentary. Best in the game. Appreciate you, Walker Scott. That means a lot to us.
Got home at a perfect time, too. Hopefully you have fun watching these last 3. Good right hand by Edgar. Nice flurry on the inside.
Frankie Edgar moving pretty good. Moving like a younger man here.
Looking to box early on, though. I kind of expected a takedown attempt really early just to kind of feel Vera out.
And I think Marlon Vera expected that as well.
I do. It seems like he's sort of waiting back, and that's something you can't do with Frankie. You have to go after him, because if you just wait and allow him to really get his range,
and he will
never stop. Good takedown defense, though, by Vera. Really impressive early on.
Great job from Vera. He saw that coming, but a couple of flurries there.
Y'all must have forgot Frankie Edgar can box a little bit, too.
Frankie Edgar with the boxing of Roy Jones Jr.
He's going to get head kicked in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's been Hook City from Frankie Edgar.
But they've been really good. He's been able to land when he does flurry on the inside. I'm nervous that he looks this good so early, though. I'm going to be honest.
Frankie Edgar now on the outside. Marlon Vera starting to show that pressure.
Big right hand, though. But that's the thing about Frankie Edgar. You're going to watch out for that piston-like right hand.
The hands come down for Frankie. The head goes down, and he starts throwing hands, and he is landing with reckless abandon.
This is really funny.
Nice body kick there from Marlon Vera, but it gets caught by the wrestler. And again, Marlon out of it.
But that's the thing. If Marlon Vera could just eliminate the wrestling from Edgar's game, it's going to make this fight a lot easier for him. Because for as good as Edgar's striking looks now, he isn't a pure striker in MMA. He does really need to mix it up.
Left hook to the body from Edgar was able to land.
Good right hand, too. The hand speed's still there for an old man.
This, to me, it's going to end up like Hawes and Chris Curtis. Frankie Edgar looks so good at the start of the first round.
He's a man.
I'm worried here. 3 minutes and 18 seconds remaining in our first round. There's a lot of time left here. Head kick from Frankie Edgar.
Just doesn't stop.
Who is this man?
And almost is able to get the takedown, but Marlon Vera cinches up a guillotine quick. Now,
Frankie's in half guard, and Marlon's got the guillotine. It's really tight.
It is really tight. Now, this will be interesting to see if Edgar is able to get out of this
he's out.
over. He is able to get out of it now in half guard on top. This is Edgar's best position too. Going from half guard, full guard, side control, really mixes it up a lot on the ground. And for as good as his activity is on the feet, he's a very active fighter on the mat as well.
Now he's into guard. Vera gets his foot out of the way, but he's holding guard in this position.
He definitely is. But this is what he has to do. You can't give Edgar range to really get off with his ground and pound.
Vera doing a really good job just tying things up. And Edgar, you talk about a busybody. This guy's doing everything he can to mount some offense. Really nice elbow there.
Good elbows, too. And he's doing those veteran tricks, too. Putting his hands over the mouth of Vera, making his breathing hard. Like, those are those classic Mike Goldberg-isms from, like, the early UFCs that you miss out on now.
Frankie Edgar. Oh, good strikes from the bottom for Marlon Vera. Looking like a little
Tony
bit...
Ferguson.
Great job there. He's pumping those elbows out.
He's being active off his back, but he either needs to threaten with a submission, try to sweep, or get back up to his feet. You're not going to win a round just by throwing ground and pound off of your back.
I'm eager to see Edgar's face after withstanding some of that punishment, but good body shots there from Edgar, and Marlon's really starting to go after it.
These are good elbows, but again, I don't think it's enough. I really think he's going to try to create some separation to force the submission.
Big opportunity here for the man, Frankie Edgar. Don saying, get some odds, fellas. They're out there. They're out there. But they're not here right now, I guess.
Don, I'm not going to shave my head. Get out of here. Good right hand by Edgar, and that's the thing. He is really making Marlon Vera work early on. And this has been my big point with Vera. He gets better as the fight goes on, but normally he is able to get his range, get some of his timing down, download some of that information from his opponent before he really starts to let off with his own offense. Against a guy like Edgar, you're not really able to set anything up when you're just flat on your back eating ground and pound.
Marlon Vera, that's a really nice left hand there.
That is good up kicks, though, by Vera, being real active on his back.
Marlon Vera doing a really good job with this striking that he's got from his back. And I mean, he's always a tricky guy. Normally a guy that threatens with submissions, but the strikes have found a home.
But Edgar's landed the much better strikes in these exchanges, though. Like, he's landed some vicious ground and pound even from the guard.
You can never downplay it. Frankie Edgar is in his own element right now, and great elbows from in tight.
Yeah, he looks great. This is vintage Frankie Edgar, mixing in the wrestling with the boxing, just being a really dynamic MMA fighter. And it's wild to say this, like, he was one of the first, like, actual MMA fighters who could do a bit of everything. So it's nice to see he's still able to have success, even though the sport's evolved so much.
Frankie Edgar, the type of guy that just wants to fight with Merab Dvalishvili, some would say. 13 seconds remaining in our first round. Another punishing elbow there from full guard.
Just a really good round by Edgar, though. Like, he was able to get a takedown, land on the feet. He was able to really set everything up for success later on in the fight.
Big up kick there from Vera as we end. But Tom's River, stand up! Whew. That's a 10-9 for Frankie Edgar if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, that was a really good round. But again, Chito gets stronger as the fight moves on. So we'll see if he is able to make the adjustments. But so far, so good for Frankie. He's able to land the takedown, land on the feet. It's been a really impressive first round from him so far.
Javier Gomez saying, I think you guys low-key know Chito will take over soon.
Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. It's nice to see Edgar look so good early on. I really did think that if he was going to lose this fight, it would be because of some vicious knockout early on. But the fact that he was having some success on the feet along with his own takedown, it was just really nice to see from the 40-year-old.
Big-time takedown. And listen, Marlon's takedown defense was really good early.
I just feel good that Edgar hasn't been starched yet. I'm going to take that as a moral victory so far.
Matt, we're getting set for our second round. Couple of guys, movers and shakers at 135. I'll get the timer set.
Just how good is Corey Sandhagen, though?
Chito landed the better shots, Ryan says. LOL.
He did land good elbows off his back. I'm not arguing with any of that.
And he takes the center of the cage very quickly in our second round. Frankie Edgar leads with a high kick.
So it'll be interesting to see what Chito does on the feet to really set up his strikes, because he does throw a lot of kicks, but a few of them were caught in the first round, which probably isn't going to make him all that likely to throw a lot more body kicks in this one.
All right, Matt, our second round, he goes for a body kick right off the hop.
Which proved me wrong immediately. And Vera does have really powerful kicks. I know Craig's gonna roll his eyes, but I always think of Gabriel Benitez when I think of Marlon Vera. Of course, Vera's the much better version, but just such a powerful kicker with the way his kicks whip around.
Now, right hand landed for Edgar, and a nice one on the entry from Marlon Vera that's shocked Frankie Edgar back a little bit. Now he's the
aggressor right now, and that's really the key. The guy who is moving forward is having the success throughout this fight. We've really seen that all night long.
Body kick block there from Edgar.
Nice right hand by Edgar on the inside, though. Vera's really trying to set up one of those big looping shots. And yes, if they land, you're probably going to win by some crazy knockout, but it's really hard to win a decision when you're relying on a knockout.
4 minutes remaining in this round. Our second between Frankie Edgar and Chito Marlon Vera. It's been all action so far.
Oh, my goodness.
Marlon Vera gets taken down again, and those elbows are finding a home.
Those are good elbows, but again, he needs more than just a few elbows off his back from the full guard. You've got to try to threaten with an armbar. Threaten with some kind of a submission so that you can actually get his respect on the ground.
Oh, he's going for another up kick.
But just the fact that he's throwing his legs up in the air and throwing some big elbows, like those aren't enough to consistently win rounds. Judges aren't going to respect that.
Big time opportunity here for both guys.
But for Edgar, just keep on taking him down. If his takedown defense isn't good enough to keep this fight on the feet, I think it's going to be really hard for him to lose this fight on the mat.
Big time opportunity for both of these guys, Matt. And I mean, you look at the way that they're doing it. Great opportunity for Edgar. He's working here from the guard. And Marlon Vera's got to do a good job to try and stand this one up.
He does, and he's not doing a good enough job at all. I know he's been able to land these elbows off his back, which is somewhat negated the striking ability of Edgar. But again, no one is going to give him the round off his back. It very rarely happens in the UFC. In MMA in general. I don't care what organization it is. Judges in MMA very rarely respect strikes off a fighter's back.
Don saying, if Edgar loses, his dad will come into the ring and say, he's still my son.
That was a nice scramble by Marlon, though. He needed that to get up to his feet. That was a good explosion.
Frankie's going to be in an awkward spot with 2:30 remaining because Marlon is definitely feeling it.
Yeah, Edgar looks tired. I don't know if it's the weight cut at 40 or what, but
Marlon doing a good job of just pushing Frankie out of the way.
He definitely needs more of this. And if you're Edgar, you need a takedown to try to rest on top again.
Frankie's starting to push the pace, really working out his left hand there.
Interesting fight so far.
Edgar working the body.
Furious pace of this fight, too.
2 minutes and 7 seconds remaining in our second round. It's been a close one so far.
It has been. It was good work by Edgar on top, but nothing really significant enough to freeze the round for him, or solidify it for him for the rest of this. So if Vera can land some big shots, then he might be able to steal this round.
100%. Edgar really trying to force some action here, but it's Vera really continuing to pressure forward.
Yeah, he's putting a lot of pressure on Edgar right now. Big knee up the middle.
Nice knee in the clinch.
And that's the thing, when Vera's the one moving forward, really pressuring Edgar, he is able to land his power shots, but that's when he has walked into a couple big takedown attempts from Edgar and ended up on the bottom.
133 remaining. Frankie with a bit of a flurry.
Edgar might be hurt. That right hook on the exit might have caught him.
Tough to tell. 126 here.
This is the most tired I've ever seen Frankie Edgar.
Ooh, flying knee lands from Marlon Vera.
Ooh, Edgar's hurt up against the cage.
Edgar looks like he's still in it. 115 remains.
Look how much bigger Vera looks.
Edgar just continuing to flurry.
Man.
Minute 8 seconds remaining.
Marlon Vera's really been able to turn the tide of this fight. Very similar to the last one.
Vera doing a good job here. You might want to see a little bit more activity with a minute remaining.
I just need to see Edgar do more. He's been on his bike a lot the last 3 minutes of this round. He's been hurt by a few big strikes, but still, try to go back to the wall. Try to get a takedown. Just mix it up, because Vera's having a lot of success out here in open range.
Definitely landed the harder shots. Nice leg kick from Edgar.
That was a really nice leg kick. But again, techniques like that, you rarely win based on one of them. You really got to string together multiple.
Vera looking to land from range. Now it's Edgar taking the center of the cage. Nice right hand.
Good right hand from Edgar that snuck through. Personally, though, I still feel like this is a Vera round.
Less than 30 seconds remaining. Vera doing a good job pressuring. 20 seconds. Nice body kick there from Vera.
And that's the thing. When Vera lands anything on Edgar, it's sending him backwards.
Lands a nice shot there.
That elbow hurt Edgar.
I think Frankie's in a bad way. Almost looked like he hurt his leg.
I think the elbow on the exit might have caught him. I'm not sure, but I do think it did.
Nice right hand there from Edgar.
1 second left. Big
End of the round
by Vera.
So you have a bit of a, well, definitely a closer round in the second one. I've got it 10-9 in that round for Vera. 19-19 so far. But, I mean, over there, Jack Hope saying 19-19. That was, though, a bit of a closer one. But the big power shots landing for Vera in that round.
Without a doubt. Vera really proved that when he does move forward, Frankie Edgar can't really deal with his presence unless he can get the takedown. He can't deal with just the strikes of Chito. Like, even when Vera was landing strikes to the chest and to the body of Edgar, it was sending him flying backwards. So if Vera can get more of the same from that, I think he'll have great success.
Great opportunity there for Marlon Vera in that round. And I mean, man, we saw a really, really close one in terms of the strikes, Matt. We have a quick look. Vera able to come back quite a bit. He was down by about 30 in that first round, able to kind of close the distance. And again, we talked about it. The power shots definitely in his favor in that one.
I definitely feel like the momentum's in the favor of Vera, though. He's proved that as long as he can just defend the takedown, he can have a lot of success on the feet.
All right, big time opportunity here in our third round. We got a close one between these two bantamweights. Marlon Vera,
great fight,
coming on strong against Frankie Edgar. Let's see who's got more in the tank, who wants it. Vera takes the center of the cage. That's what he needs to do.
Good boxing combination by Edgar, though, early. Nice sign.
Edgar really looking like he's still in this one. But you have to think, a couple of those kicks to the body, a couple leg kicks there from Vera.
And the kicks from Vera they're so much harder than the kicks of Edgar. You can tell. Like, Edgar's are just these slapping kicks. Vera's really winding up on them, landing clean.
Now our pay-per-view's paused.
Oh, no. Oh, we're back. 4 minutes 38, 4 minutes 37, 36, 35, 34.
We're close.
Hopefully. Man. But again, Edgar really needs the takedown to really open up the rest of his game. Like I said with Michael Bisping a little while ago when he fought Chael, he needed the jab to set everything up. With Edgar, he really relies on the takedown to open up his striking because his striking is sort of basic, but with the real great threat of the takedown and his submission ability, it normally opens up his striking game that much more.
Well, for me, I'm a little bit surprised. I mean, a really nice left hand lands there for Vera, but I'm just surprised that we haven't seen more activity out of him in this fight.
You're 100% right. And honestly, the same thing could be said for Edgar on the outside too, because when he's throwing with volume like we just saw there, he is able to get through the guard of Vera.
Nice leg kick there for Edgar. He's kind of gone away from the takedown so far in this round.
I have a feeling that Edgar's going to try to shoot for a takedown with about 3 minutes left and just try to hold that position for the rest of the fight.
Went for a single leg. Vera able to stay away from it.
Good right hand by Edgar, though. He's really firing in the pocket for a guy who seemed to have been hurt a couple times that last round.
Edgar's doing a good job in these flurries.
He is. He might have got caught by a left hand there, though, on the exit. You just never know the way he moves around so much on the feet.
Big time right hand for Edgar. Gets defended by Vera. He's just continuing to stalk him. Nice leg kick from Vera.
Good body shots by Edgar. Nice movement, but he just needs more. He can't just throw the 2 shots and get out.
Yeah, Edgar's in and out while Vera just continues to plot. Another nice body shot for Edgar.
Yeah, Edgar's doing a very respectable job on the feet right now.
Now, every time that Vera's gone southpaw, you've seen Frankie look for that single. Hasn't really worked out for him. I'm a little surprised that in Orthodox we haven't seen more takedown attempts.
Well, I think it's because he likes that single leg because his left hand on the southpaw stance is right next to the front right leg of Chito Vera. So it's a little bit easier for him to grab that way. But normally we do see Frankie mixing the double with the single leg a little bit. We haven't really seen him go to the double leg much tonight.
Both guys throwing a lot more here. We got about 2 minutes and 42 seconds remaining in the third round. This is anybody's fight.
It really feels like it could be, but Vera's definitely the more powerful striker on the feet right now.
Vera doing a good job here. He's switching stances back over to Orthodox. Got Edgar on the back foot, but you know this is a guy that's got cardio for days. Nice leg kick from Edgar.
He does, but he doesn't have big punching power, so that's why I'm a little surprised Vera doesn't significantly push Edgar back.
All right, looks like the mouthpiece is out for Edgar, and they didn't really pause the action, so this gives us a chance to... Oh, a little dirty there. No glove tap. We're just going to start swinging. Frankie landed a nice left hand.
Yeah, really interesting round to score because the more significant strikes have definitely been landed by Vera, but Frankie's landed some good strikes himself.
Left hand up the middle landed for Vera, but it was a big right hand for Frankie.
Big takedown by Edgar. Ooh, he's got the back of Vera. They're standing now, but interesting to see if he can do anything with this. This is a big moment in this fight.
Frankie had him momentarily, but he still got the back.
Oh,
Vera
wow.
looking to defend it. Nice left hand from Frankie.
But that was great by Marlon Vera. Like, that was exactly what he needed. If he gave up that takedown, this fight could have been over.
Minute and 40 roughly remaining in this third round. You see the live odds heavily favoring Chito Vera to minus 550. Nice right hand lands from Edgar.
I think Edgar really needs to take down, though, to win this fight. He can't just try to fight on his back foot with Vera.
Big time round we've got here. Anybody's guess as this one ends here in the last minute and 30 seconds. It's been the power of Vera in the third round. It's been the volume of Edgar. And really, Vera has been the advancing fighter. That's definitely one of those ones that kind of scores in the judge's eye.
Front kick up the middle. Oh, we heard Edgar. That's it. Wow. Knockout via front kick. That was insane.
Insane win for Marlon Vera in a fight that was really close in that third round. He took that out of the judge's hands. Oh my gosh, what a knockout for Marlon Vera.
Marlon Vera, third round finishing king. Wow. That was really, really impressive. Marlon Vera has proved that he's more than just a fluky win over Sean O'Malley. Now, I was an early believer in Chito Vera. I got off the train a little bit, but it's really nice to see him really pick himself back up. And now he is putting it all together, it seems. I don't like the slow starts. I would like him to get off to a bit better of a start in most of his fights, but still, when he is moving forward with confidence, there's few guys in the UFC who can stand in front of him.
Giant win for Marlon Vera in the third round. You love to see a win like that. Anderson Silva-esque is that knockout. Machida on Belfort. That's an amazing finish win.
Wow. Hey, Frankie. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. I think it's it.
Man, amazing, amazing win for Marlon Vera, but... yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, when you're losing to now a guy that's 13th ranked, though.
I don't feel that bad about picking Frankie Edgar, though, all things considered. It was a pretty close fight. That was a great fight, though. And for Vera, he showed much improved takedown defense and really good defensive abilities on the mat. We've seen what Edgar's been able to do when he gets most guys down. Vera was able to get his guard back, get back up to the feet, explode at the right time. Just a really intelligent fight from Marlon Vera.
It's a great one there, Matt. I mean, an amazing fight so far, and this has been great. I mean, we have had an amazing night of fights. You talk about it. It starts off with Gaethje Chandler on this main card. Then your next fight, Shane Burgos taking on the man himself, Billy Quarantillo. Absolutely amazing. And now Marlon Vera, Frankie Edgar, an amazing finish too. So it's been a great night so far. But Marlon Vera, you talk about big wins. I don't know if this is in the magnitude of gaining a bigger audience. I think beating Sean O'Malley's probably that one that gets you in everybody's minds. But you look at a win over Frankie Edgar, that's it right there.
I think this is going to be a bigger star-making performance for him, just because the highlight's something you can share a lot more. Because this is the thing. With Sean O'Malley, yeah, he was looking good, but still, you hit him in the leg, you had the weird nerve thing, and then you had the ground and pound that looked really good. If you're a big Sean O'Malley defender, you can come up with a lot of excuses. No one can make any excuse for Frankie Edgar. He hit him with a greasy front kick up the middle, so that was just a really, really nice performance from Marlon Vera. Hopefully, he is able to get into some 5-round, fight night main event type slots now, because he really does deserve it. When you beat a guy like Sean O'Malley, when you beat guys like Frankie Edgar, I know he didn't look great against Jose Aldo, who's another guy at the top of this division, but still, Marlon is definitely a top 10 bantamweight, and there's no doubt in my mind about that.
Giant win there for Chito Marlon Vera. And I mean, again, we talked about this division, but hey, I mean, I was saying Merab, maybe Frankie, if Frankie gets the win, but Marlon, you look up near the top, and most guys are booked. I mean, Dominic Cruz has a fight with Pedro Munoz. Marlon Moraes needs some time off. He doesn't have a fight booked. And then ahead of him, Merab and TJ don't have fights. All those booked with Font.
Do you think they would do a TJ return fight against Marlon?
I think he almost deserves the title shot off the win. That's the thing.
I agree with you. I'm just saying, depending on how long TJ does wait out for, and let's say Aljo beats Jan, or let's say Jan beats Aljo in their second fight, and for some reason they decide to do a trilogy over that. I'm just saying, there's a world out there where they want TJ to just sit for a little bit longer, or maybe the injury timing doesn't work. So maybe TJ is willing to take a big name opponent who's a little bit further down in the rankings for another one of those fight night pay-per-view, or not pay-per-views, fight night main events, or maybe a co-main event on a pay-per-view. I'm not saying they're going to do it. I could just see a world where they make that fight.
And Don's saying, did I see the knockout in boxing that just happened? Uppercut heard around the world. I'm going to have to try and check Twitter to see it. But no, I haven't seen it. Corey's saying, which fight? I don't know. I'm going to have to try and find it. But David Lopez says, early stoppage, in my opinion. Honestly, Frankie's shown the capability to come back from shots like that.
I mean, he got dropped by Jeremy Stevens really bad and did come back and beat him in the round. So I don't really disagree with it. That was a great knockout, though, by Marlon. I think that was a good stoppage. But if you really want to scream early stoppage, I guess you could. Henrik Lundqvist, he was really good.
Is Hank the guy to show, though?
Isn't he like one of the better goalies ever? No.
Yeah, but I don't
Okay.
know if he's the guy that I show.
Not before Marvin Vettori, one of the best fighters in the world.
Dylan saying, selfishly, I want to know what you think about the implications of the Edmund Imavov fight. If you have a second, 100%. We had all kinds of time to talk about that. Matt, that was a hugely important fight for that middleweight division. And I mean, you talk about it for Nasruddin Imavov. Listen, there's trains I've been on of hype, and that's one of those ones where
Lost to Phil Hawes, though.
it's still.
I'm just saying, like, I think Nasruddin Imavov is a top 15 talent, but that stays in the back of my head. Really?
He 10-8'd him in the third round.
But he also got, like, outstruck for 2 rounds.
So for me, if you look in the division, Andre Muniz is scheduled to fight Dricus Duplessis. Brendan Allen's scheduled to take on, Brad Tavares. You could go Christoph Jotko. You could go Kevin Holland. Or you could go Uriah Hall. I know he wants a big name, but I think there's a lot of different guys out there. For me, the Blue Dash says, who should Vera fight next? I mean, again, there's only a few fighters at bantamweight, so it's like Marab. Marlon Moraes doesn't have a fight. Who else do we say?
I guess Cody's down to 125 now, isn't he?
Yeah, and then Cody Stamen needs a fight.
Cody Garbrandt would be a really fun fight. I don't know if they're going to make it. I don't know what weight class Garbrandt's going to compete at next. I know he lost to Rob Font in his last fight. I get all that. That would be a really fun fight for Vera, though. It would be another opportunity to kind of grow his star. I know he's had a lot of those opportunities so far, but still, that'd be a really fun fight, I think. And that'd be a great fight that you could easily market as a main event.
Good question. Jack O'Shea saying, do you guys think Islam will be a champ one day? Listen, I think beating Dan Hooker the way that he did, man, that was so impressive, and especially getting it done that quick. I mean, that was a giant win. So for me, again, we talked about this earlier in the show. I'd like to see him fight Beneil Dariush. I talk about it on Early Stoppage. That's going to come out tomorrow too, but I need to see that fight. That's your third-ranked fighter. If Islam wins that one, I'd like to see Gaethje fight the winner of Poirier-Oliveira, and then the winner of Dariush-Makhachev. Next title shot after that. We're really kind of thinking ahead. But for me, Islam, got to do a little bit more talking, got to get himself out there a little bit.
The division's so good. Like, it's hard to say anybody's going to be a champion in lightweight, because Dustin Poirier is one of the best boxers we've ever seen in MMA, and he's really, really well-rounded. He's got great jiu-jitsu, good wrestling, too. Charles Oliveira is one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners we've ever seen in MMA. Oh, and by the way, he's got great Muay Thai, great cardio, and he is currently your champion. You just saw what Justin Gaethje is willing to put himself through to win an MMA fight, and Michael Chandler's the same thing. So for Islam to become champ, he probably has to beat 3 of those 5 fighters. And I know that's crazy to say. He probably only should have to beat like 2 of the 3 or 2 of the 5. But because he doesn't talk very much, because he doesn't have a big North American fan base, they're probably going to force him to go through an absolute gauntlet to get that title shot. So that being said, it's going to be really, really hard for him too. Does he have the skills to become a UFC level champion? Yes, he does. So I'm going to kind of say the Anthony Davis thing. I think he could be a championship level fighter, but will he ever get the championship? It is just so hard to say at lightweight, because like, if he fought Dustin Poirier, I could see a world where Islam out-grapples him for 3 rounds, armbars him in the 3rd round, looks great. I could see another round, though, where Poirier threatens 1 submission on the mat, kind of makes Islam a little bit hesitant with his wrestling, and then Poirier starches him on the feet. Like, the division's so good right now, it's really hard to say, but he is in the mix.
Should be an amazing one, Matt. Our next fight, Rose Namajunas taking on Zhang Wei Li, and this should be such an interesting fight. And if we talk about it at Fight Night Picks, the votes for this one, I mean, hey, 61% going with Rose to 39% Zhang. I mean, that's 392 votes for Rose to 248 for your former champion, Zhang Wei Li. And Matt, this is such an interesting fight because for Zhang Wei Li, at least with the Fight Night Picks fans, not a lot of people have her to win, but she actually is a slight favorite here.
Which makes no sense to me. How do you get knocked out in 5 seconds and then become the favorite in the rematch? Even though we haven't seen you make any improvements since that original fight. Like, it would make a lot more sense if Wei Li, let's say maybe she had a rematch with Joanna as like a pay-per-view co-main event. That was fight of the night. She looks really good. And then coming into this fight gave us a reason to think she made some big improvement in her game. We only know what we know. And from what we know, she couldn't last 1 minute with Rose Namajunas. Now, It's hard to say Rose is going to land another head kick really fast. People set it up that quick, but you get the idea. Like, Weili has not been able to justify her stance as a favorite. I know we say this a lot when there's guys on, like, the undercard. It might be two people making their UFC debuts. We don't know a lot about either one of them, and for some reason, one will end up being, like, a minus 300 favorite. And we look at each other going, well, hey, you sort of need to justify odds like that. And when neither guy has been able to prove it, that's what we normally say. And that's how I look at this fight, too. Weili has yet to do anything to really prove that, hey, I deserve to be the favorite going into this one. Yes, some people like her camp chains. I, for one, don't. I don't really know what bettors are able to point to right now to say, hey, I believe Weili is going to win this fight.
Now, there's a tweet that's out there from Dan, Best Fight Picks, and he said, anyone know the Cheeto Edgar scorecards? I had it 1-1 going into the third. Aaron Bronstetter tweeted 2018 Frankie, 1919, and 1919. So, a very, very close fight. You never know what could have happened if we went all the way.
It's still lost, though. You told me after I tried to make it close.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it was a really competitive fight. Like, Edgar looked good for a 40-year-old. It's just the fact that he has been stopped so many times later on in his career is, like, once a guy starts getting knocked out, people don't normally have, like, a Michael Chandler resurgence in their chin and then just develop a really good ability to take a shot. So I would like this to probably be the end of the road for Edgar.
Don hitting us up in the super chat, and I apologize, Don. I saw you mention it earlier, but you super chatted, so thank you. Anyway, but how did you see the first fight? You were talking about the Osborne fight. The first round was Osborne. The second round was Osborne. The third round was close. I had it for Vergara. So I scored it 29-28 Osborne, but it really was a close fight.
It was a close one. I thought Vergara looked good, all things considered. I was worried about the weight cut, but he made an absolute brawl of a matchup. So it was a really good fight all in all, but I did have it for Osborne.
Yeah, and I mean, when I'm talking about that Bronstetter tweet, those were the actual judges' scorecards that he was referencing. So that's it. Matt, for this fight, though, rematch for the title. They faced off against each other in their respective last fights, and this is one of those divisions where there's so many people knocking at that door. I thought Esparza might be the one. Hey, you bring it back to the Ultimate Fighter. You have Esparza, you have Namajunas. That's a fight that you make. And like you said, maybe Zhang fights Joanna in like a fight night main event or something, but nope. They went right back to the well here. And Matt, when we look at this fight, again, we talk about the first one. I picked Zhang Weili to win the fight. So did you, and then it ends so quickly. I changed my pick for this one, being the fact that I didn't take Zhang Weili to win. I actually took Rose Namajunas, and all the way through. Not like I changed it on Saturday.
Wait, maybe because she won by head kick knockout?
All the way through, but to me it's considering, well, if we decide to wrestle, I'm sure Zhang Weili's made improvements. She went to a camp that's notorious for things like that, and you talk about some of the women that have switched camps to go over there. Let's focus on one. Brian Ortega's lady. Tracy Cortez. She is there. Vanessa Demopoulos is also there. Somebody that can threaten on the ground, be a physical, imposing body that never goes away. You add that to the striking prowess that Zhang Weili already has, and that's the amazing part out of this one. So for Zhang Weili, can she reinvent herself? And not even that. Can she just return to form? Plus, you got to think of it too. She has her coach. Her coach is from China training there too. It might be too many cooks in the kitchen. For Rose Namajunas, again, she's trained up at the Onyx Gym, up at Elevation with Trevor Whitman. But at the same time, 3 fighters on this card. You never know who got all the attention. And for Rose, she spent some time in Michigan training for this one. Or not Michigan, Minnesota with Brock Lesnar's old wrestling coach. I don't know if Chris Tuxisher was like in the darkness. Remember his UFC? He was like 21-1 at one point too. But I love this fight, Matt, and I think it's going to be such a good one. But those camps, you got to talk about them.
It's a big overcorrection, I think. I really do. It'd be like, I'm trying to think of, like, how can I personalize this? Like, have you ever gone downtown to your local city, maybe to have a couple drinks with some friends? You see some girls out, you start laughing and joking. Sometimes you strike out in life. It would be like if I did that, and then I was like, okay, now I'm done trying to be funny, and I'm going to cut my hair, and I'm going to completely switch up everything about myself. Like with Weili, do what got you to the dance. Stay with your same trainers. Be that... I know she has one loss, but still, be that somewhat undefeated monster that you were, and have that mystique that you once did when you were champ, because we know Weili for that crazy aggression that she brings into the cage. Like, she met Jessica Andrade's power with even more power, and was able to knock her out. It was a very, very impressive way to beat her. The fact that she all of a sudden decided after one bad performance that, hey, I really need to switch everything, I'm really concerned about that. Like, I don't think that's a good look. We saw Deontay Wilder do that after his second fight with Tyson Fury. Now, yes, he made their third fight a very, very competitive matchup where it was a phenomenal back and forth fight, but he still did lose. And I think Wei Lee's making a similar mistake right now. I do. I think she's thought, hey, oh, I lost. Now I got to make all these wholesale changes. I just think it's too much. And normally what we see is if an unranked fighter is able to make a camp change, it'll take them a little bit of time, but normally it's a great improvement for them. I always go to Brendan Allen because Brendan Allen was just kind of an unranked middleweight for a long time. Went to Stanford MMA and was able to become more than that. But Rome wasn't built in a day, similar to Brendan Allen's striking game. It took him a little while to really gain the knowledge from their camp and from their systems. With Wei Lee, I think if you're just jumping into a whole new camp and with a whole new group of people, you might gain a little bit, but I think it might shake the foundation that you already have.
So, I mean, you can see it right there. There's Eric Albarracin that's in her corner. Obviously, he's cornered the Pitbull brothers. He's cornered Cejudo. A lot of really, really good fighters. And so we'll see how this one plays out for Zhang Weili. It looks like Eddie Chaw's in that corner as well. And you talk about striking coaches, man, that guy is on another planet. So I do really like this fight. Now, for Zhang, you see it. I mean, she can punch with power. She can punch with volume. What's it going to take in this one? Is it going to take a little bit of a reserve game plan?
It'll be really interesting because against Joanna, she was not reserved at all. And that was just, like, those are basically two cars just crashing at each other every single exchange. I'm really curious to see if she has more power than Rose because I know Rose is tall and wiry for this division. She has some of the heavier hands in this weight class. Like, when she lands on women, she really does have knockout ability. So I think Wei Lee's going to struggle with that power early. It'll be interesting, though, to see if she is able to take this fight late. That's when Joanna was having some success against Wei Lee. So I really don't know. I just think this is a bad matchup for Zhang, especially after seeing what we saw in their first fight. You might not have success on the feet. I know you might be a better wrestler than Rose, but I definitely don't think you're better than at jiu-jitsu than Namajunas. So I don't know what Zhang's niche can be in this fight for her to really hold on to that one area and take over.
Well, Jack Johnson, we appreciate you for joining in. And for Isaiah, same goes to you. Now, again, this is such an interesting fight. And again, the funny thing is we've seen certain fighters that they come into the UFC, they're too green, they don't have enough experience. I think Rose Namajunas, when she came onto the Ultimate Fighter, was what, like 2-1? I mean, Beastin 25-8 was 3-0. He wins the season, and he almost makes it to the top of the mountain, and he could still do it with Bellator. But
Sean Vellante stopped him, though.
Rose Namajunas is one of those fighters where he's got Rose Namajunas has a great opportunity to really just continue to build on that legacy. And you talk about certain fighters where, like, we're talking upper echelon, top of the mountaintop at strawweight. It's hard to say that because Joanna is widely regarded as that GOAT of the weight class, but Rose Namajunas has been the champ a couple times.
Yeah, Joanna's kind of in that Jose Aldo area where it's like, okay, you're the GOAT based on accomplishments, but I've still seen you lose to, like, all the other really good fighters who are sort of in that GOAT conversation. Now, I don't really know how Rose Namajunas is going to be remembered at the end of her career. I know that's a weird thing to say and a weird thing to think about, but I've thought about this recently. Like, her biggest wins are primarily over the same opponent, and she doesn't fight all that active. I guess my question is, do you think we will see her ever become one of those champions where it's like, hey, every 4 months, every 5 months, I will consistently defend my belt? Or do you think she always will be one of these fighters who takes 10, 11 months off in between her performances?
I think it's going to be layoffs and so on and so forth.
And that really is unfortunate because it's such a blast watching Rose Namajunas compete in MMA. Like, she is arguably the highest expression of mixed martial arts. She's great on the feet. She's extremely technical, and she's got that kind of Chris Paul X factor to her game where it's not just about what you bring to the table physically. You're always thinking and you're always sort of a step ahead mentally of your opponent. That's not something we ever really talk about on our channel, but it is something that some fighters really do possess. Like, guys like Israel Adesanya, I'm sure Alex Pereira possesses this too, but Rose Namajunas, whereas, okay, yes, my skills are really good, but I'm able to outthink my opponent at a higher level too, and that's just such an impressive thing for a fighter to be able to do.
Rose Namajunas making her way into the cage. Most finishes in UFC strawweight history with 5. Matt, Tatiana Suarez, when's she going to fight next?
I think she's a 125er now too, and it just, neck injuries have really derailed her career, and injuries, it's interesting. People who wrestle their whole entire lives, their bodies just seem to fall apart. I know that's unfortunate to say, but like those really hardcore wrestlers with wrestling backgrounds, just physically it's really hard to keep up that kind of a lifestyle throughout your whole life. And that's been the thing about Suarez throughout her career. A lot of bad neck issues. And we've seen her though, when she's in that cage, There is nobody who can come close to her in the grappling department. Now, Nina Ansaroff at the time, but Nunes now, was able to kind of expose her on the feet in the third round of their fight, made it very interesting, but it's just so unfortunate when you have such a special talent like that, not be able to compete through their prime. It's like Grant Hill, Tracy McGrady, like, there's a lot of players out there from other sports that we've seen. Would Pavel Bure be an example in the NHL of like people who in their prime, when you were there to see them, they had all their special X factors. They just weren't really able to have the longevity that the other all-time greats do.
Well, and I mean, you look at it, she was rumored to be fighting Roxanne Modafferi, who's now taking a retirement fight against King Casey O'Neill. So all of that interesting, but we parlay that forward, and we have Namajunas and Zhang and Matt. This was a pop and popcorn fight for me, as is the main event, but I look at this fight with a lot of reverence because both of these women are clearly head and shoulders above a lot of the fighters in this division. I think Marina Rodriguez, she's obviously entered into the conversation. I think she's the next in line for a title shot. But Matt, I mean, you look at this fight, out of China, you have Zhang Weili. Out of the States, by way of Lithuania, the first-generation American is Rose Namajunas. That was a big talking point for their first fight. But listen, I mean, for Zhang Weili, you talk about it, the camp change, working out of Fight Ready MMA. It's an interesting one. Eric Albarracin, a guy who is no stranger to the spotlight by his own doing, is in her corner. He's got those glasses on. They are a little silly. But, hey, I mean, he had a Lara Joani get a giant win in Bellator, and then she had like a hit list. So that was kind of neat.
She did.
And then she kind of teetered out a little bit.
Again, like, the hair thing's also kind of weird. It feels like that's this is an overcorrection. Like, I don't like a lot. Like, if this were boxing, there would be...
Maybe it was bothersome.
But this is the thing. Like, Rose cut her hair off, and you're not going to like what I'm about to say. Rose cut her hair off because she was like, hey, I just didn't like it in training, and it was in my way. And Rose, at least early on in her career, was marketed more for her looks than her MMA fighting. And it's unfortunate, but that was the case at the time. Now, she shaved her head, and it kind of became that thing about Rose. She's like, I don't care what I look like. I'm here for fighting. It's why I respect Mackenzie Dern so much. Like, Mackenzie Dern went from being like, oh, people knew Mackenzie Dern because she's very pretty coming into the UFC, and she completely changed her body type and became a much better MMA fighter for it. I feel like Weili just looked at what Rose did, and she was like, oh, I gotta be like that now. Like, I just, again, if this were boxing, guys like Teddy Atlas, guys like Jim Nance. Like, these types of guys would just be saying, oh, a lot of red flags. We don't like it when guys change their camp. But in MMA, this isn't really a narrative that gets brought up that much. I guess we just don't see it nearly as often. It's not as commonplace for a championship caliber fighter to just change the camp.
I mean, I disagree with that, but we'll leave that where it is.
How many boxers change their camp and have success?
We have a big-time fight coming up. They're totally different sports between Rose Namajunas and Zhang Weili. And Matt, first fight ended very, very quickly. Not necessarily expecting that in this one. So here we go. We get set for the rematch between Namajunas and Zhang. And quickly, it's Namajunas really trying to push a pace and an early leg kick from Zhang Weili.
And that'll be really interesting. We saw, especially Joanna, laying a lot of leg kicks against Rose, and it did slow her down a little bit in their second fight. Now, she was able to finish that fight strong, but it was a technique that she just have trouble with defensively.
Good leg kick there from Zhang Weili lands once more. We're about 30 seconds into our fight. Both fighters really bouncing well on the ball of their feet.
I was just about to say that. Both fighters are moving tremendously well. Like, it's so hard to land on either one because they're never just planted waiting to be hit.
And for Zhang, her head's way up out of the way. She's got that right hand right up there by the head. And again, I go back to Victoria Leonardo. You see her in a couple of fights. Erin Blanchfield, she fights. She gets head kicked. And the next fight out, her head is glued to her head, and she's trying to avoid it. So for Zhang, she eats that head kick. We got that hand right up there, and the leg kick trying to mount that offense early in this fight. Slow down the opponent.
I think Zhang, though, has a much more intelligent defense than Leonardo. Like, what brought her hand down in their first fight, though, her hands are always up. What brought it down was the threat of the low kick, which then opened up her hands to go down. That's what I think it comes down to with Rose. Rose isn't the fastest. She's not the heaviest handed. It's her timing and her setup.
They are both slugging at it right here, right now. And for Zhang, working out the arms after holding them up tight.
And we saw that in the Frank Edgar fight, I guess, right before. When Zhang got on the inside of Rose, she is able to have success because she does have the shorter reach of the two. I know we talk about reach as always being this big benefit for fighters, but you can see sometimes when you have a shorter reach, if you're able to get on the inside, you can do a lot of great work.
Good kicks here from Weili, but she's always been on the back foot primarily so far in this fight. We're about 2 minutes into our first round of 5. And for Zhang, it is just leg kick city here tonight.
And she's been moving a lot so far throughout this fight. It'll be interesting to see if Zhang can keep this pace up throughout 25 minutes.
You got a high knee here from Rose. She's really hip to it. Zhang going for a takedown. She's got the body lock.
Interesting to see what happens here. She gets the takedown on Rose, who's immediately... Nope, she's able to get half guard on her. This is where the fun begins. We didn't see any grappling in their first matchup. This should be interesting.
Rose off her back here now. She gets it back to guard. She's got one butterfly hook, though. She's looking to kick out of it.
She's able to bring guard back, and Rose is very active off of her back. Never really happy to just stay in one position.
Yeah, I mean, this is a total surprise for me, really. I mean, you look at it. Is she going to get caught in a submission here?
I don't think so. I think she's good enough to work on top. I just think this is a really dangerous spot for her. It's on those transitions in the in-betweens that she's going to have to be really careful.
Armbar attempt here from Rose.
Rose does a good job creating space on the bottom, though. She's not somebody, like I said, who's just trying to hold that full guard closed and wait for the ref to stand her up. She'll threaten with a submission.
Zhang hitting with some big shots here. She's got the guard stacked.
Interesting to see if those leg kicks do start to pay off later in the fight, though. Like, those have been some of the harder lands in the whole fight.
Zhang doing a really good job here from top. Minute 45 remaining here in our first round. Zhang Weili doing great work in this one.
Yeah, she was really active on top, but good job by Rose getting back up to her feet as Weili completes another single leg, but Rose, good job getting back up.
Rose back up to her feet. We're going to see who gets to land a shot in this break, but it's been a really close exchange. Looked like an elbow there for Rose and a nice kick from Zhang Weili.
I don't know if that elbow landed or not, but that was a big shot if it did.
Weili on the back foot here. You got Rose looking to press the action. She's lost some time. She's lost some space.
She has. Oh, big right hand by Rose, but both fighters are landing in those 50-50 chances. Neither one's really been able to pull away with any big exchange except
Great
for that
body
one.
Kick from Zhang Weili.
And it was set up by the right hand, too. That was nice work.
But a minute remaining here in our first round. It's been all back and forth.
Yeah, really interesting round so far. I guess the bigger actions have probably been done by Zhang, but Rose has definitely made it competitive.
About 50 seconds remaining here. Naomi Yunus looking to push the pace, switches over to southpaw, looks to land that left hand, and she does find a home for it.
And she is she's a very similar fighter from her orthodox and southpaw positions. It's the exact same.
Zhang winging a power punch, unable to get it.
Canelo's taking it to plant right now.
Unsurprising, I will say. 30 seconds remaining here.
And for Rose, she's been able to set up a few of her kicks, but Zhang's definitely been the more kick-heavy of the two, which is interesting, especially based on how Rose won their first matchup.
20 seconds remaining in this one. Another leg kick there from Zhang Weili. It's been to the inside and the outside. You like to see that.
Yeah, really good point. She isn't just focusing on one area, which makes it that much harder defensively for the fighter.
Ooh, looked like maybe there was an injury to the ankle there. Now we're power punching. Zhang Weili does not look like that was all that great. Could very well have been a slip there. End of the round, Matt. I mean, to me, it's a 10-9 for the former champion, Zhang Weili.
I would agree.
But, I mean, yeah, that was a really weird end of that round. Maybe it was a slip. Maybe it wasn't. It was just like Burgos Quarantillo. Was it a blue dress or gold dress or was it black? I don't know. But an interesting round nonetheless. We'll have a look at the striking numbers because she had the takedown from Zhang Weili. And the best thing that I think she did, not only getting the takedown, but having a little bit of dominance there, too.
I actually thought that would be a big point for this fight. Because, again, Zhang is a really good grappler. She's just not as well-versed with the submissions as Rose is. Like, I always go back to the Rose fight against the karate, Michelle Watterson, because she head kicks her and then doesn't even try to think about ground and pound. Immediately takes the back, snatches up a beautiful rear naked choke. That's when Rose is at her best, really letting her hands and kicks flow. But the crazy pace of Zhang, at least throughout that first round, never really let her set up.
All right, Matt, we'll move into the second round between these two champ and former champs. Be an interesting one right here.
Rose had good success when, again, she was going downhill. We saw a couple of those highlights. When she is putting her punches together with her feet and her forward movement, she's a very tough fighter to beat.
All right, here we go. Start of our second round. 2 of 5 between Rose Namajunas, your champ, and Zhang Weili, the former champ, in the rematch.
Good leg kick by Weili.
Nice leg kick from Weili. She is throwing absolute hammers in these exchanges.
She is. It feels like Rose isn't really setting up her power shots. She's just trying to enter a lot of these combinations with her power right.
Just my 2 cents saying 10-9 for Rose there.
Fair enough. I thought Zhang did enough with the takedown, some of that ground and pound on top, but it was a close round.
Just my 2 cents, doing a great job over there in the comment section.
And
Go ahead.
Interesting fight so far again, because we know how much success Rose had, especially with her setups in their first fight. But the fact that Wei Li's entering every single exchange with just a quick leg kick has been really interesting because it's stifling the timing of Namajunas.
Doing a really good job here. Rose landing a couple of good shots in this flurry.
But she needs combinations. When she's throwing a combination, she is having success. When she's just single shotting, that's when Zhang's able to take over.
Rose switching stance quite a bit. You don't want to eat a lot of those leg kicks to that lead left leg. Zhang has targeted it throughout the entire first round and into the second here.
That head kick came close, though.
Rose, she's got her backed up between the black line. Now she lets Zhang back in.
Interesting. I really thought she would try to limit some of that movement of Wei Li, but maybe she's trying to force her to move forward into her power and kind of meet her halfway.
Rose throwing those kicks, threatening, a la Chito Vera. Ooh, big time
right
exchange.
Wei Li landed a nice right hand on that entry.
Good job for the former champ. Looking to set up a trilogy.
Rose seems to have a really hard time getting into rhythm,
that feint to the body by Rose, and she lands that left hook. That was something you like to see.
That was a really nice single shot. But again, the big problem with Rose is she's having a hard time getting into rhythm. It's that one big shot and then kind of nothing. And then maybe she'll land a big shot. When she's at her best, it is when she's putting 2, 3, 4 punches together.
Wei Li doing a good job of feinting too. She's doing a good job with hips, with the kicks too, but she misses on a big action there.
Like, these two are both so fast.
Ooh, they both go to land right hands and neither hits.
That's how Conor McGregor broke his leg.
Just under 3 minutes remaining here in our second round. It's been neck and neck here in the second.
Big left hook by Rose seemed to land on that exchange.
Yeah, and there was a good leg kick there earlier from Zhang, but now she's backing up and Rose really trying to throw a different look at her.
She has Rose switching a lot of stances.
And backing away after she found success there.
No, but it's not like she's doing terrible in open space because these have been a lot of 50-50 exchanges. Like, it is really hard to differentiate either one's success, but Rose does seem to be getting her pattern down a little bit better now.
Lands a nice right hook, and now it's Zhang looking to initiate the wrestling.
I think that left straight by Rose might have whipped the head back away, Lee.
The triple C wrestling of Zhang, unable to get anything doing.
Wow.
And Rose, she defends that takedown. We're stunting on them now.
Rose gaining confidence. This is when she's at her most dangerous. When Rose be thuggin', you best watch it.
She just landed a really nice leg kick of her own. They show you the total stats on the leg kicks, but to me, Namajunas is starting to pick up that volume. Wow, Zhang hit her!
Big shot by Wei Li. Oh my goodness, this fight turned around quick.
Big right hand for Zhang, and Rose was rocked until she kind of went back.
Head kick by Rose, though. That landed clean on Wei Li, who ends up in top position after the takedown.
Grabs it. She's in top position.
What a turn of events. This fight has turned back.
Ooh, up kick.
That might have hurt her a little bit.
Ooh, you get elbows.
Rose pulling her into her guard like a spider.
This is going to be a tricky, tricky round, and if it ends on the ground, I have to think it's going to end up at 2018, but we have plenty of action left. We're closing in on a minute remaining here in this round.
Yeah, really interesting round to score. Both fighters have had a lot more success in the second round than either did in the first.
Ooh,
big right hand. That was a big ground and pound from the stack guard from Wei Li.
Zhang landing good ground and pound. Now Rose trying to do some of the same, but off her back. Zhang hitting her hard on the up.
Yeah, Rose got to be careful on all the in-betweens. When she's getting up, when she's exiting the clinch, when she's entering the exchange.
Ooh, big right hand for Namajunas.
Whoever's first is winning the fight. I know that's an easy thing to say, but that really has been the key.
Big right hand landed for Zhang. She's going for a takedown. Rose defending it.
Rose, very physically strong.
Takedown attempt. Nothing to it. 40 seconds remaining in this second round.
Some back and forth action this round. This has been a phenomenal fight.
Ooh, Rose takedown from Rose. The old trip takedown. She's got her hands locked.
Not a lot of time, but Rose can really make this worth it.
Hands are locked here.
She's already past the guard.
She's almost into mount, but that cage stifling any activity.
Still 20 seconds, though, in a very dominant position. Wei Li was not able to get past the guard of Rose, but that has not been the case vice versa.
I expect the judges to have a little bit of a harder time trying to score this one.
I personally do think Rose evened it up this fight. I think she was able to do enough with this takedown in the last 30 seconds.
Not able to do anything.
Big right hand, though.
Nice up kick there from Zhang.
Whew.
All right, end of that round, Matt.
He picked up the aggression.
We had a very tough one. Let's move it on over and have a look at the stats. Zhang's still ahead in terms of the total strikes. Let us know in the comments section who you have here, because I've got the second round for Zhang. I mean, she absolutely rocked her on the feet. She was able to control most of it.
But right after, she also got hit with a head kick and kind of got hurt herself. And I just think Rose landed the better single shots at the middle. I really do. Here's the one thing that I think we can both agree on, though. Rose is the one with the momentum on her side, I would say, especially going into this round. I know she got hit by that one big shot, but she was having more success, especially than she was in the first round. And she was able to secure that takedown and immediately pass the guard of Wei Li, who seems to be stretching out her left arm a little bit in the corner.
Zhang Wei Li, she's
She had
looking
it like
back.
above her head. Yeah.
Maybe her shoulder's out of line.
Not really sure what's going on.
We're working that shoulder out. I mean, that's a big weapon
Something
there.
to keep an eye on, though, for sure, is the left arm of Wei Li. Not to sound like Joe Rogan, but...
I'm sure he's talking about it too.
Oh, yeah. She hasn't thrown the left hand in 4 seconds. It might be broken. Okay, Joe. Okay.
Khabib shouldn't box with Ali Quintamat. We get set for our third round. This one, a title fight of 5. Let us know. Again, I mean, Corey McGregor is saying 1-1. Aziz is saying show the screen. No chance.
But a back and forth fight. Look, both fighters have had success in every single exchange and every single aspect of MMA. On the feet, on the ground, and in the clinch.
Good leg kick there from Zhang, and she whipped that left hand out there like there wasn't anything wrong.
She did. Maybe it was just like she fell in a weird way and it was giving her issue, but it doesn't seem to be like a structural problem.
30 seconds into our third round. Rose looking to push a
doctor,
pace
though.
here.
That has to be said. Unlike Joe Rogan, who thinks he's a doctor. I'm sorry. Rose Namajunas, again, she hasn't really been able to set up her kicks as much in the rematch, which was a really big key to her success in the first fight, and really even in the Joanna fight. So I'm really surprised that we haven't seen more of a kicking game out of Rose.
The live odds have only shifted 5 points towards Zhang after those 2 rounds, so it's got to still be close.
Exactly.
I mean, the mask is saying 1-1 for sure. Chris has it 2018 Zhang, but in that last exchange, Rose found a lot of success.
Yeah, Rose is really starting to build as this fight's gone on.
Rose with a nice leg kick of her own.
And I'm surprised Wei Li's gone away from those. She was having really good success, especially early on in the first round with the leg kick, but now she's jumping into range a lot.
Yeah, Zhang just had a really weird movement on that lead leg.
And I just think she's having a hard time getting past the extended punches of Rose because she is the smaller fighter in this matchup. So unless she automatically gets like a stellar jab like Anderson Silva, it really will be hard for her to work her way on the inside of the range.
Minute and a half into our third round, a lot less output from these two fighters, but a lot on the line.
There definitely is. When Rose is starting to let go, though, even with her single shots, they're starting to find a home a lot more.
Ooh, big left hand for Zhang lands.
That was nice, especially backing up. I don't know how clean it landed, but that was a really nice technique.
Rose, if she wants to win, definitely has to pick up the output. A big right hand whiffs for Zhang.
3 minutes left in the round, though. Still plenty of time. Neither fighter's really been able to do anything all that big.
Zhang's thrown a lot of air in these exchanges here lately.
Yeah, she's missed a lot in this round. It's surprising to see. You'd think, A, she'd either go for a takedown, try to close the distance a little bit in this fight, or just try to start setting her shots up a little bit more than just winging wild spinning techniques.
Old Tony over there is saying Zhang hates the stance switching of Rose, and Benny's saying Zhang is banged up. I mean, it's been a weirder round. Now, she has landed good, clean shots, but she's thrown a lot, so the percentage is way down in this round. We're getting halfway through a third round. Rose hasn't really been able to do anything, though.
Exactly. Rose herself hasn't been all that active. This is one of those rounds where you don't love what you're seeing from Zhang, but Rose isn't doing enough to really capitalize on those factors.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really, really tough one. If you're trying to score this round, it's going to be difficult because, again, with the output down from Zhang,
10-10.
and, I mean, yeah, with Namajunas where it's at, and our pay-per-view decided that it was going to pause, and that's it.
Oh, no.
Maybe that's the show. All right, I'll refresh the entire page. This makes for great viewing.
Hopefully we're back. That was a really good fight.
Now we're loading up. Now we're back.
Oh, Rose might have hurt her.
All right, so a big opportunity there. You get to hear the crowd. We're still on time, though. Time's good.
Rose may have hurt Wei Li with a shot. I don't really know. I think we missed a significant action in the fight. Of course, that would be our luck.
Shoulder strike from Rose Namajunas.
Yeah, I think Rose might have hurt Wei Li. You guys will have to let us know.
Yeah, you got to tell us. I mean, Diego is saying
what happened?
1-1, but you got to let us know because something crazy happened, and I don't know what happened.
But Rose is definitely getting her range back a lot, or she's getting her range down a lot better.
Nice leg kick by both.
That would hurt so bad to meet in the middle on a leg kick. Oh, goodness.
Nice leg kick by Zhang. Ooh.
Rose with the hands, though. That's where you really got to watch out for. I know we talked a lot about her kicks, but she has really good punching power.
Rose pumping the double jab from southpaw. You love to see it.
You
Minute
really
remaining in our third round. Big time actions from
counter,
Zhang,
right?
and she gets countered.
That's the thing. Rose is letting Wei Li be first and countering her with power.
Oscar letting us know. She dropped. Oh, big left hand for Rose.
They both
Wei Li.
left hooks on that exchange. This has been a back and forth fight.
Oh, another big one for Wei Li.
Wei Li's missing a lot, though. Like, not a lot of her punches have really landed clean on Rose.
About 30 seconds remaining in this third round. Takedown attempt from Wei Li.
That was a really nice entry from Wei Li. That was a really good job. I thought Rose was going to be able to get out of that initially, but that was a really, really nice entry.
Rose in a really bad spot here. Giving her back.
Man, an interesting fight so far. Back and forth without a doubt.
Rose flipped out of it, but she's still in a bad spot.
But she just doesn't stop moving on the ground. Wei
Li.
Being hit.
Oh, she grabs her rear naked. Nope.
Didn't get it, though.
Now she ends up in mount.
Oh, wow.
5 seconds remain. Some good shots.
You know Glover Teixeira's looking at this proud in the stands right now. Get dropped, end up in mount. The oldest trick in the book.
Jack Hope saying 3-0 for Zhang Wei Li.
Well, okay, if Rose did get the knockdown there, then I would say Rose probably won that round.
It's hard to tell. I mean, for me, I'll give that one to Rose. So I've got it 29-28 for Zhang in this one. But again, she ended that round hot.
She did, and that's the thing. All these rounds have been very close. You could have it 30-27 Rose or 30-27 Zhang. Like, I really can't argue with either one of those scorecards. That's how close of a fight this has been. Like, it's a lot of 50-50 exchanges. Now, Rose did land that big right hand, as I think we're seeing, maybe not, the replay of it. But yeah, really great fight so far. Ooh, good left hook by both of them. Yeah, great chins on display from both of these fighters. This has been a great fight.
Adam Martin on Twitter, very possible that Zhang stole back the third round. Man, this is a close fight. Could be 29-28 either fighter or 30-27 for Zhang. Close rounds. Yeah, I've got a 29-28 for Zhang Wei Li, but again, a really close one. Just my 2 cents saying 29-28 Wei Li for me. Boys, we'll get the 5-minute timer ready. You can sit back and relax now. All right, here we go. This is our 4th round of 5 between these two ultimate competitors in this division.
And it really is going to come down to who's going to win more of these 50-50 exchanges, because neither one's really been able to set anything up all that clean. They're both being forced to pay a lot for their entries, so it's really going to come down to the chin and the cardio of both these fighters.
Body shot attempt there from Rose, and Wei Li hip to it there.
That was a good right hand by Wei Li, though, on the entry. And that's the thing, neither fighter's being able to get away with anything.
Big right hand attempt for Rose, but she gets countered. A couple of nice ones down the pipe from Zhang.
When Zhang's again, the one who's waiting is really the one winning. Big right hand by Rose, though.
Feeling it.
But she needs more. Again, you can't just sit back and admire your work after. You really got to go after it.
Another right hand from Rose. She goes for the body kick, and it gets caught by Zhang. And these takedowns and the takedown defense out of Rose Namajunas haven't been all that great, but a weird kick on the up kick to the body.
Well, it just forced the separation, though. That was a really good job by Rose, and that's what she has to do. Create separation. You can't afford to be on your back for any more minutes in this fight. Good right hand by Rose.
The right hands are starting to add up from distance for Rose, but she can definitely get caught by those hooks. We've seen it so far.
And you just wonder how much power is on those shots from Rose. Like, this has been a top 4-round fight so far, so I doubt her arms are feeling all that fresh right now.
3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in our 4th round.
Wei Li's definitely made this a much better fight than the first one, though.
Oh, 100%. Wei Li still committed to those leg kicks, and they have been good. And look at that. Right on a kick, she goes for a takedown of her own. Rose gets out of it, but Wei Li's got the back. Can she get the takedown? It's looking like she might.
She might be able to, and she went for the neck there in the 3rd round right at the end. It'll be interesting to see if she's able to have more success in the mat.
Rose has the baseball grip on the right hand of Wei Li, but listen, the Triple C camp, it's worked out so far.
It really has. Again, with Rose, you can't afford to spend any more time on the defensive. It's hard to win fights when you're defending. That's what we say. Like, okay, if you go 0 for 11 with your takedown attempts, at least you were the one attempting the takedowns. The person defending them doesn't get points for defending them.
Wei Li's definitely in a great position. She rolls.
Just so physically strong on the mat. That's been a big factor today.
Doesn't have the body locked up with the legs, though. That could give her an opportunity. Now she does.
Goodness. A very interesting game plan from Wei Li right now.
Rose trying to work the hands here.
I mean, this is how Carla Esparza beat Rose. To be fair, it was just a very long time
Rose
ago.
now in guard. She's got a lot of time to work. Half of the round is remaining, and Rose Namajunas working from the full guard of Zhang Wei Li.
This will be interesting. This is where Rose can be at her best.
Great opportunity for her, 100%.
But she's got to be active. And the issue is, when you're active, especially on the mat, you're going to be creating a lot of separation with your opponent. That's when they're going to have a chance to scramble.
Zhang really trying to get out of this one. She grabs a leg, get whatever you can, and now Rose back into guard.
But that was a good job getting out of side control from Wei Li. Like, that was a good job getting her guard back.
Rose still working from this guard. It's closed by Zhang, but again, yeah, she has been very active off her back.
She definitely has been less threatening with submissions, but still just trying to create separation, not letting Rose be comfortable.
I do not envy the judges tonight if we make it that far.
It's been a weird back and forth fight.
Minute 40 seconds remaining here in our third round. And Rose, she's trying to work from this guard. Not a lot of action. Throwing a couple shots to the body here. Trying to open up and soften up the guard of Zhang Weili. But, I mean, listen, you got to work for that position. A little bit of a forearm choke.
She's definitely doing enough for the position, I think. It's just, this is good for Rose to be on top. She couldn't have spent any more time on the back in a defensive shell against Weili. So this is exactly what she needs to at least get a round back in her favor. Because if she is able to win this fight, it's probably tied going into the fifth. Ooh. Maybe not, but she really needs this round.
Right hand landed for Rose there when they broke. The mask saying Zhang looks like the fresher fighter, and Oscar saying Rose has been disappointing. If you expected another first-round knockout, I guess I would agree.
Well, she has been on the mat. I think she was going to have a lot more success in the grappling with Weili than she has up until this point.
Less than a minute remaining in our fourth round, Matt. And I mean, if it ended right now, I'd have it tied. The fifth round being the big equalizer.
Yeah, yeah. It's either tied or Rose is up 3-1, I think.
Or Zhang's up 3-1.
Exactly. Like, that's what I mean. I'm not very confident in what I say about the judging or the points over this fight.
All right, Rose has about 30 seconds to work here from the guard of Zhang Weili. But, I mean, yeah, in this round, definitely doing better work than she has. Nice short elbow there from Zhang.
Oh, that was a good ground and pound shot from Rose. She has landed a couple nice strikes from the top position. I just really thought she'd try to threaten more with submission, try to pass the guard, because at the end of the second round, she cut through Weili's guard like it was a knife through hot butter. So I really thought we'd see a little bit more of that throughout this one as well.
Less than 5 seconds remaining. Jack Hope saying 3-1 for Zhang. And look at that. Namajunas hit that canvas pretty darn hard with a right hand. That stuff's got to hurt.
Craig, right. They've been hitting each other in the head for 20 minutes. Do you think her hitting the ground's going to bother her?
Total strike numbers a little bit closer. So, yeah, I've got it 2-2. But, again, it could be 3-1 either way. So, I'd be interested to hear. We're not going to be able to hear it. But Pat Barry's cornering here. Trevor Whitman probably all smiles over there.
Oh, yeah. Trevor Whitman, win, lose, or draw, is the happiest man alive at an MMA event. Which, like...
Well, he's got 3 fighters. This is the payday.
Well, no, just like Trevor Whitman just loves MMA. And that's a really nice thing to see from a coach. Because I'm sure there's MMA coaches out there who are just, like, doing it. Like, I'm sure not all of them really have that, like, fire for the sport still. But Trevor Whitman, even if his athlete gets brutally knocked out, is the first person to congratulate their opponent. And it seems like genuinely happy for them. So he's a good guy to have in the sport.
Andreas Hale saying that, Canelo just won. So I missed my first Canelo fight in a really long time.
That's fine.
No, it's I mean, it hurts.
Craig, we have like...
Never miss those fights. Never miss those fights. All right, so we get set for our 5th and final round. Championship fight.
Did he win by stoppage or decision?
Stoppage. Rose Namajunas taking on Zhang Weili. Here we go. This could be the one that takes all of the marbles.
Very well could
We've
be.
got a whomever takes the 5th. And, this is going to be a great one. And now we have a pause
Rose
in the
never
action.
mouth guard in. You've been fighting for 20 minutes. What are we doing?
All right, we're 3 seconds off. So I'll let 3 seconds play, and then I'll hit play. There we go. We're live and on the way between these two great fighters. Now, I wouldn't say this is fight of the year. Unfortunately, we had about 2 of those earlier on this main card, but it's been a wild night of fights from Chris Barnett, spinning wheel kick knockouts at heavyweight to 2 giant hooks that land for Zhang Weili. It's been a great one.
She's had a really nice start to this round. She landed a few really big power shots.
Big time opportunity here. Nice right hand for Rose. Defends a takedown finally, too.
Exactly. She didn't just like pull guard and try to initiate a scramble, which was nice to see.
Rose switching over to southpaw.
Stopped him in the 11. Thank you, Walker.
You've got a good opportunity here. Zhang kind of missing on some of these.
But again, every single time these two come together, they are both landing. Like, it is really hard to say one person is really pulled apart in the striking exchanges.
Ooh, nice attempt.
That was
at
a
nice left
takedown.
Hand there from Zhang, and Rose right on that takedown, and the head popping off the cage for Zhang Weili, who's on her back again.
Beautiful timing from Rose, though, on that takedown. Like, she really needed something big offensively to sort of take control of this fight, and that's exactly what she got there.
Zhang doing a good job with those elbows. Now Rose looking to move from half guard. Is she going to be able to jump all the way into mount?
Weili's doing a good job with her butterfly hook on the ground. Almost trying to threaten with a leg lock right now, but that's going to be hard to do against someone like Rose.
Almost a knee on belly there. Rose in a tough way right here to try and mount some offense. Really nice right
she
hands.
Just keep on hammering down right now unless Wei Li really gets dedicated on that right leg of Rose.
You got Rose still here in an awkward guard. Now she's in half.
And Rose has landed the more effective ground and pound, I think, when they are on the mat. Wei Li, I would say, has had more time in top control, but she was looking to do a lot of passing, and there was a lot of just mid-time exchanges.
Good up kicks, but Rose gets all the way through that. It's like running through a cornfield when you're blindfolded.
This is what Rose needs, though. Like, if she could spend the next 4 minutes in top position, then yes, I would say she probably wins it.
Rose doing a good job here. Wei Li, again, you talk about it. I mean, it's just like running and you're going to hit something, but you make it through. It'd be like driving a car through one of those whipping car washes. It's tough. You're eating something on the way down.
Wow. Yeah, the up kicks are really dangerous. Now, I don't know why Rose keeps on standing up to try to pass the guard. I know it's really hard to do on the mat, but still, it's something that's Wei Li's been able to threaten with every single time, and it's come dangerously close multiple times. But again, if Rose can keep on going from full guard to half guard, full guard, half guard, she's not going to get stood up, and she's going to be able to win the round.
The old Jake Shields approach to a fight. But Matt, Rose has an opportunity here. She's kind of in a bit of an in-between. Wei Li might be able to get back up to her feet. That was a weird opportunity. That was CM Punk, Mike Jackson-esque.
But good ground and pound from Rose so far. She has done a good job of staying active this round.
And Wei Li doing a good job, too. We got to give credit where it's due. She continues to strike. Yes, she's on her back, but she's trying to at least be offensive in a bad way.
But I would much rather a fighter use that energy to get back up to their feet, though, than just throw strikes off their back.
Those good leg kicks. And Matt, yeah, Rose Namajunas able to just mount that control time a little bit more. She lands a really nice right hand there.
Even if Rose wins this fight, my prediction I don't feel like was all that great on it. I don't think I read this fight well at all. That's just something I feel like I should say.
I think Zhang's camp change was quite beneficial.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Minute 15 remaining in our fifth and final round. Rose working from the guard.
Okay, yeah, Wei Li's got to get up. She can't think she's going to win this fight by being on her back for the whole of the fifth round.
Or she's up 3-1.
But how many times have we seen fighters be told, hey, you're up going into the last round, they don't do anything and they lose? It happens all the time. Never listen to them.
James Krause, Tim Elliott's the only one that comes to mind quickly. But Matt, less than a minute remaining. You got to watch out for that knee there from Rose Namajunas, but she continues to mount some offense here in our fifth round. Again, to throw it back to @FightNightPicks over on Instagram, the total votes for this one, it was an overwhelming majority. 61% had Namajunas to get the win to the 39% of Zhang, who's kicking like it's going out of style off of her back.
I don't know what the amount of up kicks thrown on this card have been, but it's higher than the average up kicks.
Rose getting right back into that guard.
And that's good for her. If she can hold this for 20 more seconds, she should be able to win this round. And I think she's done enough to probably win 3 of the 2, if not 4 of the 5. 3 of the 5, if not 4 of the 5. But this has been a very close fight. Other than the 5th round, I would say the previous 4 have all been paper thin.
I mean, Jack Hope's saying 3-2 Zhang. Listen, I'm not going to disagree with you, Jack. Like, it was such a close fight. It all depends on how you scored it. For me, I've got it 3-2 Rose, but I'm going to have to go back and watch this fight again to get the clear picture of it. Let's have a look at those overall stats from UFC.com. I mean, Rose brought it right back with those total strikes in that third round. Zhang outlanded her in terms of strikes, but that doesn't tell the whole story.
Don, I disagree with what you just said. Rose 3-2, got to beat the champ. No, you don't. No, but like people have said that, but it's not true at all. All you have to do is win. Don't make the face crack, because it's not true. All you have to do is win 15 minutes of a 25-minute fight. The judges are not told, hey, weigh this differently because it's a title fight now. You only have to win 3 of the 5 rounds. It's always been that way. I can't stand it when people say that. It's a huge pet peeve of mine. You have to take it from the champ. No, you don't. You just have to be marginally better than them, and you need 3 strangers to agree on it.
Definitely.
I've never agreed with that.
An interesting decision upcoming, Matt. But I mean, yeah, it was a really close one. Morgs is saying 3-2 for Zhang. Listen, again, I wouldn't disagree with you if you're going that way. It was such a really, really close fight. Just my 2 cents saying 48-47 for Thug. Don saying if it's really close, it's weird.
Closest fight of the card. I would say this is the closest fight.
Oh
of the card.
yeah, 100%.
Like, I have no idea who won this. I know we both said Rose, but if they gave it to Zhang, I would not be surprised in the slightest.
Aaron Bronstetter, how they score this is anyone's guess. Scorecards could be all over the place. Drake Riggs has it 48-47 now. Muniz winning the last 3 rounds. Marcel Dorf 48-47. Sean Sheehan can't give Rose the 5th. She landed next to nothing. He is a
What did Weili do?
He is a great fighter, especially scoring wise. So he's got it 49-46 for Zhang. I can't wait for this one. I mean, I really do. Davidson Baker's got it 48-47 for Zhang. So listen, it could be anybody's decision. J Money saying Rose pulled it out. Yeah, that's a really, really tricky one.
Like, that's a draw if ever there was one. I know it's hard to have a draw because there were no 10-8 rounds and they all were so close. But, like, if you want to say 3 of them were 10-10s and then both got a round, I'm cool with that.
We're going to ignore the chat for 2 seconds. Halle Berry's going to crown the champion. We have Rose Namajunas and Zhang Weili getting that decision.
Split decision, do you think?
No.
Okay. After 5 rounds.
It's going to be weird because we're waiting for the CC, the closed captioning, then we'll get an arm up. 48-47. Weili. All right, yeah, we're going to have a split decision. 48-47 for Namajunas.
This could be 49-46 and it still wouldn't tell us who won.
Rose Namajunas wins the fight.
Called
Man,
it 49-46.
What a close fight. That's going to be one that people are going to argue about till the end of time.
That's as close of a fight as you can have.
We need the trilogy.
Do we, though? Weili's 0-2.
Yeah, but a split on the second one.
Okay, but Yoel Romero got a split on the second Robert Whittaker fight. Nobody wanted to see that fight happen a third time, and the first one is closer than the first one of this. For you to make a trilogy, you have to have a real good reason to do it if you haven't won a single fight. John Jones is only really 1-0 against Daniel Cormier, and nobody wants to see them fight for a third time. It's just, I don't get, let's make a trilogy. Weili, go beat like 3 or 4 more contenders. Maybe it'll happen, but she's going to be in one of those weird Max Holloway categories where it's like, okay, you're better than everybody else, but you've fallen short of the champion twice. It is very similar to the Alexander Volkanovski area. So I don't think anybody's asking for an immediate trilogy. That's all.
Really, really tricky one if you're out there and you're watching that one. I mean, yeah, Rose able to get the win, and I mean, you have to think Marina Rodriguez and Carla Esparza, they're right up there for title shots. Marina's been more active. She's gotten some finishes, and really in her last fight impressed a lot of people getting out of that dangerous spot in, the second round against Dern. So it's going to be interesting.
Rodriguez, throughout her last 2 performances, has made up about as much space in a division as you possibly can in 2 fights. Like, going from knocking out one of the most hyped up prospects in the division in Amanda Hebos, and then turning that into a 5-round main event slot against Mackenzie Dern and looking phenomenal while doing it. Like, it's harder to do better than Rodriguez has done in the strawweight division in the short amount of time that she's been able to. I agree with you. It's weird where Carla is right now. Like, she was champ, and then she got completely rode off. No one thought she was ever going to be a top fighter again. She's had this complete, career resurgence, but now, there's not really a fight for her. It really sucks to be Carla Esparza in this situation right now, because if you're Carla, you're thinking, hey, I've done everything I possibly can to justify a title shot, but I still feel like I'm 1 fight away. It's really unfortunate to see where Esparza is.
What do you make of a 49-46 scorecard for Rose Namajunas?
I thought Rose won 4. I said Rose won round 2. Yeah, 2, 3, 4, and 5, because 2 was close. I didn't think that's all that crazy. You're making a fake. Before they announced 49-46, I said it could be 49-46 and it still wouldn't tell us who won.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
If every round is close, you can't argue with them giving every round to one of the fighters. And they didn't even do that. Again, it could have been 49-46 Weili and I wouldn't have argued with it. Why are you making a face?
I don't know. Jake O'Shea saying Rose won it in my opinion. Matt, we have a great fight coming up next. And I mean, they're trying to get the final word out of Zhang Weili. Obviously, she'll be back. She'll have another fight, so on and so forth. And I'll be interested to see if that camp change keeps being a theme for her. If she stays in the States to train, if she makes the move. Pat Barry's hugging people in the crowd.
Remember Tori, Michael Bisping?
Michael Bisping looking like a giant fanboy, really reaching out for the handshake of Pat Barry, something I don't think I've ever seen before. And then some guy just with a cell phone. I might as well get a video. Brian Butler just hanging out. He made some money tonight.
Just a lot going on. Nice scene though. Good for Rose. Like she really is. It's weird to see who the GOAT is at women's strawweight. Like there's just been a lot of great fighters right now. It's still sort of a new division. It's going to take probably another 5-10 years for us to really have a definitive answer to that question. But there's a lot of deserving contenders if you want to try to figure out who is the greatest women's strawweight fighter of all time.
Big time win there for Rose Namajunas. And
Yeah, see, I had it Rose 4-1.
Listen, it was a. I had Rose, but 4-1 is BS, is what's being said there, Matt, by Bob.
It's not. Like, again, other people had it. If we say 4 of the rounds are as close as they can possibly be, and the only round anyone definitively won was the 5th round for Rose, that means that you're mad that they scored 3 close rounds for Rose. I just, where would the outrage be in that? I don't get it. If they said 49-46 Weili, I would not have been surprised whatsoever. Like, that's how close that fight was. That was one of those fights where it could have been 50-45, 50-45, 48-47, and I wouldn't really have disagreed with it.
Townsend Hamilton saying Marina is coming for everybody.
She really could be, and here's the thing. I really had a much higher opinion of Weili and Rose before that fight. Like, I actually do think the other contenders in line are much closer than they were in my mind's eye. Like, at bantamweight, I don't think the next closest person in line is very close to Amanda Nunes. Like, they can barely see her. But at strawweight, I do think that there's like 5 or 6 fighters all of a sudden who could be champion at any given day.
Matt, we talk about that fight and how close it was, but if we take out the TKO from that first fight between Usman and Covington, I mean, man, what a close fight those guys had the first time out. I mean, since then, Colby goes out there, decimates Tyron Woodley. For Kamaru Usman, he goes out there and decimates Gilbert Burns, pretty good striker, and Jorge Masvidal, pretty well only striker. And what an amazing couple of wins those were for Usman. But again, Tyron Woodley, yeah, the end of the UFC career was bad. And yeah, the fight against Jake Paul, the big action was actually from Tyron Woodley. The picture everybody remembers, myself included, was Woodley landing that big shot. But still, it's just weird because Covington's just kind of waited around. And it didn't work for him the first time when he was interim champ, but it's worked for him this time, and he gets this rematch.
It's weird that he left ATT now that they're doing a lot of pro wrestling stuff, because it feels like he really could have capitalized a lot on their whole transition over to AEW. I don't care about wrestling at all, but still, Colby Covington was tailor-made to kind of be a pro wrestler, so it's weird that now he has finally left the gym, once that MMA gym is now very much in the public eye of the professional wrestling world. I just always thought that was weird. Covington has a very, very big ask in front of him and a very big challenge because basically he's being asked to fight a more athletic version of himself. And that's a really difficult thing to do. Like, unless you are so intelligent with your MMA IQ that you can somehow think the fight to a win, this can be really hard to ask for Covington. And that's why I think Usman is such a big favorite. It's no disrespect to what Covington has done throughout his UFC tenure. It's just you look at Usman, the way he was able to finish strong against Covington, he still has power in the 5th round. The way he was able to face adversity in his last few fights and just still look
even the
good.
Covington fight.
Exactly, even the Covington fight, even the Burns fight. Like, go back to the first Masvidal fight. Like, he's been caught a few times. He's been able to work his way through that. And that's the thing about Usman. He was a panic wrestler. Now I feel like his defense is kind of leveled up. He doesn't just shoot now when he gets hurt. Now he can kind of think his way through a lot of problems. So it's not that Colby Covington isn't a UFC championship caliber fighter. Like, there's fighters in a lot of divisions who are probably good enough to become champion. They just never will due to whatever, like, circumstance. That's probably what Colby Covington is. If he came along 5 years earlier, or even 5 years later, he's probably a UFC champion. He's probably got 3 or 4 title defenses under his belt. It's just the fact that he's coming along at the exact same time as Kamaru Usman, who is probably the first fighter ever that we can point to and say he might be as good as GSP one day. Is just really hard for Covington. So maybe he's able to go out there, add new wrinkle to his game, maybe throws a lot of leg kicks early, wear down Usman. It's just, I don't know what Covington can add to his game to completely change this fight.
This should be an amazing one. And I mean, you rarely see it later on in a career where you get an uptick in aggression and power to go along with everything else. Now, the one thing, and we talked about it time and again, Colby Covington's conservative enough in the way that he punches that he doesn't really leave himself open to get chin checked as much as Kamaru Usman does. You saw that in a lot of Usman fights. I mean, Gilbert Burns almost had him finished in that fight. We were over the moon. Like, it looked like it was going to be over. And even in that first fight between these two guys, Colby had some really good opportunities right until the end of that 5th round. So this should be a great one. And I'm really looking forward to this fight. I mean, really, I talked myself into it. I said to myself time and again, fight of the year, fight of the year, fight of the year. Gaethje Chandler. And then it happened. Fight of the year, backup fight of the year. Burgos Quarantilla. And then that happened. And then Edgar Vera was wild because Frankie was almost on the way to winning a decision. And then Roseway Lee kind of brought me down a little bit.
He would have lost the split decision. Even if he didn't get knocked out by that kick, he loses the third. And then, he loses 29-28, 29-28, 29-28.
Might have lost it in the third. You never know. But we're in a position right here where these two guys put on an absolute barn burner the first time out. The mask is saying Usman, winner by KO, round number 1. I do think that both these guys, Usman, you've seen the strides in his striking, his aggression, whatever. I'm sure Colby's added little wrinkles into his game too. Again, yes, he went to a smaller gym, but he gets a little bit more in terms of personalized training. But overall, you have to think that he's added a few wrinkles since the first fight because you know that he can fight with pace and he can fight with a lot of volume, and there's some power behind that volume too.
Okay, is the 45 minutes a day of personalized training worth the much lesser training partners?
You got to be kidding me if you think it's 45 minutes.
What I'm saying, though, is I don't think a guy like Colby Covington is just training with everybody at American Top Team. Like, the championship level fighters are going to get one-on-one time with their coaches. I don't think now that Covington's training with MMA Masters, it's completely changed his whole camp and everything. Like, I still think he's going to be very much the same fighter he was the first time out, and that's the big problem with this fight. What can Covington do to really add to his game to change this fight? Because Covington really is a refined product right now. Like, he's got great wrestling, great striking, he's good all over the place. Like, I don't know what he could all of a sudden add to his game. I guess really I'm asking you. Like, if he comes out and throws more leg kicks, I think that could be really effective technique. If he is able to take down some of the forward pressure of Usman, I think that could pay off early. It's just, I don't think that's a consistent game plan against a guy like Usman for 25 minutes because his cardio is so good, and I just don't know what Covington's going to do to stop that forward pressure from Usman.
And it's a really tricky one, and then if you look past this fight, and listen, I get it, for Usman, there's a lot of people that don't like him. For Covington, there's a lot of people that don't like him either, and there's a lot of people that like both these guys as well. So they're very polarizing, very divisive guys, but whatever you think about them, I honestly have to think the UFC would rather see Kamaru Usman as champion, and here's why. Because Covington is so damn unpredictable, and when he was interim champ, it was like, okay, I'm champ, I want to fight Tyron Woodley. Now we're going to get nose surgery, but I'm going to be back! But then I wasn't, so then they had to make the Darren Till fight at 227. It's just, it really is a little bit more volatile that way, but it does shake things up and make it interesting. So I can't wait for this fight, but I hate the pre-fight build-up. I hate the trash talk between these two guys. It's just, it's weak. It really is. You start yelling, you get emotional, you lose an argument already. But Matt, this should be an amazing fight for all it's worth.
I think this will be a really fun fight. I'm going to say this, though, and maybe you'll disagree. I don't think this fight's going to be as good as the first one. I know that's a hot take. That's not a hot take, sorry. Their first fight was one of the better fights of all time, but I do think we're going to see a much more reserved version of Covington, at least early in this fight. I think if he can somehow make Usman attack him first, maybe he'll be able to read some of the openings from Usman early. It's just, I just keep on going back to, what can Covington change from the first fight? Because he was fighting such a good fight in the first fight, but still ended up losing. And of course, not get knocked out, but still. Can he string together better combinations? Can he put maybe a little bit higher output together? I don't know what the answer is.
Colby Covington making the walk to the Kurt Angle soundtrack. You'll love to see it. One guy, a gold medalist and Olympian that trained with the Gables, trained at the DuPont Foxcatcher Ranch, if you want to call it that. And Colby Covington, Diego is saying Covington is coming to wrestle. We'll see what he does. I'd be really interested if we get some wrestling out of these guys, because then it's just, forget about the first fight, enter in a new era where both these guys, primary wrestlers in their back pocket, just like Gaethje and Chandler, but they struck in their first one. MMA fights, normally turn wrestlers into strikers.
They normally do. I could see Usman going out there and wrestling Covington quite a bit early on, just kind of get a feel for where Covington's wrestling is at, because I think if Usman can get the takedown once, he's going to go up for it quite a bit. And that's why I think this fight might be a little bit boring. If Usman can get that early takedown, let's say he gets Covington down for the last minute of the first round, I think Covington might be on his bike a little bit throughout the second round, not try to be a stationary target, because that's when Usman will be able to shoot those really powerful takedowns on him. It's just, if I'm Covington, I think he's going to need leg kicks early. I think he's going to have to be on the back foot, which is weird against a guy like Usman. But I think this will be a really interesting fight. Just when they fought the first time, I don't know if it was just the fact that Covington had the interim title, but it felt like, okay, Covington and Usman are definitely the two best welterweights in the division right now. I don't feel that way with Covington right now. I feel like there's other guys who are on his level. I don't think a fight with Covington is a more dangerous fight than a fight with Gilbert Burns. I don't think a fight with Covington is a more dangerous fight than a fight with even like Vicente Luque at the top of this division for a guy like Usman, because Covington stylistically just does a lot of the same stuff Usman does.
I think in the wrestling department, Covington might have a little bit of an edge. It's similar to the
Usman
fight with
100% takedown defense.
Yeah, and again, I love the stat. He's never been on his back.
Covington got taken down by Rafael dos Anjos multiple times.
No, I know. Hear me out. The funny stat is, well, Usman's never been on his back. There was like a reverse Kimura attempt by Dos Anjos, and there was 2 seconds where he was on his back. But again, when you look at this fight, I think the guy that's more apt to wrestle definitely is Covington out of these two, because you don't see Usman, when he takes on a guy like this, tend to wrestle all that much.
The first Masvidal fight, that's all he did. Like, Usman's unique. I think we are kind of getting caught up in this newer version of Usman. Usman only wrestled for the longest time. Like, only wrestled and only wrestled for the longest time. Like, I think we're sort of talking ourselves into this new striking version of Usman, and it is really exciting, but let's not forget how he rose through the ranks, how he got to become that top tier fighter. He wrestled everybody and used his cardio on everyone. So I think we are going to see that version again. I sort of played my hand right now, but we've seen Covington get out wrestled in MMA fights before. Yes, he was able to get a lot of offensive takedowns on RDA, but why don't people remember that fight for being as close as it really was? Because RDA gets some takedowns on Covington too, and he's able to hold him down. And I understand, like, Rafael dos Anjos is a really good grappler, one of those underrated fighters of all time. It's just, if he's able to take you down and control you, I saw what Usman did to RDA. That was a crime in pretty much every country. Like, that was one of the most one-sided main events you'll ever see. RDA had 0 success in the grappling against Usman, whereas he had a lot against Covington. I think if Usman decides to wrestle, he'll be able to take him down.
Isaiah hit it hot and heavy on Marlon and Rose. Out of B. Nice. Isaiah. Matt, big time fight. I mean, we look at this for Kamaru Usman making the walk. He's got his camp and his corner. His brother Muhammad, not incredibly successful with the PFL.
He's not the same as Kamaru.
Got hit by the Fight Night Picks interview curse, but JHK's over with All Star now, so it's all right. You can feel safe. You want to do an interview? Let's do an interview. But Matt, yeah, I mean, looking at this fight, you talk about it for Kamaru Usman. I mean, some of the best defensive wrestling that we've seen in MMA in general. Like, forget about all the different leagues. I'm sure, you know, EFC's got good wrestlers. I'm sure I know KSW has good wrestlers. And listen, I mean, Bombardier almost looked like he was trying to wrestle.
Diego, I have to address this. Okay, you say Covington is on a different level. Dos Anjos is a lightweight. Dos Anjos fought both of these guys and did, like, pretty well against Covington and had no success at all against Usman. Now, he still lost the Covington fight, but he did do really well when he pressured Covington. The real key to that fight was whoever was moving forward was having success. Covington, when he moves forward, is basically impossible to beat. He throws so many punches at you that you really can't defend his takedowns because you're so focused on the flurries coming to your head. Usman's not going to have that kind of respect for his wrestling, though, and that's why it's going to be hard for Covington to open up the rest of his game. You say Dos Anjos is a lightweight. That means what he did against Covington was that much more impressive with his own takedowns.
Remember what he did to Robbie Lawler?
He looked really good against Robbie Lawler. Now, again, Covington also looked great against Robbie Lawler. And that's another performance that's in the back of my head because that was classic Colby Covington. Like, you want to look really good in a fight? Throw 1,000 punches at a guy so that every time he brings his hands up, you go for a takedown. And every time he defends your takedown, throw strikes at your head. Like, that showed that Colby Covington really does have sort of the next level fight IQ that you look for in a championship level fighter.
Jake O'Shea, I'm not going to answer with a favorite fighter, but what I will give you is my favorite fight that was announced recently that's going to come up. And it's one of those ones, like, I was so pumped for last weekend. Demiraz Magulov, Magomed Mustafayev.
Such a hipster.
But you want to talk about a fight I'm looking forward to. Muslim Salikov is going to fight Michelle Pereira. That's one that I get up for in the morning.
I'll give you a similar answer. I'm really excited for Jose Aldo Rob Font. I feel like that's a main event that's really gone under the radar as of late. I know Aldo's had sort of a weird run, if we're being honest, 135 pounds, but he hasn't had a boring fight down there yet. And Rob Font's a guy who personally I didn't really believe in. I thought he was a really fun fighter on the outside of the top 10. He could beat guys in that 15 to 10 range, but I thought he'd have a really hard time breaking through. But he has demonstrated, like, just sort of, he's really shown off that he's broken through and he's made the next step to become a real legit contender. I think that fight has, like, fight of the year written all over it.
Townsend Hamilton saying Holloway versus Rodriguez. That's coming up next weekend in the main event. Next weekend's card's weird too, because there's a few fights that have fallen off that are big, and then we're kind of back to the card where, name value, it's not quite there, but a lot of good up-and-comers, a lot of unranked fighters, but something that we can really look forward to.
Like, I'm not saying they should do this, but this is how high I have, like, this is the category I put Max Holloway in. If they charged, like, $15 for a Max Holloway Fight Night main event, I wouldn't blame the UFC. Like, I'd be mad. I'd get on Twitter. I'd be like, hey, Dana White, you're taking all my money. Would I still pay for it, though? Yeah, like, Max Holloway, to me, pound for pound, is the most exciting fighter in the UFC. I don't have favorite fighters. I don't cheer for anybody. I just really like the sport. But if you want to talk about just an aesthetically pleasing style to watch, Max Holloway is that guy. Not afraid to eat a shot. Has cardio that never runs out. Has perfect striking. Like, Max Holloway is as fun of a fighter as you can possibly get. And on the flip side of that main event, Yair Rodriguez might be the most dynamic kicker we've ever seen in the UFC. Are they all that effective all the time? No, maybe this is a lot of spinning techniques similar to Sabit. But we know what the best version of Yair Rodriguez is. It is dominant taekwondo with crazy spinning techniques and oddly pretty underrated boxing. So I don't know about you. I've asked my friends. They all think Max Holloway is going to destroy Yair Rodriguez. I won't give out the pick or anything, but I think it's a pretty competitive fight.
The mask, I think Luque kind of screwed up a little bit, missing weight there. Even as a backup, even though it didn't matter that much, I don't think that's necessarily a good look.
I agree.
I think Hamzat's got next. Like, I think
he gets the title shot.
I think he gets a fight against Luque or like the Masvidal Edwards fight. Like, there's somewhere in there.
Diaz.
I think Hamzat's right up there. Like, his next win could be a title shot. Like, really, it could. So I know that might sound crazy, but Matt, we'll move it on over. We're getting set for our main event of the evening. I want to thank everybody so far that's tuned in. You toss a like; it definitely goes a long way. You saw the support out there this week for the show, but Matt. Tandan Miragliotta, the referee.
Tandan, he's the man.
Nope.
What was that organization? Do you remember that when the announcer is like, we got Tandan, we got Tandan, he's the man. He's like doing it like an auctioneer.
No.
Look at that clip, guys. It's pretty funny.
No. He did a lot of car commercials at one
point.
Well,
no, he was doing some like regional show being the referee, and there was some announcer trying to make it all about himself, so he just did like an auctioneer voice the whole time. It was kind of funny.
Matt Kamaru Usman, your champion, taking on Colby Covington. Your challenger for the welterweight strap. This is a rematch between their last fight to today. Covington with a big finish win over Tyron Woodley, formerly of Triller. And then you have Kamaru Usman, big wins over his buddy, Gilbert Burns. And then his last time out, Jorge Masvidal, he cold-cocked him.
He did. Now, this feels like the longest fight night of all time. I don't know if it's just because the main event's getting started at 2 a.m. our time, but you ever been to a really good birthday party? And
we're going to go backwards here in a couple minutes.
You ever gone to a really good birthday party and been like, they still haven't opened the presents yet? That's kind of how I feel right now. It's been a very long card.
Usually they're about 3 hours, though, and we're right there.
I guess we are. Just, goodness, 2 a.m.
Well, when you have 2 fight of the years, it's
that's true.
Now
there have been a lot of decisions. This is going to be a great fight, though, because, again, you bring up fight of the years. This was arguably fight of the year in 2019. 2020 gave us a lot of great fights, of course, but this is weird. The year's winding down. We didn't really have a clear number one favorite for fight of the year up until this event. I feel like Gaethje Chandler has finally stolen it.
Volkanovski Ortega?
Okay, good point. Up until Volkanovski Ortega, good point. I didn't think that there was a clear-cut winner. So really, yeah, I feel like it comes down to Volkanovski Ortega or the opener for the pay-per-view.
It should be a great one, Matt. Colby Covington, new ink on his shoulder, maybe?
He does. American flag.
Diego saying I'm yawning. Don't know how you guys do it. It's 1:59 a.m. local, and now it's 1 a.m. local.
I'm not going to disclose how much caffeine I've had today, but the numbers off the charts.
Yeah, time just went back an hour, so you love to see that. Thanks to daylight savings time.
Thank you.
All right, we have Usman, we have Covington. I'm rejuvenated. I went back an hour. Here we go. Woo. 19-1 for Kamaru Usman. And you look at the losses for these guys. Who was it for Usman? Haider Hassan? Was that the loss?
No, I think he lost some guy in like the regional scene. Vicente Luque lost to Haider Hassan.
I mean, you got Colby Covington who's lost to Warley Alves.
I don't remember who Usman's losses to.
Ooh, Covington. Not looking at him. Ugh.
I wouldn't either.
Covington with a first-round loss, UFC 194 to Warley Alves, and then to Kamaru Usman. And for Usman, the loss was to Jose Caceres back in 2013.
Forgive me for not remembering that, Craig.
Jose Caceres will get the time set and ready for our main event, the rematch between Covington and Usman.
What a fight.
Will it be everything we wish for and more?
I hope so. Every other card we've hyped up has been, or every other fight we've hyped up has been really good. So I don't know why this wouldn't deliver.
Performance of the night bonus, I would say Chris Barnett.
Yep, good call.
And Alex Pereira probably gets one.
Yeah, no.
And then fight of the night is, there's got to be two of them.
Yeah.
First two on this main card. Here we go.
Here
Start.
you go. I agree.
For the welterweight title, Austin Laxon had a great time.
Body
This card
kick.
of the year. Prelims were insane. 10 seconds into it, Covington in southpaw. Kamaru Usman in the orthodox stance.
And the thing I do worry about Usman every time he fights is that when he does commit to his power shots, he leaves his chin wide open. I know that sounds like a really big criticism, and to a certain point it is. It's just no one's been able to capitalize on that yet. And I feel like it's because people are so cognizant of the fact that he is such a dominant wrestler that it is so hard to let your own hands go against him.
Usman faking the takedown there. You see him with the little feints, grabbing the lead leg of Covington, landing a couple good shots of his own. Covington really playing on the defensive here.
He really is, which is interesting to see. Normally he's the one who likes to move forward a lot.
Covington with a nice high kick, changing things up.
A lot of kicks out of Covington early. Very interesting to see.
Minute into this fight, Covington switches stances, working from orthodox.
And he's definitely the more likely of the two switch stances. Something he does in this game quite a bit. Whereas
Woo!
big wings from Covington. Whereas Usman primarily does stay in that orthodox position.
Usman dropping the level and going to the body. You love to see the body work from these guys and feinting that takedown again.
Covington doesn't seem bothered, though, by at least the wrestling threat of Usman. But Usman reversed Covington in one of the nicer sprawls you'll ever see.
Man, Covington wrestling early in this one. That's what I said. This is the most interesting of this rematch because what are you going to do? You guys slug it out on the feet for about 5 rounds. Now Covington goes for almost, it looked like a telegraph takedown attempt.
Craig, he's built different.
And a great job from Kamaru Usman to defend it, and a great job to move away from that leg kick.
And I like that he's getting the pressure right back on him. He's not letting Covington settle after that one big action. You can't let Covington go for a takedown, then settle back into the fight. You really got to pressure him a lot.
Big wing on an uppercut there from Covington.
And it's weird to see Covington go for so many power strikes. Normally he's much more volume over power.
Another takedown feint there from Usman. He's got Covington backed up behind the black line. And again, you don't see a lot of fighters have success back there.
No, you have to be like the top level of striker to really be able to strike on your back foot and be able to move forward. Nice left hand, though, by Covington.
Usman looking to land here. He's switching his stance. Now back over to orthodox. Both guys fighting from the orthodox stance here now. Halfway through our first round.
So I would say throughout the wrestling exchanges so far, Usman has shown that he can at least defend the takedowns of Covington.
Usman feinting. Doing a neat job of stepping in too here. Really showing a lot of different looks. We saw that earlier. Dustin Jacoby doing a good job throwing those feints out there. I compared it to TJ Dillashaw. He's a guy that does it all the time. But Jacoby always with the feints. Usman doing a good job on the defensive here with the striking.
And being very steady on the back foot too. It's not like Usman really panics when he does have to move backwards. He can stay very calm in the pocket now, which is nice to see throughout his progression.
Covington doing a decent job in that exchange right there, landing a couple shots. Less than 2 minutes remaining in our first round.
Covington more than happy to move backwards, though. Not something we saw in their first fight at all.
Ooh, and Usman goes for the double leg, and he gets it. Is there a guillotine from Covington? He does not have it. He gives his back. Usman trying to land off the shoulder. Covington did a great job of getting back up. Wasted some energy with kick and a lot of shots.
Usman not really looking for any control time on the mat. Really just trying to open up with ground and pound early. Good left hook by Usman on that catch of the kick.
Kamaru Usman, 20 wins is what he's looking for after tonight.
Like, I couldn't imagine. I've played with some good athletes in, like, sports. I couldn't imagine what it feels like when Usman, like, tries to take you down. There's nothing you can do about it.
Nah.
And the cardio, too, for a guy that powerful.
Closing in on a minute remaining here in our first round. It's been a little bit of back and forth here so far. Both guys have gone for takedowns. One guy's done better than the other, but big time fight here.
And this is always when I get a little nervous. On these types of exchanges, this is when Usman can get a little wild and try to open up maybe a little bit too much. But that was a nice uppercut on the back foot.
Covington doing a good job of the volume, but there's a nice left hand that lands for Usman from distance. Kept his head back a little bit on it, too.
That would have been a nice strike if it did land clean.
Good job by Colby. In these close positions, he's looking to try and land here.
Usman likes to go for that uppercut to the body a lot. It's not really a technique we see very much in MMA, but it's something he does to great effect. We saw that a lot in their first fight, too.
30 seconds remaining in the round. Covington looking to end this one on a very high note.
Covington's missed a lot, which isn't really something we normally see. Normally he's a fairly accurate striker because he is able to go downhill and throw in combination.
Good couple of shots there from Covington. About 10 seconds remaining in this round.
Looks to be a cut on the face of Covington, maybe?
7 seconds.
I can't really see. It might be on the right side of his face. Hard to tell.
All right, we get the end of our first round between these two guys. That was a really close round. I mean, Usman able to get a quick takedown. Yeah, cut on Covington there.
I think
right cheekbone. I've got a 10-9 for Usman. Like to hear from everybody over there in the comments section who you've got so far. But let's have a look. I mean, total strike numbers, 15-12 for Usman. I mean, the takedowns, neither one was able to do a whole lot. I'd say Usman did a good job reversing position, bucking him on his. But, yeah.
That's what I mean with Kamaru Usman and his grappling. Most people, when they defend a takedown, it's either, okay, I'm all in trying to force your head down, taking underhooks, or trying to do that sort of momentum sweep. Usman did all three of those things at the exact same time. Felt the pressure of Covington, understood that Covington had a good shot on him, so then just let that motion continue. That's not something most guys can do in MMA. Like, that's very high-level wrestling to see.
Big time one there. And Matt, I mean, over in the comments section, we've got who's next for Usman if he gets the win, I'm assuming?
It's just so hard to tell at this stage of his career because he has been so successful. And
I'd say the winner of, it sucks, Masvidal, Edwards, maybe?
Luque needs a look at some point. I know he didn't make weight. I know he's managed by the same guy who manages Usman and Burns. And I'm sure there might have been something weird with that. I'll just leave that. I won't even bother getting into it. But I think Luque deserves it. I really do.
Usman really feigning in. He's got Covington behind the block lines again, Matt. 15 seconds in. Head kick from Colby. Gets starched.
But the thing about Colby is he throws the head kick and immediately eats some big shots because of it.
Covington lands a good shot of his own. Usman doing a good job here. 30 seconds into the round. Both guys have landed good shots so far.
Colby's really reacting a lot every single time Usman even feints a shot. I'm really surprised to see that.
Covington kind of crashes forward, lands a kick.
Not a lot of volume from Covington, though, which is very strange because that's really the hallmark of any Colby-Covington fight is, hey, I'm going to put a pace on you that you just can't keep up with.
Makes Usman miss and a little bit of a smile from the challenger here.
Both guys have missed quite a bit in this fight. Like, I think Usman's probably winning up until this point. Like, of the 6 minutes contested, he's been in control of the majority of them. But I wouldn't even say he's been able to land any massive shots in the feet yet.
Michigoni and I had him as the favorite at the start of the night. I was happy to have him as an underdog tonight. 3 minutes, 45 seconds remaining in our second round. It's been a tight one here. First round was close, too. Usman's still pushing a pace here, and it always looks better for a guy to be pushing than it does to be the pushed.
Covington just really, he's trying to set up that left hand a lot, and that's a good power shot for him. But if you haven't been a power shot through an interim title and up to a title shot, why become one now?
Covington going for the takedown attempt, but I mean, it's Usman grabbing the underhooks. He's able to get away from it. Big time shot there from Covington.
It's just wild to see how relaxed Usman looks on the feet compared to the fighter who fought Emil Mack all those years ago who, like, had real trouble with him in the striking realm. See, there was that uppercut to the body. When Usman ducks to defend the takedown, he's able to land a really nice uppercut up the middle.
Covington on the back foot looking to land the body kick. Not something that you see all that often, nor is it something you see land all that often.
And the thing is, Usman's not the best striker moving forward. He's a really good counter striker, and we saw that against Masvidal. Like, the right straight was set up because Masvidal tried to counter him with a left check hook. He needs his opponent sort of be stagnant to really accentuate his punching power. So as long as Covington's on his back foot, it's going to be really hard for Usman to land that one big damaging strike.
Covington really trying hard to land some of these leg kicks. Not a lot of them hitting. Usman with a good shot to the body there with the kick.
Kick out of Usman, but you can just tell there's not really something that comes natural to Usman. Like, he can throw kicks, but for a championship level fighter, Usman's not really a big kicker.
Usman continuing to pressure forward. Covington trying his best here.
Real nice accurate jab from Usman too. When he does stick behind it and really dedicate himself to the volume of the jab, he can be a very successful fighter that way.
Was there a clash of heads in that exchange? That was a weird one.
There might have been, but I think Covington landed a decent right hand over the top too.
2 minutes remaining in our second round. Covington really going deep for this takedown attempt. I don't know if he's going to be able to get it though.
It's going to be difficult to complete this one. Usman's just so technical with his wrestling.
Looked like a little bit of, like we said, maybe there was a clash of heads. I'd have to go back and watch that one again, but less than 2 minutes remaining in the round. Covington trying hard for this takedown attempt, and again, not really able to get it. The shoulder strikes from Usman. He's able to find a home for them.
But yeah, Jake, that is the point. Like, Usman's reaction time is insane when it comes to his ability to defend takedowns. It's all those variables that we brought up about him trying to defend a takedown, he's able to process all that in half a second because he's just done it so many times.
Nice kick up the middle there from Usman.
Do you think those body shots are starting to hurt Covington?
I think they are. He's doing a really good job with them. Covington's hands popping down a little low, then back up. He's feeling his face for the blood.
Yeah, he's starting to really take account of all the damage now. Hands are starting to come up a bit, though.
Minute remaining in the round. These guys now, Usman swinging these power shots.
Good right hook by Usman. Usman caught him with a good one there.
Oh, he hit him again with a right hand.
You don't love the body language from Covington. Just sort of, oh, that was a good strike by him, though. He's starting to respond now. A lot of inactivity from him, though. I didn't really like that.
Covington winging these shots here.
Usman's just been the much more accurate guy. Listen, he hasn't even been the most accurate guy himself, but Covington's had a really hard time just finding his range and landing on target.
Coming into 30 seconds remaining in our second round. Oh, they both catch each other. Oh, he drops him!
Usman hurts him bad. Covington might have hurt Usman.
Oh, he dropped him again!
He hits him twice hard. 23 seconds left in the round. Can Usman finish the fight?
Covington holding on for dear life. He's wrestling. Wow. This is the life of a wrestler.
Covington might have hurt Usman, and Usman immediately turns it around and hurts Covington.
Can Usman land some... Oh, he lands a shot. That's a bad one.
These are weird strikes, but...
5 seconds remaining. We're going to see the end of this round.
He's got to survive to the end, but oh my goodness, this fight has changed a lot.
Let us know down below in the comments section how you have it now. I mean, that's a 20-18. If I've ever seen a couple of rounds for your champion... Covington is in a bad way.
Yeah, he can't get his own wrestling game going. He's just getting out-muscled in a lot of these exchanges. I know that's a weird thing to say in MMA because it does come down to technique a lot, but he's getting to his spots. It's just, like Chael Sonnen says, it's a two-guy sport, and sometimes the other guy's just been better.
30 extra shots so far for Usman. He's got 2 knockdowns on the UFC's website. So, yeah, I mean, Austin saying 20-18 Usman. Colby just isn't on Usman's level. I mean, but he was in the first fight. That's a crazy thing.
Which is wild. Oh, and he hurts him again. That second knockdown could have been it. He did a good job getting his head out of trouble after that, going for the takedowns, but it seemed to be the beginning of the end for Colby Covington.
So to give you an idea, 74% of the fans at Fight Night Picks had Usman to win. That's 471 total votes to 169 for Covington. As we get set for our third and final round.
If you're Usman, though, you cannot get carried away in this round. You've got to keep on doing what you've been doing. Stay dedicated behind the jab and set up your power shots.
All right, we get set for our third and final round. Tandan grabbing something from the floor. Sending these guys back, but that didn't mean anything. Wow. Here we go. Third and final round. Usman had him rocked at the end of that third.
Yeah. What a big moment for Usman in that second round. Has Covington hurt on multiple occasions. So this is when it's going to be really interesting. Does Covington respond now and just try to come out guns blazing, finishing the fight now? Or will Usman sort of let him get back into it?
All right, we're 20 seconds in. Usman's still stalking him. He's got him behind that black line, and you know... There's very few counter-strikers that have much success when they're back behind there.
But this is the thing that might have gone missed. I think Covington might have stunned Usman early on in that exchange. And that might be an opening that we'll see rear its ugly head again.
Good opportunity here for both guys. But, I mean, it's been pretty well all Usman so far in this fight. You're right, though. In that exchange, it looked like Covington was the one that landed the good shot. And then all of a sudden, he bounces his face off the mat.
This has been a wild fight so far. What an absolutely crazy event this has been.
Minute into our third round of 5, and the last time... Whoa!
Good
big time left
by
hand.
Covington. He needs more of that.
Big left lands for Covington through the defenses of Usman, who left himself out there.
But Usman's open to being hit exactly.
Big time opportunity. Covington getting himself back in. Usman fates a takedown.
Usman's got a real nice educated left hand. He's landed the hook. He's landed the jab with it. It's been a real nice weapon for him.
Covington again, trying to land that shovel uppercut. No home.
Having a lot of success, though, for a guy that I thought was knocked out about a minute and a half ago.
The cobwebs were cleared fairly early.
They certainly were. Usman, though, really getting after it with the jab.
Feinting the takedown is Covington. 3 minutes, 20 seconds remaining.
Covington's had good success in this southpaw position.
Usman really overextends himself on a right hand.
And that's what he can't do. He's got to set up the right hand. Because sometimes the worst thing for a fighter can be land a technique early and really fall in love with it for the rest of the fight, because that's when your opponent can really start to make their own reads.
Good body kick there from Covington. Less than 3 minutes remain in our third round.
Interesting fight so far.
Usman going in there.
See, those are the type of setups, though. Land the right hand. Use your feet to get in range, then try to land that right hand.
Nice attempt at a body kick there from Covington. Looked like it might have gotten through.
Usman is making Covington pay, though, every time he's trying to throw his kicks, because he's not catching it, but he's deflecting it. That was a nice straight hand by Covington.
Good left hand lands for Covington.
Usman doesn't like being pressured whatsoever.
Wrestling attempt there from Covington, and it is defended, and a couple of nice shots. Making him pay is Usman. Now, some of those are definitely, I mean, they've been able to be defended, especially with the arms there for Covington, but, ooh, and he pays again.
But Covington's had a few more moments in this round. He's starting to pick up on a couple of the movements of Usman. He's been able to land his own good shots.
This has been a much closer round. 2 minutes remain in our third round.
Certainly has been. And again, after a guy gets hurt like that, you do not expect him to come back with this kind of a round.
Usman pressuring here. That's going to be key in this round. It's been a close one so far.
Whoever's moving forward has been winning.
Minute 45 remains. Good job by Covington on that entry. Usman making him pay. Making him pay some more.
He is, but
Covington really slowing down on some of these shots. Body kick there from Usman.
It was a good body kick, but Usman, again, when he throws his kicks, his hands come down. When he throws his punches, his hands do come down a little bit.
Covington's landed a couple of good shots. A little bit of a misstep there from Covington.
I was going to say, I don't know if that shot hurt him or not, if that was just a weird step, but really impressed by Covington in this round, though.
Oh, 100%.
But when he pressures Usman, he's able to have success. Usman does not like moving backwards at all.
Minute remaining in our third round of 5. Both guys miss big. Covington doing a great job. Nice right hand there from Usman.
Usman can't play the pullback game, though, trying to land straight shots. He's a good striker, but he's not a great striker yet. And that's how you get...
Conor McGregor on the pullback?
Yeah, that's when you get caught with a big strike. Like, Conor can do the pullback left, but so can Dustin Poirier, and that's why that makes that fight really hard for Conor. Kamaru's making the striking exchanges closer than they have to be because of the way he's trying to counter these strikes.
Body shot there from Usman. Looked like it glanced. Less than 30 seconds remain. 2 good shots from Colby. Another one from Colby.
Covington landed some good shots on Usman. Again, Usman does not move backwards well at all. Leaves his hands down.
Wrestling attempt from Covington late when he was having success with a striking.
But still, this is good. Just mix it up on Usman. Don't let him get comfortable on the feet. Like, this was as good of a round Covington possibly could have had.
Less than 5 seconds remain here. Good end of the round for Covington.
After getting dropped and dominated, Covington won that third round.
Colby Covington making it interesting. Came back in the third. Yeah, I've got a 29-28 for Usman so far.
I would agree. That was a very interesting round, though. When Covington pushed Usman back, he made him very uncomfortable.
Let us know over in the comments section who you have so far. Because, I mean, hey, we got ourselves a fight here.
We certainly do. It looked like it was going to be all Usman until those last 5 minutes, and Covington was able to completely flip the script. Wow.
Austin saying Colby stole the round, 29-28. Joe Fuller's having a good job hanging out over there in the comments section. But Joe, let us know how you're scoring this one so far.
And this is the thing with Usman. Again, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I did say it. You can't fall in love with a power shot after you land it. You still have to set it up, and that's what we saw from Usman. He was trying to lead in with those big, powerful hooks in the overhand. You can't do that against a guy like Covington. I know Covington's not a primary striker himself, but he puts together enough shots to where if you're not paying attention and you zig when you should zag, he's going to be able to catch you looking the wrong way and be able to hurt you with one of those shots. So if Usman does get back to the jab and really start to use that to set up his right hand, I think he'll start to have more success. But I think Covington's figured out a game plan that's been working at least.
And I mean, he's got an opportunity with 2 rounds remaining to really capitalize. You never know. Colby Covington's right back into this fight here with a strong third round and a very strong end to it as well. So great opportunity here for Covington to get right back into this one where you look at the second round, he was rocked, he was dropped. Not once, but he got dropped twice.
Yeah, it looked to be dire straits for Colby Covington, but he's shown an incredible ability to recover, though, throughout this fight. Really throughout his UFC career.
Corey's got a 29-28. Usman is my guess. 30 seconds into this one, you've got Covington pawing the jab out there.
He needs more volume, because even when he was having a low strike rate, he was having some success. So you think if he can just start to uptick his volume, he'll have even more.
Ooh, nice shovel punches from both these guys. Covington landing.
When Covington's moving forward, being chaotic, I'm not trying to use his nickname, he will have a lot of success in this fight.
Minute into our 4th round here. Again, both guys success.
Very close fight, though, all of a sudden. It went from being all Usman to right down the middle.
Don giving you the clap back. You had to beat the champ. But, I mean, in this fight...
No, you don't.
It's been close, Matt.
Tell Robbie Lawler that when he beat Johnny Hendricks in their second fight. A really close fight. Split decision.
Minute 15. Nice kick there from Usman, blocked by Covington.
Just a back and forth fight so far. Both guys are showing just how well-rounded they are. Like, the striking has been very high level from two guys known for their wrestling. Nice straight by Covington down the middle, though. He gets from A to B some fast.
3 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this 4th round. And I mean, yeah, it's anybody's fight to this point, which is crazy to think of.
Especially after that second round and how bad it was going for Covington. He's really been able to work himself into a pretty good groove, especially throughout the 3rd and the opening minute of the 4th round. Good uppercuts, though, by Covington. If Covington had any power, he'd be one of the better fighters in UFC history.
These guys are absolutely standing and trading.
But Covington's landed some really nice shots throughout these last 2 rounds. He's really starting to build his confidence.
Are you surprised that we haven't seen any offensive wrestling out of the champion here?
A little bit. We saw that one takedown attempt in the first round, and he was able to get it, but hopefully he hasn't fallen in love with his hands too much.
Nice left hands here from Usman. He's backing up the challenger. Nice body shot.
Whoever's moving forward is winning this fight. It is as simple as that. Good combo by Covington.
Oh, big time right hand lands for Covington.
That right hand landed clean for Usman, though, and turned Covington into a wrestler quick, but both guys have landed some clean shots.
Big time opportunity here for both of these guys. This stuff's getting close. We're in our 4th round here, and they've each had success.
It's been a very back and forth fight. Just shows how close these guys are in terms of where they fit in this overall picture of the welterweight division.
2 minutes remaining in our 4th round. Whew. If somebody pulls away at this point, it's going to make it really interesting. If Colby wins, you'd have to think we're tied 2-2 into the 5th round.
Colby's really been able to land clean, especially throughout these last 10 minutes. Usman needs to do something to get momentum back in his favor. This is like the middle rounds when Joshua was landing the body shot on Usyk. Now this is Usyk's chance to come back. This is Usman's chance to do something very big.
Big left hands landing for Usman there.
He's almost stepping too far into range to let his right hand go, because by the time he's trying to throw it, him and Covington are almost meeting at the shoulders.
Minute 30 remaining. This is as close around you're going to find.
Oh, exactly. A lot of 50-50 exchanges.
Ooh, nice body kick from Covington.
He might have Usman hurt.
That got his attention. These
Usman's
guys
gonna
are
stop putting his head down and just winging power shots around the guard. That's not an effective way to strike.
Covington really coming back in this fight.
Been an absolute brawl.
Coming into a minute remaining in our 4th round.
What a title fight this has been.
Ooh, good nice left hand lands for Covington.
Usman's got to try to get back into this fight somehow. He doesn't have a lot of momentum right now.
Both guys slipping and sliding at this point.
Just a lot of sweat and blood in that cage, I'd assume.
Usman on his back foot, and you talk about fighters behind the black line. He finds himself there. Covington going for a deep takedown. No dice.
But it's closing the distance, exactly. And these are minutes that at least he's not losing in his mind. So I think this is good work by Covington.
100%. Really pushing a pace. He ended the 3rd round in this position. Shoulder strike from Usman.
That's a great point, though, Walker. Usman is kind of looking flat. It's almost like he had that big adrenaline dump after almost finishing Covington in the 2nd round. I think he thought, oh, the second I land any power throughout the rest of this fight, it's probably going to be over. But that has not been the case.
These guys are going to stand and trade in the last 10 seconds.
Yeah, 10 seconds left. I would say Covington's tied this up at 2 rounds apiece.
Unless we get anything crazy here.
Exactly. Still 3 seconds. Big shot by Covington. Usman might be hurt.
He smiled.
Yeah, but he's wobbled as he walks back to his corner.
All right, that's the end of our 4th round. 2-2. Big time 5th round coming up, and we had that in our co-main event too. Another close fight.
Colby Covington is 5 minutes away from potentially being champion. I didn't think that was something we were going to see tonight. I really did not.
Just like that first fight, we had a close one. The second one's close too.
And we've seen that at any moment, both these guys can land some crazy action. Like, Covington seemed to have hurt Usman there at the end of the round, but yeah, that was a clean left hand that he hit him with. That
Really
made a
good
misstep,
job there.
yeah. That was a clean shot by Covington.
Keep it cool saying this has got to be 3-1, but for who?
I think it's fairly clear 2-2. I really do. I think it's round 1 and 2 Usman, round 3 and 4 Covington. So.
Trevor Whitman hooping and hollering.
Nothing better than a title fight tied 2-2 in the 5th round, though.
All right, we got a big time 5th round coming up. Colby Covington losing the first 2, coming back, winning rounds 3 and 4. Jay Money saying 3-1, Usman easy.
Been a phenomenal fight.
3rd round was close. All right, here we go. We get set. 5th and final round. I mean, to me, somebody's got to pull away. We're going to see what happens, but Covington has all of the momentum.
Yeah, he really does. He's been able to tee off on Usman the last 5 minutes at least. It's been really, really impressive to see. Just him come back after looking so bad in the 2nd round.
Lands another left hand as Covington.
Yeah, Usman doesn't like being pressured backwards.
Usman pumping that jab out there, really trying to establish distance for himself.
He needs more of that, though. Work behind the jab. Set up your right hand. You can't just throw the right hand expecting crazy results. You're not Steph Curry at the 3-point line.
Continues to pump that jab out there. Nice body shot there from Usman. Covington's hands come down momentarily, but they're right back up. And I'm surprised, again, Usman hasn't wrestled, but something that was working pretty good for Covington, although he lost the first 2 rounds, he's gotten away from those leg kicks.
I think he's dedicated to that overhand left shot, really his boxing combinations.
Left hands land for Usman.
Yeah, but I think there was a right hook that might have snuck in there too for Covington. Both these guys have landed big power shots.
Another body shot for Usman.
Usman really does overextend himself a lot.
Usman doing a good job in this 5th round. Ooh, yep. Big couple of shots for Covington.
When Covington's throwing his punches, he cannot miss on Usman.
Oh, he lands another 2.
Usman might be hurt.
Takedown attempt from Covington. No dice.
This is what I don't get. If I'm Covington, stop wrestling. You have had 0 success in your wrestling up until this point, but on the feet, you've done very well.
Usman able to just sprawl those hips out there. 100% takedown defense on all 10 attempts. And for Usman, just got to hang on.
And this is Colby Covington trying to take him down 10 times. This isn't just like some fighter going for a bunch of panic takedowns.
3 minutes, 15 seconds remaining in our 5th round. It's anybody's game here.
Good jab by Usman as Covington tries to load up on that big uppercut. But I gotta be honest, I kind of like the big actions out of Covington. I normally don't say that, but he's been able to land.
Usman's starting to land in these exchanges now. He's having more success.
Both guys, when they do land, it's on the chin of their opponent.
Covington is red at this point, and he had his face slammed to the mat there when he went for that takedown attack.
Usman did a good job responding so far in this 5th round, but still 3 minutes left. It's anyone's fight.
Total significant strikes. They show him. Ooh, big time left hand lands for Covington.
Covington's having a lot of success in the boxing in this fight.
2:40 remaining in our 5th round.
Some back and forth action for sure. When Usman has volume, though, he is basically impossible to beat. When he becomes that sloppy single shot power striker, that's when he has trouble.
Ooh, good head movement there from Covington.
Really made him miss big on that.
Couple of nice shots. They might have gotten through the guard for Usman. Trying to work that body. He's got a good right hand when he's landing.
Been an interesting 5th round right now in a fight that could be anybody's.
And Covington not with as much volume in this round.
It's been weird. It's almost like Covington's had the better power shots in the 5th round, but Usman's had the better cardio, even though I would say throughout the fight it's been the complete opposite.
Bit of a trip there from Usman as Covington goes for the head kick, and now Covington in on a takedown attempt. Be interesting to see if he ends up getting this one. This is his 11th try.
It's just, if you're 0 for 10 and you've had success in the striking, I don't know why you continue to go for them.
Minute 45 remaining in our 5th and final round. But this is a close one.
Exactly, and this might be good work from Covington. Like, if he can just keep this up for another minute and a half, maybe he'll be able to win the round.
Closing in on a minute and a half remaining.
An interesting fight. The judges have had a tough time on this main card.
Don saying great night of fights. You're 100% right on this one.
Has it ever been?
Closing in, another 10 seconds waste away here.
Covington really wearing it, though, in this 5th round.
Usman with a nice body shot and looked like a nice right hand there from Covington.
It's wild that we've had 2 wrestlers just kickbox for 10 rounds between these two.
We're going to see who goes about it here in this final minute.
Anybody's fight. Again, a big action in this last minute could really win the fight for either guy.
Big winging punches from Covington.
Just a thudding jab, though, from Usman every time it lands.
55 seconds remaining here in the 3rd round.
a very difficult fight to score.
Nice right hand lands for Usman.
Yeah, that one might have got through. Covington been on his back foot a lot, which is weird to see after he's had so much success moving forward the last 2 rounds.
Hands are starting to go low for Covington.
Trying to land a big power shot, but...
Oh, and we've got an eye poke.
An eye poke with 30 seconds left.
You hate to see it. Ugh.
Come on.
We've got an eye poke at roughly 29 seconds.
Colby Covington, come on.
Now, do we expect these guys to ride it out, or are they going to ride it out into the sunset and just go for it?
I don't really know. Probably just go for it. That's what they've done for the rest of this fight. I doubt they do anything different. We've had 10 rounds of them going for it, so I think we'll get more of the same. Usman, though, I think has won this round up until this point, though. So unless Colby can do something wild in the last 30 seconds, I think Usman's going to win.
Oh, we're going to bring a doctor in to have a look at the eye.
If they take a point, that's going to completely change this.
And keep it cool makes a good point. If they stop now, they go to the scorecard, right? Yeah, they go to a technical decision. So you score the 3rd round as it's happened up until the eye poke. 5th round.
Yeah. If I'm Covington, I do everything I can to try to make them take a point right now. I put this in the judges' hands, similar to Michael Jordan with the push-off in the Utah Jazz game. Put it in their hands.
Covington says he's good, but man, that eye doesn't look great.
He's taking a lot of damage. I still think he's landed the harder shots, though, oddly enough.
All right, we get set.
I guess he get dropped, but...
I'm going to hit play. All right, there we go. We're set for the final 30 seconds of this fight, Matt. Covington with a nice kick.
It's been weird. Some rounds he's thrown a lot of kicks. Some rounds he's kind of held off on them.
Neither guy's going hot and heavy here.
I think both guys think they might have it here in the last 20 seconds of the fight.
13 seconds remaining.
But another close fight between these two guys.
Nice kick from Usman. Less than 10 seconds remaining.
Like, stylistically, Ryan Bader and Phil Davis are just bound to have boring fights together. Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington are just bound to have great fights with each other, and that's great to know.
Little bit of a say between these two guys, exchanging
Hey, Joe. Everything's good.
pleasantries, a little bit of a hug.
That's nice to see.
Probably a guy going, I play a gimmick. You know that, right? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Yeah.
Hey, we're both going to make a lot of money after tonight, right? Yeah.
All right, 3-2 Usman is
Like
how I have it.
I think it's also 3-2 Usman. It was great to see Colby Covington build and really get the fight on his side for 10 solid minutes after he was dropped. And really, I thought he was going to be out after that 2nd round. But again, Usman showing why he's the champ. Even if you would have some kind of success against him, you need to be able to sustain it for a very hard 25-minute fight. And Covington showed, like, he might have some of the best cardio in the UFC, but even he could only sustain good success against Usman for 10 minutes.
You know what I'd love? A 5-round fight night main event, Khamzat Chimaev, Colby Covington.
I think Colby Covington dusts him.
Put it in my veins.
That would be a really fun fight, though. It would be, and that would be a great kind of title eliminator, if you will, for Chimaev. One of those, if Chimaev wins, he gets the title shot. If Covington wins, he probably has to fight 2 more guys, but you get the idea. I think that's really good matchmaking.
They're showing the big-time moments, and yeah, the big actions definitely belong to Usman. Covington had him rocked. I mean, 3rd round, 4th round, he really took over, but in that 5th round, a little bit more Usman.
Like, the holes are there for Usman to lose to a really good fighter. When he gets into that mode where he just puts his head down and wings these wild power punches, that's how you get knocked out. Now, it didn't happen this fight, but if Colby Covington can at least wobble you with some power punches on the inside, I'm gonna worry when you do fight those upper echelon guys. I know he knocked out Jorge Masvidal, but still, Masvidal, or at least a Masvidal type fighter, is the type of guy I think Usman's gonna struggle with. Somebody who can avoid the takedown defensively and then make him pay for his lapses on the feet.
I mean, over there in the comments section, I think the best one from Kyle Kelly, Usman should never say the word Canelo ever again. I think,
Never.
yeah.
Never. That was so ridiculous. Like, I think Kamaru Usman does a good job marketing himself. He's not, like, the top tier of UFC champions star-wise, but I think he's more well-known than just your average UFC champ. It's when he says stuff like that, it's hard to think, wow.
Ronda Rousey was going to fight the guys.
Because Joe Rogan built her up, though. She didn't say, I'm going to beat Floyd Mayweather. Maybe she did. I don't remember. That was a long time ago.
All right, we get our final
So late.
decision of the night. It's truly 2:35, but the time went back. Now it's 1:35. All right, Covington and Usman.
So, yeah, we both have it 48-47, Kamaru Usman.
Yeah, 48-47 Usman. Let's see what we get for a decision. If Covington wins, wouldn't that be neat?
Split.
All right, Kamaru Usman 48-47, 48-47, 49-46. Assuming that the 49-46 gave the third round to Usman.
Probably.
But yeah, a good title fight. Couple of decisions that were very close for our 2 title fights, and a hell of a night of fights.
The predictions have been good lately, Craig. Let's go.
I only got Phil Hawes wrong tonight.
That's what I mean. Okay.
Only
just
got Phil
take
Hawes
the celebration sometimes, Craig.
Matt,
You're always looking for more.
it was an awesome fight night card.
was.
I want to thank everybody out there that tuned in. We had a great time with the Fight Companion. Hopefully you enjoyed Question Mark Kicks. I think that was the best episode we've ever had. 7 guests. Clint, John Franklin, Kristen King, JHK, Aaron Bronstetter, Mike Heck.
We need like Rory McDonald to have a fight and instead of saying, Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out. We need like Billy Q to win and be like, Fight Night Picks. Maybe check him out. Hopefully it doesn't say bad stuff. But no, we've really been able to just like grow the community around this channel, especially with these sort of live interactive shows that we do for Fight Companions and for Question Mark Kicks. And the fact that you guys just keep on tuning in for them makes it all worth it. So yeah, I love watching fights, but you guys make it even better watching it with all of you. So great event. Hopefully all you guys had a great night.
Another amazing card. Hopefully everybody has a good rest of the weekend. We'll come out a little bit later with Rodriguez and Holloway, but I can't wait for that card. It should be an amazing one. So have a great week, everybody. We'll see you back next week for a big time card. I don't even know what the co-main event's going to be, but we're looking forward to it. So keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. We always say, let's get into it.